The MC of this story is named Gu Yang-chun, and he was once a brilliant swordsman from a noble family, but he fell in with a bad crowd and ended up becoming a lowly soldier in the army of the heavenly demon. Now he sits defeated before the strongest swordswoman of light. Pointing her sword at his pathetic state, she insists on an answer. The guy is in a dreadful position, and goes on to reflect about the irony of his life. How the woman before him ended up as the sovereign sword's direct disciple. She is the same woman who utterly annihilated hundreds of demonic martial artists through her unmatched sword. In fact, this very same woman is the greatest martial artist the world has ever seen, and the odds of this guy running into her are shitty, because she's the same cold-blooded warrior who defeated the heavenly demon with her sword. Keep in mind, the heavenly demon began this hellish war between both sides, and it only ended because the warrior's blade pierced through the heavenly demon, finishing her off with a final slash. Meet the heavenly sword, Seola, who is out here shouting at the bastard who is refusing to answer her questions. The divine warrior is pissed that Yang-chan is still holding on to the information about the demon's hideout. An expression of regret and anger takes over her as she reminds the young man of the humanity he once had. But of course, even if he wanted to talk, this guy couldn't even say a single word. Why? Because the dude ended up getting the Jiraiya treatment from Naruto. His throat was crushed. Not to mention the very heart that's beating inside of him is marked with a terrifying curse. With every breath, the seal is making him live through hell, and also prevents him from revealing secret information. A tear trickles down the woman's face. The same warrior who had downed an entire army as well as the heavenly demon on her own is currently weeping in front of a half-dead man. She's practically begging the guy to just give a satisfying answer so that Seola can help him stay alive. I should point out that she doesn't know about his seal or curse, so she's thinking he's concealing information. Her fidgeting body and tear-filled expression, a sorrowful state of her begging, is actually a unique sight for the young man, who begins to wonder if she really hates the demonic martial artists that much. Maybe it's because of her fiancé, Sun Yun-jung, who ended up getting kidnapped, which is why she's probably desperate. But the situation makes him let out a slight laugh, reflecting how the strongest woman in the entire world was currently wavering because of a love interest. His reaction causes her to get infuriated, as Seola tosses his ass to the ground like a football. At this point, she is fully provoked, despite her trembling state. She thinks the guy is being uncooperative for a reason, and regrets not killing him sooner. Her words linger inside his mind, as he begins to question when was the first time they encountered each other. From his memories, they met at a marketplace. Both were little children, and she was the first to approach him and offer him a potato. That beautiful little relationship resulted in such a twisted, dark turn, as this guy became a traitor who betrayed his own damn people to pursue the path of a demonic martial artist. It's clear as day that he's only got himself to blame in this situation. Though of course, even now, Seola's barely able to hold herself together while walking away, when suddenly she turns around to see the guy crawling and scribbling something on the ground. Confused, she questions what Yang-chan is doing in his state. Unfortunately, because he chose to reveal information, the seal took a heavy strain on his body, resulting in him vomiting a crap ton of blood. But even then, Yang-chan takes it like a champ and continues to scribble with his own blood, recalling that if he goes against the contract placed on his heart, it will implode and destroy his body. And that's exactly what happens. This dude literally had his heart annihilated as a consequence of betraying the demonic temple. The muffled voice of his long-lost friend is heard in the background, but it's too late. He's lost too much blood and can't even hear her. The beautiful thing about this is the fact that she's already caught on to his condition and is begging him to stop, but he still goes on. The only regret in Yang-chan's life is that he couldn't reveal the truth. He didn't actually betray the clan on purpose, but was tricked and forced into it. But that doesn't matter anymore, does it? And even Yang-chan takes it like a champ and accepts that it's still his fault as he finishes his scribbling. This is his final service to his friend, revealing critical information of the demon's hideout to Seola. But then, the effects of the seal cause an agonizing outburst and wreck his organs from the inside. In his final moments, Yang-chan ponders why things had to end this way. He remembers a sequence of him being helpless in front of his dying sister, who wished him a good life. Seola's voice screams into the alley where he can no longer hear her. Instead, Yang-chan is overwhelmed with the kind of regrets he led up to in his pointless existence. Another sequence comes fresh into his memory when Yang-chan finds a woman clinging to the edge of her life. She felt sorry for him, while he could only stare at her with a look of regret and sadness. Seola's voice roars loud, proclaiming his name again and again as her tears drip down onto his face. Finally, Yang-chan recalls the sequence of another loss he experienced. The white-haired woman rested in his grasp, murmuring to ask if he was crying. But Yang-chan always kept a tough exterior and told her that it's just the rain. Her final words were a request to know about the moon. In her dying words, she found herself relieved, and eventually her existence faded because of the gash she endured in her abdomen. The same Yang-chan, who was once a member of House Ku of Sanseo, a house that was known for being virtuous and righteous, ended up becoming the worst traitor and became a demonic martial artist. And now, his fleeting existence mattered little as he was going to die as a consequence of the war after his defeat. That is supposed to be the penultimate ending to his life. and it's exactly as miserable as it sounds. As he closes his eyes, Siola's voice actually starts becoming clear in his mind. But there's a catch this time. It's the same little girl asking if he wants a potato. Yang Chun's eyes widened with shock as he appeared standing in the same marketplace on that fateful day, not knowing how he'd returned to the past. Our boy stands absolutely clueless, recalling how he gruesomely experienced his death after breaking the forbidden seal. I mean, bro's heart literally burst open. There's no coming back from that one. His final memory was him being in Siola's grasp as he was shouting his name. But now, he could feel the heartbeat coursing through his body like it never even happened. Not to mention his midget body, as he'd become much shorter and younger. It's as if he was daydreaming about the past, and Siola's past self stood there just staring at him in confusion. Yang Chun tries his best to recall the exact words he told her in his original life. Slapping the potato off of her hand, he shocked the girl as he stomped on it, showing a clear sign of his offense. Yang Chun didn't take pity on the girl's gesture and ridiculed her in front of everybody. Anyway, that happened in his original life. But this time, he doesn't hope to make the same regretful choice. Letting out a small laugh, he thinks it's time he made up and actually takes the potato from her grasp, even going as far as to thank the girl. Bro was trying to appear so Sigma in front of her, but the moment he took a bite out of the hot potato, he burned his damn mouth. Yang Chun finds it ridiculous how a dream can stun him with a strong sensation. Seeing him struggle with a mere potato, she laughs at him for burning his tongue. While Yang Chun is stunned, a servant of the house Ku of Sanseo comes rushing to find him. Apparently the young boy disappeared off on his own, worrying this guy greatly. He's supposed to be Yang Chun's personal guard Muyun. Unfortunately, our boy can't even speak properly because of his burnt tongue, to the point his guard assumes that the girl must have tried to harm the young master and nearly pulled his damn blade. It's hilarious how this dude is basically ready to unalive a girl. But Yang Chun requests to handle this in his own way, and requests to have the yakwa. Apparently there's one last one left, so he takes it from Muyun, and actually offers it to Siola, much to both of their shock. The boy simply wanted to return the gesture for Siola offering him a steaming potato. Seeing the delicious-looking yakwa before her eyes, her mouth waters, and her eyes glistened. She's always wanted to try it, but suddenly Siola turns away to meet her grandfather, who comes rushing to check on the little girl. Wow, these kids really love being lost. Anyway, he scolds her for going off on her own, but Siola's okay since she got the potatoes in the end. Her grandpa is really kind and worried if she got hurt somewhere. But just seeing the guy in person puts Yang Chun in a daze. When the girl expresses that she gave a potato to the young boy, her grandpa showed a forceful reaction by pulling her back and actually showed great respect by bowing to the young master of the great house. But our boy tells him that it's nothing to worry about as the girl merely offered him a nice snack. Yang Chun shows proper respect and consideration by praising the food and even offers a yakwa in return. Initially, Siola's grandpa is contemplative, but the little girl jumps in joy and wants to grab it immediately. But the poor girl is absolutely devastated when her grandpa drags her the heck away, believing it would be dishonorable to accept such a delicious snack from the young master. But bro is not giving up because he stops the old geezer, even showing consideration to the little girl and personally handing her the snack. Siola's eyes are literally beaming with joy, and her grandpa is speechless. But from this interaction alone, Siola's ambiguously concludes that they've found what they were looking for. The two part after that interaction while Yang Chun goes into a state of reminiscing, recalling that this old geezer was actually the head of the Murim Alliance, so he's not a joke. He once sat at the top of the martial world as the strongest ever, and was single-handedly the most feared man from the demonic path. The original sovereign sword, Hyogenwi. But he can't put together why this man would be here at all. It's as if Yang Chun's life is flashing before his eyes. He spots the beautiful girl bidding him farewell with her kind eyes. The two parties turn the opposite direction to return home. Now that Yang Chun's life has already ended, he no longer has any regrets and thinks it's a good time for him to conclude this dream of his. But for some reason, the damn dream doesn't even end after he reaches his family estate. It's been far too long. At this point, Yang Chun is starting to wonder if this is some kind of final curse bestowed by the heavenly demon as a last resort. There's a lot he doesn't know about, until he suddenly hears a girl's voice, walking up to him and expressing her surprise to see her brother returning home. Meet the Scarlet Fire Sword Yeonsu Ku, Yang Chun's second older sister and the one person who hates him the most in the world. Basically, she's a bitch. Also, he reflects his surprise that his father's returning home today, while Yeonsu continues to tease him, talking him down for being a troublemaker who's going to pull another lame stunt again. But dude doesn't have time to give to an attention seeker and states that he's here because he should be. So she berates him for never showing up in the past. But instead of getting offended, Yang Chun shows maturity by stating he will apologize to his father. Now that is the definition of character development. He actually wants to change his life even with the smallest moments. Anyway, that pisses Yeonsu off a shit ton as she roars his damn name and channels her beaming rage to step up to him. Accusing him for plotting some kind of trick, she openly tells him how much he pisses her off. Bro cuts her little wimping session and points out that their father has arrived. And I should tell you that this entrance is straight up cold. That's how you know Yang Chun's papa means serious business. Their father, who basically looks like Musashi over here, is pretty surprised to see his son greeting him so forwardly. He turns his attention to Chief Steward, asking if his sword squads are all prepared. Turns out the first sword squad has already returned from battle while the fourth squad is prepared to leave whenever needed. So he signals to his chief to prepare the fourth squad and find him as soon as possible. Now let's talk about Yang Chun's perspective, who finds himself completely paralyzed underneath his father's overwhelming gaze. The housemaster leaves a final regard for the boy, requesting to come find him after his meal. Yang Chun is pretty damn shocked to hear that and asks Muyan for a digestive pill because of how intimidating that was. Skipping ahead to the time of his meal, Yang Chun recalls the terrible taste of the food. It's the same as ever and he's genuinely terrified to see his father. The anxiety is so bad that he's hoping something will interrupt the meeting. The housemaster speaks over their meal, asking Yeonsu if she's progressed in her martial arts ability. She is very happy to confirm that she's reached the third ring only a few days ago, which is quite impressive compared to the other children her age. So he tells her to work even harder. Now Yang Chun actually agrees with his father's words, internalizing how reaching the third ring is pretty damn impressive for a child. Yeonsu has always been the talented type, so a bit of hard work results in wonders. But most impressively, he's shocked to see the little girl smiling, when unusually she has a damn resting bitch face. Which is funny because as soon as he thinks of that, she looks at him with a murderous glare. When his father finally addresses his third child, Yang Chun, bro flinches from his spot. He heard the report from Mu Yan about the boy heading out to the market. The young boy confirms, causing his father to stand up and express his urgent leave. This surprises the boy because he was clearly expecting Musashi over here to actually say something. Well, Yang Chun chalks it off to his father's earlier demand of meeting the boy in his office. But even that is postponed as one of the maids comes to inform him that their meeting is scheduled until tomorrow instead. Again, Yang Chun is pretty astonished. That night while in his room, he's surprised that he hasn't woken up from this wild dream of his. At this point, he's also questioning if a potential time travel or a regression has taken place. But that realization comes with the added anger, and a chance for him to potentially kill the heavenly demon before things get bad. That thought is enticing at first, but Yang Chun still believes he's having a dream, so there would be no point. Then there's the fact that he can't take on the same heavenly demon who was responsible for annihilating 3 sovereigns by herself. It reminds him of the day he surrendered before her just to live another day, and ended up having to endure living a life of becoming a demonic martial artist. Yang Chun's regret weighs down on his conscience. His life is one that is the definition of living with immense regret. That's the only emotion that overwhelms and burdens him. But at the same time, he'd always thought to himself that if Yang Chun was ever given a second chance, he would definitely do whatever it takes to live differently. Knowing the eventual future of Seola defeating the heavenly demon as well as the demon temple, he thinks his best shot of living a good life is to hide and play the long game of survival. Knowing that this kind of chance won't come again, Yang Chun vows not to fail a second time, and to prevent his life of regrets from surfacing again. Channeling his energy throughout his body's core, Yang Chun is a bit disappointed that he can't do anything beyond a small grasp of internal energy. But his sister? You guys saw how Yeonsu was engulfed in flames, right? That's the difference between an ordinary person and a prodigy like her, who has achieved the third ring already. Still, even having this much internal energy is enough for the boy, believing that the generational cultivation technique of the house should be more than enough. The art of the 9-flame blaze wheel is his best shot of nurturing his body, and once he reaches the 4th ring, he'll also be able to showcase a bright flame of internal energy. And right after reaching the 7th ring like his father, his body will be thriving with this life-changing power. But as things stand right now, bro is at the dead bottom of the 1st ring. That's why he wants to gather as much energy as quickly as possible to reach the 2nd ring. Add that to the fact that he can't even equip his powers of the demonic arts to help aid this journey. This time, he has to rely on himself and his family's martial arts. In a state of meditation, he concentrates all of his energy into his core, but that comes with an added drawback of siphoning his body, completely draining him at his current level. Yang Chun can barely do anything with the skills he's got at the moment. Forcing his way isn't an option either, because it will result in something called chi deviation. However, the one good thing to have come out of this mess is that he's gained an understanding of the 2nd ring, and he's edging really close to tapping into it. Yang Chun intends to keep at this level and hammer his way to make new breakthroughs, differently from his past life. At the same time, he has to be cautious and ensure that things don't go off track from the original timeline. Morning quickly comes around and the dude is still out of commission, unable to sleep because of his agonizing bodily pain. It's his fault for not taking his training seriously throughout his childhood. Preparing himself, he plans to visit his father later. But when he opens the door, he's surprised to find the same little girl from before greeting him hello. Let's take a little detour and explore what happened on one fateful day. A crack appeared in the skies as the people began to question if what they saw was a star or something else. Suddenly, a demonic eye popped out from the crumbled space and tore its way through. That was the day the demons invaded their realm. And these weren't just any demons. They were ruthless and wrecked the planet. The dimension where they spawned from is called the Gate of the Demonic Realm. Now, every single clan decided to counter the demons by creating a special force. These special forces or squads were known as the Sword Squads, and every known clan had one. But the Great Ku family actually has 5. The eldest sister of the siblings, Hebe Ku, is actually the head of the 5 commanding squads. And because he's widely known as the brat who constantly stirs trouble in his clan, he trained under her for 6 months in the original timeline. That was actually when he ran into Seola, who adopted a blank, almost frowning expression at the time. They were supposed to meet 6 months later, but because of the way he treated the young girl, somehow she ended up at his doorstep the next day. Bro is done with the day already and goes back inside, but she pulls on his shirt, stopping him and hoping for them to get along well with each other. But before the poor girl could express her words properly, his grandpa swatted her hand off, calling his grandchild a brat for carelessly touching the young master without permission. Yang Cheon doesn't know what to say as Seola apologizes to him. He's still surprised by the purpose of their visit or why her grandpa is here. To his absolute shock, the man tells him that from now on, he will be serving Yang Cheon according to the orders of the clan head. The fact that this guy introduced himself as Moon Wei and not Hyogun Wei is a bit startling to our boy. As for Seola, she's also tasked to serve him alongside her grandpa, but things are progressing way too fast for him to understand what's going on. Letting out a sigh, he's certain that his father is responsible for doing something like this. He shares his gratitude, but ultimately thinks his life is fucked from the get-go already. Also, he doesn't really like being addressed formally, so he'd rather they call him by his name. But the old geezer doesn't listen to that either. Later that same day, the old man is dusting the place clean while Yang Cheon sees him doing his task with content. He's got no clue what's up and turns his attention to Seola. This little bold girl wants to impress him and carries a bundle of laundry all on her own. Even the other maids show her kindness and request her to share some of the burden. But Seola vows to do it alone. Unfortunately, her bright confidence eats dust when she stumbles across a rock and tumbles down with a heavy crash. That faceplant has got to hurt with the way she fell. Even the laundry basket ended up on her head as she began to weep in disappointment. Seeing her in this state, Yang Cheon thinks she's truly one of a kind for being bad at everything she does. His real talent lies in martial arts, so he doesn't get why she has such little control over her body. The current state of events is making his head hurt, while the sad Seola walks up to him, still cutely wearing the basket on her head, promising to follow him wherever he goes. Or at least, that was the order she received from her grandpa. This actually means that the boy's personal and real servant is Seola instead of the old geezer, but it's almost like the other maids pulled a scheme and trapped her with such a duty. Being the son of an incredible family, the boy doesn't know if it's nice to choose a servant of his own volition. Apart from her being Seola herself, there's also the fact that her grandpa, the Sovereign Sword, is going to be monitoring him in close proximity. She tries to tidy up his robe, but even that is a depressing mess of wrinkles. Bro crushes her confidence by doing it on her own, and begins to wonder if the clan head even knows about the Sovereign Sword's identity. Knowing that he has to go and meet his dad, Yang Cheon thinks he'll come to find his answers soon enough. While he's leaving, Seola catches up to him, but he shuts her down, stating that she should finish up her work here. The remark makes her genuinely cry, and it's noticed by her grandpa too. Anyway, Yang Cheon leaves, and shows a bit of his softness for Seola when he promises to return with Yakwas if she does her duties well. That little comment alone makes her flutter with joy. The perspective shifts to Yang Cheon, who stands before his father's office, getting anxious just standing outside. He's scared of what will happen and wonders if he should ask about Hyogun and Seola instead. Bro's approach ends up in the gutter when the clan head pops from behind and scares the living crap out of him. He's told to go inside, and regrets immensely that he loudly swore in front of his own father. Yang Cheon is seriously questioning how he didn't die of a heart attack at that moment. They begin the conversation by discussing his new servants. The boy is grateful to receive them, but he doesn't know the reason why. His father refuses to elaborate on the reason, and believes his son will come to know eventually. This isn't good, because Yang Cheon now understands that his father probably knows about the Sovereign Sword, but the purpose is kept ambiguous. Instead, the clan head recommends that the boy prepare for the 9-Dragon Council that's due tomorrow. Though Yang Cheon complies, he has trouble remembering what the purpose of the council was. Suddenly, the little dude reaches an enlightenment, this time horrified to remember the council's name. Yang Cheon thinks even death would be more acceptable at this point, while Muyeon, his personal guard, questions if he truly doesn't want to participate in the council. Let's explore the concept of this unique council. It's supposed to honor the original sword squads who worked tirelessly hard to guard the demonic realm, risking their lives for the people of Sanseo. It's held twice a year to commemorate their efforts, and it's also a recruitment event to help bring in new members into the sword squads. And as he's the member of the main family itself, he has to attend the council. But Bro just doesn't want to go, ordering Muyeon to behead him immediately. But even the personal guard thinks his father will probably kill Yang Cheon a second time if he refuses to go. Then there's the fact that the second elder is hosting the council this time, and he also promised to beat the shit out of Yang Cheon if he refuses to participate in this council. The situation got so much worse than he expected. The second elder is a damn annoying geezer who has always treated him harshly ever since he was a child. Then again, the kid is a troublemaker, so it makes sense. Anyway, He entrusted the boy and had high expectations for him to act befitting of the great family household. In some ways, Young Chon is grateful to the old man. But at the same time, he is afraid of him because of his unending training sessions and handing him a mountain of chores. But it's actually endearing because the second elder always looked after the boy even when the clan head ignored him. It's a miracle that he turned out the way he did in his original life, even after the training he endured from the second elder. Anyway, it's time for them to head out. They're supposed to leave when the carriage is ready, so the boy inquires Honghwa about the update. The maid explains that they're looking after Seola, which worries the young master, who wonders if she ended up making more trouble. But apparently they were actually busy prepping her in a tidy and presentable outfit. Looking at her in this elegant attire, it even causes Young Chon to find himself flustered against the girl's pure smile. She walks up to him like a beaming child and expresses how the other maids were praising her beauty. But that compliment is actually true because even Young Chon finds himself weak against her cuteness. The girl musters up the courage to directly ask him if she looks beautiful. And yup, that alone is enough to make the little master embarrassed beyond hell. He's so flustered that he avoids her and completely switches topics. In the next scene, we get to see the carriage moving at tremendous speeds, giving Seola a joyful ride. It's actually her first time experiencing a carriage ride like this, so she's quite excited. As for Muyeon, he tells the young master that the council is being held in the commercial district of Cheonil, known for being the most famous district in their territory. Since it's a long journey of 4 hours, it's going to take a while, so Young Cheon thinks it might be a wise idea to take a nap. But the annoying and beaming child behind him is talking so loud that he just can't. Young Chon shoves a yakwa snack in her mouth and tells her to shut up for a while. This actually shuts her up to the point he can drift off into sleep. But his sleep doesn't matter at all, because he wakes up a second later and realizes that 4 hours have already passed and that they've arrived. Yang Cheon exits the carriage and finds the crowded district charming with beautiful lights to commemorate the important festival. He stretches for a bit and runs into Isil Cheon, the officer of the district who has been eager to meet the young master. Yang Cheon introduces himself properly and expresses his honor to meet such an important person. He learns that it's thanks to the boy's sister and the second leader that they were able to pass the first day with ease. But just the mention of Yeonsu is enough to remind him of her shitty attitude. He's hoping to God that they don't run into each other. Well, God apparently doesn't like him because bro literally finds her in the very next scene. Like always, she gives him the look of disgust, offended that he even bothered to greet her. Yeonsu mouths off about how annoying her little brother will be during the festival, recommending that he behave himself. But just like last time, instead of getting offended, he casually responds that he'll just stay in his room. This comes across as a bitch slap to his attention-seeking brat of a sister. Suddenly, her attention turns to the girl hiding behind her brother. Yeonsu disgustingly accuses her brother of engaging in the act of lovemaking at a place like this. She goes away sharing her lament for the pervert who doesn't know how to control himself. When the door slams shut, Young Chon questions what in the actual fudge is wrong with his psychotic sister. He even apologizes to Officer Cheon for witnessing such a scene. But instead of going to his room, the young master prefers to make an urgent stop elsewhere first. Tagging Seola along, they decide to visit the main arena, which is enormous and decorative in its size. The 5 sword squads were applauded on the first day, and tomorrow will come the selection of new members. It's a good thing that the main family members don't have to compete. Young Chon thinks he's gonna live a chill life until the second elder pops out of nowhere. It's the whole, "he's right behind me, isn't he?" meme because bro's day is about to be ruined. Striking him like thunder from the skies, the second elder is proud of the boy for actually showing up to the festival. Seeing his palm reaching out for his face, Young Chon is terrified that he might get his ass beat, but to his surprise, the older man simply pats him and asks what influenced the boy's decision to actually show up. After all, Yang Chun made his life's goal to escape the second elder every time. When the little boy tells him that he received word of the second elder getting pissed, he pretends like he never even said something so horrific. The old man in particular is known for being obsessed with the boy, because he's really the only son of the household. Seola, on the other hand, is so excited to meet him, expressing her joy. But goddamn, he looks at her like a demon of death, turning her expression to fear and sadness. She's so adorable and winces away hiding behind Yang Chun, who tells the geezer to lighten up instead of glaring at people. The old man does in fact lighten up and asks if Seola's his lover, but Yang Chun clarifies that her attire should confirm to anyone that she's just a servant. She goes away into hiding while the second elder recommends that the child get some sleep for the night. Before leaving, he casually tells Yang Chun that he's going to take his life if he tries to run away from the festival. Yeah, either he really loves him or really hates him, I can't tell. Anyway, Seola keeps calling him the Bear Man, and I'm inspired by her, so that will be his new name from now on. Interestingly, Bear Man concludes that there's something different about the kid this time. Fast forwarding to the second day of the festival, Yang Chun is already here early in the morning, but at the back of a long-ass queue. Because the requirements are flexible enough for anyone to participate, there's way too many people lining up to join the sword squads. It's an honorable thing to become a part of the sword squad after all. Suddenly, Seola's body shivers with fear because she thinks the bear grandpa will hunt her down. She even cutely suggests that they ask the bear to hibernate for a while, which is hilarious. Anyway, our boy doesn't know what's keeping her afraid. Unfortunately, he can't order her around as much because she's the grandchild of the Sovereign Sword himself. He promises Seola that Muyan will take care of any threats if she's afraid. The personal guard has no idea what the term bear grandpa even means until our boy expresses that it's the second elder they're referring to. Unfortunately, the duty is too much for a personal guard like Muyan, so they conclude that maybe it's best to sacrifice Seola. The funny thing is that she actually takes this order to heart and concludes that today is her funeral day, and that she will sacrifice her life for everyone's happiness. The heartwarming portrayal of her past self is enjoyable. Yang Qian reminds her repeatedly that he was just joking, but turns out Seola just wants him to buy her a bunch of dumplings to die happily, so he lets her do whatever she wants. While she's away, Muyan shares how the young master is offering preferential treatment to Seola, despite her being a casual servant. Of course, it's because he still thinks of her as the Seola from his original life. Though he acts like he doesn't care about her, Muyan is smart and points out how the young master still gave her part of his own money for the dumplings. Unable to argue against him, the young master simply turns away. Muyan is actually pretty happy to discover that the boy is different from the way the rumors portrayed him, while Yang Chun advises him not to have a change of heart over a bunch of damn dumplings of all things. Also, he catches Muyan in his point that he judged the young master for a few rumors. It's only been 2 weeks since he's been assigned as his personal guard. The only reason he said something like this is because Yang Chun freshly received him as his guard right as he regressed into his past life. Their conversation is disrupted by a loud woman calling out to a lady, recommending that she doesn't wander all on her own. The girl expresses that she's fine on her own as there are plenty of great people from the House of Ku around her. The voice of these girls sounds similar to Yang Cheon, putting him in a state of reflection. Yobi, the mysterious girl's servant, argues that it's troublesome if she runs into the young master of the Ku family. Then again, there were plenty of boys in their family, so she could be referring to anyone according to Yang Chun. Even the girl thinks it's impossible to meet him in a crowd like this. But even Yang Chun has a self-aware fourth wall-breaking moment, believing that this is some kind of foreshadowing. The girl turns back, only to become startled to find the astonished young master before her eyes. Muyan whispers in his ear, explaining that the situation is probably awkward based on their reaction, so he's wondering if he knows these people. But of course, seeing her face, Yang Chun simply couldn't forget the girl who had obsidian eyes with a ring on her finger with an ambiguous pattern. Though no one knows about the symbol on the ring, he knows that it belongs to the Habuk's House of Peng region. This very same woman is revealed to be his ex-fiancée. Let's talk about how the engagement happened between these two belonging to the great houses. They were mainly of a similar age, and the House of Peng suspected that the young boy would one day become the clan head. That's why they entrusted their daughter in an engagement with him. As obvious as it could get, this guy ended up causing a shit ton of problems, and because of his stagnating reputation as the troublemaker, the House of Peng became afraid, and the engagement eventually broke up because of his final words to her. Immediately, she questions why he's here, but Yang Chun cuts her off and asks the same. She tells him that it's because of some urgent business, and that she isn't required to explain her intentions in the Sanseo region because of his family. He treats her coldly, which pisses her off as she reminds him of their age difference of 1 year. So he decides to adopt immediate manners and refers to her properly. He turns his attention to Seola and expresses that they should leave with the dumplings. Meanwhile, this adorable little monster acquired a crap ton of dumplings and is happy to leave. With his parting words, he tells his ex-fiancée to enjoy her time here, which comes across as a shock to her. She regrets having run into him of all people, and takes a note of the servant next to him. She's a bit annoyed that he's already found himself a pretty servant, and internalized that he's still the same damn pervert. Going back to his fateful words from the day their engagement broke off, Yang Chun called her nothing more than a spoiled daughter of a mistress, basically insulting her mother and causing her to get so enraged that she was about to beat the hell out of him. But Yang Chun apparently had balls of steel as he doubled down instead of retracting his statement. So bro ended up eating a Mike Tyson hook from a girl, which is well deserved. She was done with his attitude even after the strategic engagement because of her house. Yobi was there to stop the girl, but she swatted her hand away, stomping her foot next to his face, and was more than ready to kill Yang Chun's ass. Yeah, that was one hell of a day from her memory. Even now, she's trying to convince herself that he's the same. But this kid is actually helping his servant out with the dumplings. It's as if something is different about him now, though she chalks it off as just an unusual day for him, believing that a clown like him could never become mature. Still, a thought lingers in her mind that maybe he did change. Suddenly, they hear another loud voice roaring in the distance. Apparently some guy is pissed off, talking about how the recruiters are going to be responsible for his arrest. It's a vague remark that leaves everyone dead silent. While those people are arguing, the young master recommends they help out with the situation because he senses that some people are stirring trouble. Muyan emphasizes that they shouldn't really act unless reason compels them to. In the end, they decide to let the guy be handled by the recruiters who will take care of the troublesome fellow. That actually does happen. But the difference is, this guy literally slams the recruiter into the ground, believing that it should be enough to prove his worth to join the competition. Of course, because of his harsh way of handling things, he is forbidden from entering. Muyun suggests they step in, while Seola is entertained by the cool thing that just happened. The personal guard is very surprised at the young master's dismissal of the situation. Yangchun argues that he just doesn't want to get involved with troublesome affairs. The situation gets even more tense as the recruiters stand justified in their unchanging decision. Since the man before them isn't revealing his identity, they can't allow him to enter, even after he's proven his skills. Getting seriously annoyed, he finally reveals his identity as the heir of House Peng, meaning this dude is actually Yangchun's ex-brother-in-law. This announcement grabs the attention of both of them, shocked to see him entering the competition. Let's go back in time and see what led up to this. One day, the girl found her brother awoke early in the morning. She didn't know why he was here. Meanwhile, he was having the time of his life eating food and getting warm after starting a fire. His sister didn't give a damn about what he was doing and only cared about the nameplate he's holding in his hand. He joked around that he was going to use it as a replacement for firewood and immediately got smacked with a stone. His sister was done with his shenanigans. She gives us a little fun fact about her brother. He actually graduated as the youngest heir of the house in the history of House Peng. The nameplate is special because he received it directly from his lord. While she keeps on trying to maintain the serious topic, her bro is still joking around about the firewood and receives a beating from his sister. She emphasizes the duties of the heir of the house, and her words sadden his expression. It's almost like he doesn't want to shoulder such a burden. His sister takes note of this and remarks how he's a prodigy who has earned the best achievements in his life, and yet, he still seems unhappy. Letting out a nervous laugh, he corrects her, stating his intentions of leaving the house for a while. Instead of pushing him around, she recommends that he enjoy himself on a walk then. The suggestion lights up an idea inside his little head, but in a way that his sister never could have anticipated. 4 damn months passed since that moment, and all she got from him was a note saying he'll be gone for a bit. She was pissed and complained to Yobi, who actually reported that the Vagrant clan might have a clue on his location. She was dying to hear where her brother had gone, but the region of Sanseo never made sense to her. Well, until now, that is. She's just run into that same troublemaker who was rattling his mouth off to join the 9-dragon competition no matter what. Bro was beefing with the recruiters and explained that he didn't have time to spare. The commotion drew the attention of our boy and the guard. Both of them heard him yapping about the Black Knight Blade, which is a technique of House Peng. Our boy figured the situation would only get worse from here on out, so he sought to scatter away. But of course, Grandpa Bear had to rain down on his moment at the worst possible timing and grabbed the boy's face. He personally found the troublemaker impressive because of his connection to the Peng family and allowed the boy to join. It is only then Wu Jin Peng makes his official introduction, expressing his great honor to meet the second elder of the House of Ku. Grandpa over here laughs his face off, and because Wu Jin kissed his ass just now, he's even more prepared to let the boy join the competition now. Even though the recruiters are strictly against the decision because of the boy's identity, the second elder believes that Wu Jin must be telling the truth because the boy takes after his father's looks. Apart from that, the ring he's wearing is yet another proof. I have to point out that Yangchun is pretty surprised because he didn't know it was Wu Jin either. Anyway, Grandpa Bear expresses that the purpose of the competition is to allow people to join the great squads, so he's curious why the heir of House Peng is here of all places. Wu Jin confidently reveals that he doesn't really enjoy his time back at his house, a reason that makes the second elder break into laughter while at the same time causing Yangchun to think they're both retarded. Wu Jin casually shares that he ran from his house because he loves rebelling against the rules. Yet another reason for the geezer over here to crack into laughter. Okay, the really intriguing part is that Wu Jin is a whopping 23 years of age, because I could have sworn he was a teenager if they didn't point that out. The second elder is impressed by the product of House Peng, and gives a disgusting glance to Yangchun for being pathetically weak in comparison. Both Muyon and Seola probe Yangchun for clarification, and he can't do anything but tell them to shut up while silently suffering. Well, on second thought, Yangchun reflects that he isn't offended or jealous by the remark, because the heir of House Peng truly can be considered a dragon. After all, this same boy would be known as the Heavenly Blade in the future. Drawing a connection from him, Yangchun suddenly remembers that he did meet Wu Jin's sister earlier. Speaking of her, Ah Peng comes rushing to find her brother. You might think this is going to be a sentimental moment, but no. She straight up chucks a damn fist in his face and launches the dude into the ground. Ah is seriously pissed that he ran the hell away right after becoming the heir to their house. With his face caved in, Wu Jin tries his best for a timeout, but his sister is in her John Wick mode and barely spares him a second before beating the ever-living crap out of him. While beating him up, she talks about how disgraceful he is for ditching his own house just to join a competition for the House of Ku. Bro is legit getting pummeled and begs to be saved like a damsel in distress. Ahee's beaten him so badly that his blood is all over her, but the elder's done watching and demands that she stop immediately. Seeing him, she gets startled and apologizes before clarifying the situation and apologizing for the troubles caused. Ahee promises to make it up to the House of Ku with additional reimbursements in the future and commands that they'll be leaving now. But her stubborn brother is firm on his decision that he'll stay, causing her to question if he's looking for yet another beatdown. But this time, Wu Jin is serious as hell, to the point that it creeps out even Ahee. She doesn't know why he's acting like this, or what's gotten into him. But the boy is clear in his decision, believing that the House of Peng isn't even remotely fun. He thinks anything is better than the life he used to live. Gently advising him, Ahi reminds the boy that he's supposed to be the heir, now she has got to move on with this kind of thing. But Woojin believes that it's his right to have as much fun as he can before eventually accepting his duties as the head of the house. Escaping the duty will require him losing his limbs or simply dying, and since he's not a fan of either, he's found a third way out. Woojin openly declares that he despised the concept of being the head of the family, further adding that the people of House Peng can't even be called human because of their methods. Knowing that he's the only one who has to play the part of the heir, he's accepted the title for his sister's sake too. As for our boy, Yang Chon is questioning Bear Grandpa's decision to let Woojin participate, especially since this matter is beyond the scale of the competition and concerns the other houses. Of course, even the second elder believes that there can't be an easy way out for this one. So he calls out to Woojin with a sweeping recommendation of fighting him in a one-on-one battle. If Woojin manages to beat Grandpa Bear over here, he can join. But of course, this is just an impossible task. Even Ahi thinks he's terrible with his jokes. But the old man is firm on his words and believes 10 hits should be more than enough to decide the winner. As for Woojin, he's got those young and determined eyes. The second elder has no thoughts of going back on his words. The second elder is in the middle of explaining the win condition for Woojin, stating that even a single contact with his body will conclude the young man as the victor, when suddenly the young heir of House Peng dashes right behind him with immense speed. Grandpa Bear over here is standing nonchalant, while Woojin is about to Chidori his ass from above. But the tables are instantly turned when Woojin literally faces a goddamn monstrous reaction from the old geezer as he unleashes his punch. Yep, he's definitely dead. In the next scene, we fast forward to the competition arena, where the battle between Yang Qian and his sister Yeon-su is fixed. Of course, his two-faced sister appears blooming and cute in front of others. Meanwhile, our boy is out here questioning why the hell he's here at all, not to mention his fight against his sister. Anyway, let's rewind a little bit and see what happened to Woojin. Just like I said, the kid got demolished by Gramps and was launched into the ground like a tornado with a heavy crash. The fight was decided in the first damn hit, and this geezer suddenly turned from a murder machine to a fun-loving grandpa again. Yang Chan, on the other hand, is questioning why the hell this madman went so far when he could have easily evaded the strike. Bear Grandpa emphasizes that he held back massively even with the punch that knocked the wind out of Woojin. Yang Chan is seriously afraid of House Peng's wrath if they come to learn of this information. But the boomer does not care at all. Our boy even tries to console Ahi, but she thinks her brother deserved that punch. The girl analyzes that this was perhaps the only way to teach the young heir a lesson in humility. Though that sounds logical, the second elder quickly denies such claims, clarifying that he only offered a spar because he wanted to have some fun. Hearing that kind of reckless bullshit coming from his mouth, Yang Chan even proposes to his servant that it's a good idea for them to ditch the geezer. Contrasting his reaction, Seola is out here animated like hell, like she just saw some kind of movie scene take place before her eyes. Her current state makes our boy wondering how the hell this same girl ended up becoming the most terrifying warrior in existence. The second elder has quickly become a fan of Seola for praising him. He even shares a little snack with the dessert-loving girl, who suddenly switches her attitude and has grown fond of Bear Grandpa. Seeing as though Yang Chan must be feeling left out, the second elder thinks it's best to give him a gift as well, revealing that he's going to make our boy spar against someone at the end of the competition. And well, what do you know? That's how we got into this shitty spot in the first place. Yang Chan has to face his sister, and she's rather shocked that he's choosing not to use his sword. It makes the boy surprised too, making him wonder if he used a weapon at this age. The good thing about the art of the 9-flame blaze wheel technique is that it can help reinforce various different weapons. However, typically it is used on swords for maximum effectiveness. The issue here is, Yang Qian has no idea how to use a sword as he transitioned to a fighting style with his bare hands later in life. Bro really just said these hands are rated E for everyone. Yeonsu confesses that she couldn't give two shits whether or not he used a weapon in this case, and her arrogant personality helps his cover. The girl is most grateful about one thing and one thing alone. She's landed a golden opportunity after all, allowing herself the chance to beat him black and blue without getting in trouble for it. It's even better that his humiliation will be witnessed in front of the rest of the world. This bitch is seriously crazy, but Yang Chan is genuinely nervous for the fight too. Going back to his conversation with the second elder, he was offended by the mere suggestion of him partaking in a fight against his sister. Bear Grandpa found himself dropping dead in despair, believing the competition would be way too boring otherwise. Yang Chan could sense that this old imbecile only wanted entertainment out of him. The dude even had a nice strategy to forfeit the match as soon as it started. But the second elder literally read his mind and gestured the boy towards Woojin's unconscious body, which is a short way of saying, "I'll beat your ass up just like that if you surrender." Yang Chan really couldn't digest the fact that he was going to get defeated in front of a massive crowd. But the old man actually shared a different opinion, questioning if the boy had already made up his mind to lose. His words circle Yang Chan's mind. The new life he has been promised is far too precious for him to just let it go to waste like that. It's the reason he doesn't want to fight his sister to prevent complications. While he's in the middle of his contemplation, Yeonsu calls out to him, roaring out her resentment for her brother for being chosen as the heir of the house simply because he was born a male. The fight begins, and this girl goes ballistic on him, unleashing a rapid slash that he manages to evade. Yeonsu goes for a second slash that our boy ducks without any problems. Her combo hasn't quite finished as she goes for a horizontal slash next, causing him to draw back and duck again. A haunting realization strikes Yeonsu. Her brother was dodging her slashes even though he was only on the second ring. Youngchon on the other hand reflects that he's barely being able to dodge each hit, but it's starting to take a toll on his body, directly proving that he needs more training. But he hasn't yet decided how he should treat this battle. One way could be for him to take a direct hit and pretend to be knocked out. At the same time, with the way she's attacking him, bro is not going to be pretending at all. He thinks he's genuinely going to be put out of commission. Before he can even chart a battle plan, his sister goes on the offensive again, grabbing his uniform to make sure he stays in place as she launches another sword slash. But he dodges that too and quickly undoes his top, causing Yeonsu to slice it down. The boy taunts his sister for having so much bloodlust against him that her attacks are predictable. He recommends they stop the battle, questioning how much she despised him. Even though they weren't even using real swords, she tore his shirt in half with such power. Yeonsu replies that she had to accept the horrid reality that she would never become the heir simply because of the system, even though she trained and gave her life to the cause. And yet, the boy who does nothing and lives like a heap of garbage is easily handed the position because he's a son. That's why she hates him so much and believes that their positions are unfair. Yeonsu takes it a step further by imbuing her weapon with internal energy, raising the stakes of the fight. With her current level, Youngchon is astonished to discover that his sister has already evolved past the third ring. The onslaught of attacks continues as she does her absolute best to nail him down with at least one attack. She even calls him a coward and a useless clown who does nothing but dodge because that's all he can ever do. That he's talentless, and someone who isn't even determined. She thinks that if her brother is going to continue this lifestyle, then it may as well be fate to get rid of him. Interestingly, the boy quietly listens to her complaints, and in the next attack, we can even see a look of sadness on the girl's face. Youngchon stands fearless and does nothing, hearing Yeonsu's cruel words for his mother too. The conclusion is intriguing, as he actually manages to stop the attack by catching her wrist, returning a demonic glare as Youngchon questions what rubbish came out of his sister's mouth. Following a monologue of the girl, Jeonsu openly admits that she holds her big sister in high regards. She was given the title of the Searing Blade at the mere age of 15 and was exceptional by the age of 20. Because of her raw talent and effort alone, she eventually became the leader of the 5 swords of the House of Ku. A woman who was acknowledged by everyone with no equal, but even with everything at her disposal, she couldn't be granted the title of the head of the house. That was a privilege reserved for the little boy Youngchon Ku, someone born from a mistress, and the only known successor. Initially, Jeonsu really fancied her brother, and though they shared different mothers, Youngchon's mom showed kindness to both. In a way, Jeonsu also loved her back, which is why she didn't feel threatened or disgusted by the boy at the time. That's when it happened. One day, the woman was nowhere to be found. All gone, abandoning the 2 children. The head of the clan, their father, strictly ordered everyone not to look for her. That's why it became a hopeless endeavor to even try. This was actually around the same period of time where the boy became crueler to everyone. He didn't form connections with anyone in the clan until the rumors of his mysterious acts with women began circling around. However, despite what led to this change in events, one fact remained supreme. Youngchon would still be given the position of the head of the house. That's not his fault. It's the system of men inheriting titles. And it's not like Jeonsu could ever hope for that to change. She was nothing compared to the ever-blazing talent of her older sister, which sprouted a deep resentment inside the girl's heart. She began detesting him for being someone who couldn't even make use of his abilities. Let's go back to the present scene, where upon the mention of his mother, Youngchon gives his sister a fearsome glare, instilling so much fear inside her that she retreats just to be safe. But that won't matter, because this man is now done playing around as he blitzes behind her, launching a punch right in her face. Witnessing the battle, Ah-hee is pretty impressed by Youngchon's sister's talents despite sharing a similar age group. At the same time, she can notice the 2 siblings conversing with each other in the middle of their battle. Unfortunately, no one can hear them clearly, strictly because the second elder made it his personal business to coat the surrounding arena with his own internal energy. Or at least that's what Woojin says. Also, bro's got a swollen face coming out of that spar. I would not be showing my face publicly after that. Even Ah-hee makes fun of the clown for recklessly messing around. She doesn't want to leave for House Peng because they'll question what happened. Anyway, both of them discuss the greatness of Yeonsu, a girl who has already reached the 3rd ring and a blade talent that is quite capable. But here's the intriguing part. Woojin isn't even interested in the girl. He's actually impressed by her opponent. This surprises Ah-hee, while Yobi confirms the relationship between the 2 siblings. Based on the fight, Woojin is impressed that there's more than one talent among the House of Ku. Seeing his face experiencing such happiness, Ah-hee feels devastated that her brother won't ever feel the same after becoming the head of House Peng. Let's go back to the fight. Yeonsu realizes that she has no choice but to evade her brother's strike. She manages to dodge and returns with an intimidating final swing, believing that the fight is over as she's exploited his opening. But Yang Chun coldly talks her down. This is how you know you're about to get cooked. It's when your opponent is trash-talking you against your final attack. Yang Chun states that he understands his sister's position, so he doesn't really have a right to judge whether or not she hates him. Though he feels pissed off by her last comment, he shows maturity by disregarding it completely. However, Yang Chun hopes that she forgets what he's about to do next. Drawing his hand back and expending a burst of energy, he punches the crap out of Yeonsu with a solid hit, knocking her down and out completely. The fight is over, and to everyone's shock, the winner is the incompetent Yang Chun. Shortly after the fight ended, we can see the young boy regretting his decision about the way he handled that situation. He didn't want to win, and it's going to look bad that a second ring was able to beat a third ring fighter with a complete knockout. Yang Chun still feels haunted by his sister's words, and while he's sulking in despair, Muyan and his servant come through to check on his condition. Unfortunately, Muyan has come with some bad news for the boy. Everyone's talking about his grand victory when they clearly expected him to get dog-walked in that fight. That's why the second elder purposefully had to step in to control the reaction of the crowd. The speech is still ongoing, which gives Yang Chun the opportunity to escape the damn place before Bear Grandpa gets to him. Seola worriedly points out that his hand is bleeding, but what it really means is that he failed to control his internal GI at the last moment. The adorable Seola tries to comfort him by bandaging it up, causing the boy to get flustered. But unfortunately, the poor girl doesn't even know how to wrap it properly. She weeps while gently holding his hand, apologizing for how useless she is. The scene melted my heart, and it puts Yang Chun in a pause, until Woo Jin cock-blocks their moment with a sudden entrance. Anyway, Yang Chun greets him properly still, even though Ah-hee is out here embarrassed like crap and insists on going home. But this dude is so chill. I love him because he's treating Yang Chun like a homeboy even though Ah-hee's engagement broke off with him. He even recommends the two of them together again. Our boy is a bit surprised and wonders why he's here at all. Woo Jin expresses that he just wants to connect and network with talented people. He also holds his older sister Hibiko in high regard, but was unaware of a hidden talent like Yang Chun. The boy is actually surprised that Woo Jin knows about his sister. The heir of House Peng reveals that they actually share a pretty close relationship, but he doesn't know how she thinks of him, basically contradicting himself. Yang Chun simply laughs it off, ignoring the ridiculousness. He sees Woo Jin going away with Yobi, but strangely his ex-fiancée is still here. She wants to break her silence, apologizing for hurting him with the chair. She's about to conclude something which I suspect would have been about a reconciliation, but Yang Chun cuts her off and shocks her by his own apology. He knows that he overstepped a boundary by saying stupid words about her mother, and it's only fair how she reacted. They're both in the clear, with Ah-hee accepting the situation and leaving him with a reminder to check what her brother left him with. Yang Chun inspects his uniform and discovers a little slab, not knowing what it means. The night ends with the two of them sharing a farewell. With this, Yang Chun is starting to mend the mistakes of his past life, but still there's so much more for him to correct. On their way back, Iola is knocked out like a log. Our boy is still gloomy about his duel against his sister. In his previous life, he never got the opportunity to do that. And of all the times he can think of, Yang Chun thinks he shouldn't have been able to win that fight. From his understanding, the future began manipulating the moment Seola began working under him. A small act of kindness could have possibly shifted the tide of the story he was supposed to follow. Still, he doesn't get why this is happening, and that he should be careful about updating his plans. Suddenly, the boy senses something sharp, and immediately requests Muyan to check the demonic talisman. The personal guard is happy to inform his master that there's nothing to worry about, as the talisman is working just fine. But as Muyan is delivering that news, the talisman lights up, causing him to order an immediate stop. The fact that the talisman reacted strongly means that a demonic gate near them has just opened up. Muyan tells all his men to prioritize the safety of the young master. However, to his shock, the same young master is casually standing outside and stretching for the fight to come. Muyan scolds him, constantly reminding the boy of how dangerous this could get for him. Yang Chun tells him to concentrate on what's ahead of them. As if a crack in reality appeared itself, a green gate spirals open, releasing houndish beasts. The good thing about a green gate is that it's supposed to be the weakest level of the demons. Preparing his technique, Yang Chun goes on the offensive and annihilates the monsters without any sense of trouble. Now there is one thing to be noted about all demonic creatures. They possess a special stone inside their bodies, signifying their hearts. Think of these stones as a power core, and a weakness that can be exploited by simply pulling it out. One other demonic beast attempts to bite him from behind, but our boy is quick with his reflexes, and efficiently focuses on extracting the demonic stones. However, just having taken down two of them has inflicted a crazy amount of exhaustion on his internal energy, affecting his usage of the 9-flame blaze wheel technique. Still, it's not like he can stop just because he's tired, especially when 3 more of these ugly dogs were heading their way. But to his surprise, Muyan comes sweeping in to protect his young master, reacting with such unfathomable speed and unleashing a spree of slashes across the creatures' bodies. Virgil from Devil May Cry must have taught him his judgment cut end ability from the looks of it. Even Yang Chun is straight up speechless seeing his cool-ass servant knock it out of the park. Muyan turns to inquire about his condition, and he's glad that nothing serious happened. The fight's already finished, considering not a lot of the beasts came out from the other side. In a way, they got really lucky. But Muyan is seriously worried about our boy's decision to jump in so recklessly. It could have ended in a disaster. Yang Chun states that it's all fine in the end. Well, it's not exactly fine at all, as his hand begins to burn in a purple flame, giving him unimaginable amounts of pain. Even Muyan's got no idea what's happening to his young master. Yang Chun curses in frustration and fear, questioning why the hell the Heavenly Demon's martial art is activating all of a sudden. This technique of the Heavenly Demon is officially known as the Heavenly Absorption ability. Let's take a look at a cool flashback from the badass demon martial artist Yang Chun, who had single-handedly severed down an entire battalion of fighters. The broken warrior before him questioned why he was so merciless, and why he slaughtered them when he had no reason to. About to finish the guy off, Yang Chun questioned if those would be the man's last words. The man looked at the deceased elder's cut-off head and screamed in despair. A large shadow hovered over the skies, and from a scarlet gate emerged a gigantic dark dragon. The Heavenly Demon decided to descend from her dragon and walked up to the kneeling Yang Chun, stating that he could have put more effort into trying to amuse her. But having gained a slight sense of satisfaction, she decided to imbue him with a skill. And well, that leads us to the present, where much to the boy's shock, the same absorption technique is purified thanks to the effects of the 9-flame blaze wheel. The boy describes this unique process as a kind of a merging effect, something that never even happened in his past life. Anyway, Seola and Muyan are crazily worried for him as he finally gets back up, stating that he's fine. He thinks it's possible he might have sustained an unknown injury during the duel he had with his sister. Muyan wants to find an immediate doctor, but our boy insists that he's okay, especially considering the fact that he wants to hide his ability to consume demonic energy. Seola, on the other hand, is whining like a puppy, squishing his face and asking for confirmation as she finds his condition to be sad. Luckily, the other servant stops her cute meddling and pulls her away for Yang Chun's sake. Once again, Muyan requests that they visit the doctor, but the young master believes it would be better if they just returned home and if he slept to cool off the exhaustion. While his men are gathering around and preparing again for the journey, the boy enters a contemplative state, noticing how he doesn't feel an ounce of demonic energy within him. This means that his family's generational technique must have done something. Interestingly, he also takes note that the color of the stone faded, which confirms the absorption of the demonic energy. Deciding not to dwell on the matter for too long, he crushes the stone within his grasp, believing that he should urgently work on his plans. The following morning, Seola's eye for sweet snacks is acting up again. But our boy actually ignores her pleading request and betrays her from her expectations. Yang Chun reminds the girl that she was the one who keeps tagging along for no reason at all. Anyway, Muyan is pretty curious why they've come out here of all places, especially since the boy is still in the process of recovering from what happened, so it doesn't make sense why he's out in the marketplace when he should be resting. The considerate Muyan even offers to help him if he's looking for something. Though the young master appreciates his consideration, Yang Chun concludes that he doesn't want any help right now. He notices a specific street and scans the alley, confusing Muyan a bit more. First, Yang Chun requests the girl to retreat back home, and then tasks Muyan to follow him. He wants Seola to be the messenger to his house, stating that he'll be back by dinner. The young girl is worried that her grandpa will scold her, so Yang Chun plays with her greed and offers to buy her 10 yakwa snacks for completing this task. Suddenly, the girl is beaming with confidence and adds a condition of dumplings on top. Yang Chun is more than happy with those terms, and the two of them shake on it like best friends. Anyway, back to the alley. Muyan is curious, but our boy doesn't feed him any answers yet. The personal guard is scanning his surroundings, believing that this place seems a bit dangerous to wander alone. But that's something even Yang Chun knows about. It seems that he's found what he was looking for at last. At first, he was worried he wouldn't be able to find it. Muyan is curious why the building is of interest to the young master, and even states that his senses are telling him that something is wrong with the building. Yang Chun commends him for having sharp instincts and opens the door, receiving annoyance from a bunch of crooks who think that the young boy must have lost his way. They also notice that the boy's guard is armed with a weapon, which means this is a good sign for them to kill these two. These thugs put Muyan on edge as he prepares his weapon. One of them questions why the boy came here of all places. Yang Chun confidently reveals that he's simply a customer, but his arrogant tone makes the thug pissed off. He actually threatens Yang Chun to the point that Muyan is ready to strike all of the bastards down. But the young master believes it's not the right time, and reveals that all of them knew who he was the very moment he stepped a foot inside the alley. Yang Chun intriguingly asks if they're afraid of the House of Ku's wrath, but he's not here for that. Instead of trying to slice each other down, the boy offers a negotiation with the branch manager. The thug is actually shocked by the boy's audacity, and reveals that Yang Chun doesn't even have the most basic of manners. But the cunning young master fires back, reminding the thugs that it's not like they're the sweetest people either. This makes the thug snicker a laugh, and instead of going along with the boy's offer, he commands all of his men to slice the kid down. In 1 second, all of them attack him from every single direction. Mu-yan is done waiting around and demolishes the entire group, carefully making sure that none of them are killed in the confrontation. With this display of power, Yang Chun stands fearless, aura farming while his guard takes care of everyone. The thug is shocked, and yet unsurprised that Yang Chun brought such a powerhouse along. At the same time, it's not like he can comply with the young master's demands either. Suddenly, the thug receives a message from the main manager. Seems like they've already heard of the boy already. The messenger offers his words and discusses the situation. Meanwhile, our boy is forming his own thoughts, questioning what they're planning. At this point, he thinks it's a waste of time and requests Mu-yan to kill them all. But to his surprise, the thug reveals that their boss wishes to see him, so there's no point in fighting anymore. Though annoyed that they couldn't just do this from the beginning, Yang Chun tells Mu-yan to stand down. They follow the thugs, and yet Mu-yan is still out of the loop and inquiries for information. The boy reveals a hint of his original plan concerning the Vagrant clan. Let's talk about the Vagrant clan itself. It's grouped as one of the 10 prestigious clans, simply because of their incredible information network and reconnaissance skills. However, because they follow the path of virtue, they strictly follow a code that keeps their reputation from harm. Now, since the clan won't be able to do what the boy wants them to, he decided to take the second option. Contrasting the Vagrant clan, there is the Hao clan, known for being malicious in all ways possible, which is why he's here. Descending to the lower floors, the boy finds Wen Do, the branch manager of the region. She apologizes for her men responding with force upon first encounter. It's really because they were shocked upon the boy's arrival. Anyway, Yang Chun doesn't care about that and demands to speak with her. The branch manager firstly inquires why someone of the boy's stature has come here of all places, especially to a clan following the malefic path. To that, the boy obviously responds that it's a request that can't be met from the Vagrant clan. The branch manager apologizes for her insistent questions, but it's just that the boy's connection to the House of Ku made them worried for a moment. Yang Chun understands their situation, but he's still waiting on a clear yes from their side. Wen Do expresses that their clan promises to do the job of any caliber as long as they're granted the payment. The boy is glad that they're complying and reveals that he's trying to look for someone, specifically a child over the age of 10. He hands over a sketch and details of the kid. Reviewing this document, the branch manager quickly takes a backstep and reveals that they genuinely can't take this request. Unfortunately, one person came before Yang Chun, and their request was basically to look for the child's guardian. This makes it a conflict of interest for both parties, which is hard for them to swallow. Yang Chun happily responds by arrogantly stating that he can offer to pay them back by requesting information about the head of the clan. His words receive a murderous look from all the guards, who immediately draw their weapons to slice him down. But Mu-yan always comes in to clutch the situation. Bro blocks all 4 of their blades at the same time. Dude is a monster. The branch manager switches their sweet face into one of murderous intent, questioning how the boy knows such critical information. Yang Chun casually states that it's clear both sides have valuable information on each other and that should be enough. Still, Wen Do wants him to prove the validity of his information, but to that the young master responds that they'll regret testing that out with him. After all, if they do refuse him here, he's going to go and visit the Vagrant clan and reveal important information about the Hao clan's leader. It's a serious threat that the branch manager can't overlook, so she's forced to accept. To that, the boy questions just how long it will take for them to execute the request. The Hao clan emphasizes that it will take a minimum of 3 months for them, but it's a good time horizon for Yang Chun, and he leaves stating that they'll conduct an official exchange once they've fulfilled his request. However, the boy stops to find the branch manager's gloomy expression, and hints at the Yejok mountain range, alerting Wen Do as he leaves, stating that it's a hint for now. The branch manager is in shambles, while the thug questions if she really trusts a boy to be speaking the truth. The reason she's actually confident in his information is because he knows about their clan head missing, which is why they'll have to take him at his word. However, not even Wen Do gets what the boy is plotting, believing that he has own goals. At the same time, she thinks that such critical information couldn't have been obtained by the young master, which means that the clan head of House Ku must share some involvement. Now, this isn't the case, but that's what she suspects. Ripping off her mask, she reveals her true face, which appears much younger than the older woman she portrays. Wen Do tackles her thoughts, recalling how the clan head actually went into hiding because the clan doesn't exactly respect their master. This is why he had to run away into hiding to prevent people from rebelling against him. That man also just so happens to be her father, which is why this matter is so important to her. The scene cuts to Yang Chun and his guard exiting the building. Overall, despite his confident demeanor back there, our boy was worried that the matter could escalate into a direction he didn't want. It's thanks to the information of his previous life that is coming to use now. From that, he knows about the clan head of the Hao clan being held captive for 5 years. He's also the same reason the clan waged a war against the Obsidian Night Palace. Though the Murim Alliance's attack resulted in a complete catastrophe for the Obsidian Night Palace, unfortunately, the goal of saving the clan head resulted in a tragic death for him. This basically drove the clan to the edge of extinction. The only problem is, not even the boy knows about the information about the location of the Obsidian Night Palace. It's only thanks to the general knowledge that he had that won him the request. Though it's annoying for him to go to such an extent, Yang Qian believes that it's absolutely critical that he finds the young boy. After all, that very same boy would inevitably go on to become one of the most trusted and important figures of the demonic temple. He was known as the strategist and the demonic temple's mastermind, Hyuk Jagal. That's why Yang Qian wants to eliminate him as soon as possible, recalling how the dude's strategies were so cunning that it became an issue for a powerful warrior like Seola many times. If he fails to subdue him here and now, things will get much worse for them all. Muyun cuts off his thoughts and questions what the boy is searching for. But he does add that the request should be fulfilled by summer. And he's also cautious of the young master's knowledge of the Hao clan. Well, Yang Qian confirms that he'll receive the information by summer, but something else comes up and bothers him. He sharply remembers that this is around the same time when House Yan's secret treasure mine was discovered. Unfathomable wealth rested inside that place, but none of it held a candle to the priceless spirit pills. Those pills allowed any person to reach a higher level of martial arts. And in the original timeline, it helped someone become so powerful that they were acknowledged by the heavenly demon. So now the kid has two issues to deal with: Jiggle and the spirit pills. And though he wants to attend to the matter of pills, it's going to be difficult to track down information. So our boy goes with a 1000 IQ strategy that you've probably heard of before. It's called giving up because this shit is too hard. After all, there's just too much going on and he'll have trouble locating the treasure. Let's cut the scene to Seola, who is surprised because a dude is hitting on her and requesting that she serve him instead. The second elder immediately finds Seola's grandpa, stating that he only came this far because of the little boy, and he's even more shocked to find the sovereign sword himself looking after the boy. They both share a laugh as the second elder reminds him to keep on working. This pisses him off as he casually shatters the broom, questioning why Elder Ryun came here at all. The interesting thing is how even Bear Grandpa, who is supposed to be seriously powerful, is afraid of the sovereign sword's wrath. The sovereign sword tells him to pick up the pieces of the broom, and while Elder Ryun is doing that, he inquires about the real motivation the second elder came here. At the same time, he's not surprised that Ryun came here, especially since he's piqued his interest. Just 3 months ago, the kid was incapable of mastering the horse stance of the family, and now, all of a sudden, he has the talent to defeat his superior sister. The fact that his blaze wheel technique has reached a point of stabilization only continues to point in the direction that the boy is a hidden gem that needs investing in. To that, the sovereign sword wisely questions if they can really call it talent. After all, in all of his life, he had yet to see a child progress so rapidly in the span of a few months. This makes him suspicious of the boy, and he believes that the first elder of the House of Ku is probably making his move in secrecy because of the boy's recent developments. Now, of course, even Ryun agrees with this observation. As for the boy, they can't tell where he went. The good thing is, he won't be getting in harm's way anytime soon because of the people keeping close tabs on him. Let's go back to the Seola predicament, where she finds herself in a unique situation of being confessed love. The adorable girl internalizes to the reader how she had a bad dream last night. In this low-detailed dream, she was beating the crap out of many people, and she didn't stop until she got what she wanted. Though she wanted to stop, she ended up hurting the people she loved inside a house too. That's when an old man in the house told her that he would have succeeded in defeating her. Shortly after this, he stabbed the girl right in her abdomen. Waking up from that terrible nightmare, the only words that released from her mouth were one of guilt and an apology. She woke up and wanted to see Yang Chun right away, and Honghua, the senior servant, told her to search for him in the training grounds. She tried doing that but ended up arriving even sooner than Yang Chun, finding someone else at the training grounds. Seola was promised a lot of happiness if she served him instead of her current master, even though she was already pleased being at Yang Chun's side. Afterwards, our boy appeared on the verge of exploding. And well, he confronted the random boy, questioning his identity and intentions. Seeing the embarrassed look on his face, even Yang Chun thinks that this dude is probably creepy as hell. Anyway, the boy apologizes for not introducing himself properly and reveals that he knows about the young master. He probably introduces himself as Jeolyup Ku, and he wants a sparring match with him. But our boy is quick on the draw and rejects the offer immediately, shocking the boy, because his refusal implies he's running away like a coward. But Yang Chun has no shame in admitting that, which pisses the other kid off and he calls the young master weak for it. Our boy continues to admit that he's indeed extremely weak, so there's no harm in admitting the truth. This leaves the kid speechless. Here's the main issue. If Yang Chun tries to spar with someone randomly off the bat, he'll get in even more trouble than before. But as he's leaving, his life is once again ruined by Grandpa Bear, popping out of nowhere as he implores Yang Qian to accept the battle. Jeolyup greets the second elder with respect too, and refreshes our boy's memory of him. It's revealed that he's actually the grandson of the first elder, sharing a resemblance on their face. The second elder is really accepting of the idea of their spar, while Yang Qian straight up calls out the boy's creepy intentions to seduce Seola. This also makes him wonder if Jeolyup actually came here on behalf of the first elder, which is probably the reason he asked for a spar. Turns out that this fight is actually a political one, rather than one that concerns martial arts. Now, the first elder is known to be extremely ambitious in his endeavors, which is the reason he's been skillfully manipulating the scene from behind, making sure a weak-ass clown like Yang Chun takes the position of househead so that he can manipulate him. However, now that the same incompetent boy has defeated his marvelous sister, things have become complicated, which is why Jeoliop is being sent to beat Yang Chun's ass. Still, our boy shows no signs of interest in facing the kid, even though Elder Ryun thinks it would be a good idea to show kindness. Yang Chun argues that there's no point in fighting when he knows the outcome of the battle will result in a loss. To that, Grandpa Bear gently encourages Yang Chun, stating that he has utmost belief in the boy's ability to win. I'm starting to think that this geezer is genuinely the one who cares the most about Yang Chun. We all need supporters like him in our lives. Regardless, Yang Chun argues that he's seen enough, and can easily tell that Jeoliop is way more powerful than even his sister, so he's got no interest in fighting a losing battle. But as he's taking Seola away, the bold grandson of the first elder grabs her arm, telling Seola that she's special and shouldn't be around a clown like Yang Cheon. He requests the girl to join him, as he'll promise her an easier life than a wimp like her current master. Here's the absolutely terrifying part. The logical and cautious approach of Yang Chun is thrown out the window when he sees Seola in trouble. He puts on a damn scary face and accepts the duel immediately. Well, he does regret his decision in the very next moment, finding himself in the dueling arena against an even stronger opponent. But Bear Grandpa offers his support, believing that it will allow an opportunity for growth for the boy even if he loses. Yang Chun argues that he wants something in return for the condition of him participating in this fight. The second elder is more than happy to comply with his terms, but he reminds the child that losing here would be shameful as the heir of the clan lord. But the young boy emphasizes something with conviction, stating that he has no interest in becoming the head of the house to begin with. This revelation jolts a reaction out of Ryun, who argues that it's impossible for him to decide against it as he's the only boy in the family line. Yang Chun internalizes his frustration, questioning why people still think he's fond of the decision to become the househead when in reality, he actually discarded that decision in the previous life too. To rub salt on the wound, the cunning boy reminds the old geezer that he'll lose on purpose if Elder Ryun backs out from their terms. Grandpa Bear is okay with it as long as there's a condition attached, and that condition is that he has to win this fight no matter what. Facing his opponent, Jeoliop allows the boy an opportunity to warm up. He even apologizes that the situation has come to this, believing he should be pitying Yang Chun. After all, they had a match just the previous year, and Jeoliop decimated his ass to the point he couldn't get out of bed for a month. Even Yang Chun is like, why the fudge did I forget about something like that? Anyway, Jeoliop expresses that the boy from back then was weak. Even now that he's defeated his talented sister, Jeoliop is of the opinion that it was just a fluke. Bro is out here giving warnings like, I don't want to abuse the weak. At the same time, what he despises the most is seeing a weak and pathetic person soaring to the powerful ranks. Saying as much, Jeoliop imbues his blade with the technique and prepares to unleash his wrath against the boy. He addresses Elder Ryun, stating that he also wants a condition to be fulfilled upon his victory in this match. Grandpa Bear is okay with that idea. Well, unsurprisingly, Jeoliop's condition for the fight is actually Seola. He just had to say the one thing that pissed off every single nerve in our boy's body, pissing him the fuck off for his audacity. The elder is greatly amused by the scene and allows the battle. Jeoliop is actually pretty hesitant as the fight begins. He does nothing but observe the raging red aura emanating from the boy's body. He reveals that traditionally, the stronger opponent is expected to allow his opponent to lead the first move of the battle. Yang Chun calls him out on his bullshit and wonders if Jeoliop is actually afraid shitless in this battle. The funny thing is, as competent as Jeoliop is of his strength and control over his internal energy, he just can't trust himself to get even close to the young master's terrifying aura. Even though there are a ton of openings he could exploit, he just can't find himself making the move. Suspecting that Yang Chun must be exhausting all of his strength for a show of intimidation, Jeoliop laughs and thinks he's got the edge in this battle. He thinks that it's an incredibly stupid decision from Yang Chun's side to exhaust his internal energy like this. Our boy is done waiting around and decides to lead the first attack, and before Jeoliop can even finish his sentence, he's already on top of him. An incredibly fast, thunderous kick nearly catches his opponent, but Jeoliop is still confident and believes that the difference in their speed is far too much still. But to his shock, Yang Chun's next attack fucking connects and launches him in the air, ending the battle with a destructive kick in the damn face as he puts Jeoliop on his knees. The boy coughs out blood, while Yang Chun humiliates him by purposely delaying his final attack. After all, he doesn't want his opponent bickering about how he only won because of a surprise attack. Jeoliop's ego is instantly humbled as he agrees that he made a mistake looking down on the young master's talent. However, he's far from being finished, believing that he's yet to make his move to return the blow. This means that the battle will continue and become troublesome for Yang Chun. Unfortunately, he's once again facing an opponent outclassing him. To make an efficient use of his internal energy, he is efficiently imbuing it in certain parts of the body during his attacks. This way, the body will experience short bursts of strength, preventing his body from entering a state of deviation. However, the fact is clear. Yang Chun can't delay this battle any more than 7 minutes. He has to end the fight by then. As for Jilyup, the kid is channeling a powerful technique called the Scarlet Sword of the Nine Dragons. Yangchun intends to keep a sharp eye on the blade as best he can. The minute the blade is unsheathed, Yangchun grows extremely tense and barely has the opportunity to dodge the wide slash. His monstrously fast opponent goes for a follow-up, unleashing a variety of concentrated swings to catch Yangchun off guard. The caliber of Jilyup's technique shows that he's trained immensely well to refine his abilities. The natural flow of the technique may be a benefit, but it's also a drawback if the sword is interrupted in its flow. Accessing his internal energy, Yangchun focuses on staying in one place, and just as Jilyup is about to deal a deadly finishing blow on him, the boy unleashes an explosive attack from his body. Interrupting his moves, he basically extinguished the heat inside his body all at once, disrupting Jilyup and giving our boy just the brief moment he needed to finish the battle. Yangchun annihilates Jilyup's abdomen with such a heavy fist that even I can feel it through the screen. The blazing punch knocks Jilyup crashing into the nearest wall, leaving a damn crater behind it. It's all over, but Yangchun is unfinished with his words, revealing that he doesn't actually care about the position of the head of the house, or the insults he receives from other people. But the one thing he can't tolerate is when shitty people like Jilyup try to take something forcefully from others. That's the one part that pisses him off the most. He exerts a horrifying level of pressure, recalling that he can never forgive Jilyup for daring to lay a finger on Seola. So much so that he wants to break the guy's arm as a punishment for next time. Bro is fucking brutal, and just as he's about to shatter Jilyup's arm, Elder Ryun catches him and urges him from going any further. After the battle, the boy gets a scolding for going way too far in the battle. But Yangchun thinks it's only responsible to assume that they'll get hurt in an actual battle. And since Jilyup managed to return home on his own eventually, it means he's fine. However, what's worrisome for Ryun is the fact that the first elder may not take this situation lightly. Yangchun confesses that he doesn't give a flying crap about becoming the house head anyway, so anything political doesn't matter to him. He even offers Seola the position of house head, and she's ready to accept the duty so long as she gets plenty of food to eat. Anyway, Elder Ryun is serious when he says that it's an important matter. As Yangchun is casually speaking about how Seola is more powerful than him, he catches himself and realizes that he doesn't know the exact timeline of her mastering the blade. After all, the Sovereign Sword must have started training her at some point in her life as she was the best disciple. But from the looks of it, he's never even seen Seola around a blade, so it confuses him. There's also the fact that she's more dumb in this life than the previous, which makes him wonder what kind of person she actually was at this age. For some reason, not even Yangchun can confidently recall the details, even though he should be able to remember something like this. The adorable girl asks if he's doing okay, only for Yangchun to smack her in an effort to help her regain her senses. Anyway, the second elder chooses to forfeit the conversation of the househead for now, and requests the boy to take a rest. But Yangchun is sharp, and casually stops the old geezer to remind him about their little promise. Elder Ryun is annoyed, but a deal is a deal, so he asks about the boy's request. Pointing out that he's the esteemed second elder, Yangchun believes that his request must be simple for him to fulfill. Saying so, he points to his right, declaring that he wants to be sent to Sacheon territory. It's a rather confusing task, especially when our boy hilariously learns that he can always go to Sacheon whenever he pleases. This comes as a shock to the young master, who reminds the old geezer that Sacheon isn't exactly close to their region, so it's not a piece of cake like he's assuming. There's also the fact that he can't wander around everywhere as he pleases, as he's constantly monitored and protected. To that, Grandpa Ryun suggests attending the weapons exhibition of House Dang as a meaningful excuse to do his business. Reduced to a baffled face, the boy recalls how the weaponry exhibition is known to invite families each year to showcase the best weapons imaginable. Though it's not a requirement for the boy to attend the event, he can still use it as a proper excuse. Suddenly, Yangchun switches demands and expresses that his real request is to ask for money. The sharp elder realizes that the boy wants to head to Sacheon as fast as possible, but he's actually excited to send the little boy to Sacheon, much to Yangchun's worry because he's starting to think it was a really bad idea to ask this guy. But Grandpa Bear roars like an animal, stating that he's going to send him away immediately. The young master reminds him that they would need time to prepare and file a proper report. Grandpa Ryun sways his troubles by stating that he's sending the boy away as an official order, causing the caretakers of the boy to get ready immediately. And before he could even process what was going on, Yangchun found himself in his carriage. Bro was played by the old geezer and sent off. As for the Sword Sovereign, he tasks Ryun with some household chores, reasoning that the young must help the old. Ryun wants to let something off of his chest by having a word with the Sword Sovereign in silence. Apparently, there have been talks of the clan head looking for the divine physician for a particular reason. The second elder is put on edge and switches topics. He addresses Seola, declaring his suspicions that the girl doesn't even show a hint of being human. It's as if she's something else entirely. But this inquiry gets the Sovereign Sword so pissed off that he tells Ryun to shut up as he draws multiple divine swords. Ryun continues to boldly state that if Seola may be a different form of life, recalling how he encountered the girl at the council first, but immediately noticed that she lacked a presence in her body. Elder Ryun emphasizes that the divine physician's medicine won't fix that, and that it's a pointless approach, especially when Seola doesn't even have an illness. But as he's running his mouth, the sovereign sword is forced to unleash dozens of golden swords, emanating a terrifying pressure as he declares Seola as a human. Unfortunately, Ryun is unconvinced and walks away, accepting the sovereign sword's intentions. Intriguingly, in his reflection, her grandfather believes that he's going to fix the missing parts of the girl by making her human. He's fine if it means sacrificing his very own life for the cause, just so that his granddaughter can become a healthy lady as she grows up. A few hours passed by when her grandfather realized she wasn't inside their quarters. By nighttime, they've already been traveling for a few days up until now. Sachon is a bit far away still, while Muyeon is concerned over the young master's whereabouts. Turns out Yangchon escaped for a bit to be on his own. They think he's pretty much bored without Seola. The surprising part is, our boy is actually putting in the damn work by training to the point of exhaustion. Unfortunately, he's still pretty weak as only a few beginner-level punches were able to tire him out easily. Even though 10 whole days had passed on this journey, Yangchon found himself stuck against a wall. He couldn't discover a breakthrough. The one problem he discovered during his matchup against his last opponent, Jol Yop, is the unfortunate reality that he has an extremely low supply of internal energy. This means the first thing he's got to do is home and cultivate his internal energy to its limits. Deciding to activate the demonic art of heavenly absorption, the boy reflects that it siphons internal energy from other beings. But at the same time, with this amazing ability, it slowly corrupts the user from the inside as a side effect of such a power. But in this case, thanks to the blaze wheel technique, he didn't have to suffer any of the after effects of the technique. Now, he doesn't exactly have any demonic energy inside him, which means he can continuously increase his supply of internal energy as long as he kills more demons and obtains more power. Still, the fact is, it's the heavenly demon's martial arts, and that can still become a really big problem for him in this regressed timeline. He genuinely doesn't want to meet the same fate that he met in his original life. Suddenly, a loud scream distracts him and grabs his attention. The boy quickly rushes to find Muyeon for a bunch of answers. The personal guard reveals that something is going on inside the carriage, causing our boy to inquire for more information on his own. Inside, we discover Seola popping out with a smile, innocently claiming that she somehow managed to find herself all the way here. Let's go back 10 days ago and see what happened. Seola wasn't allowed to go to the Sachon region because of her strict grandpa. The only reason he even allowed her to go to the Nine Dragons Council is because he could depend on other people to help her out in times of trouble. But that isn't the case for the Sachon region, which could bring about a number of issues for the girl. The grandpa insisted that they get the move on and work with laundry for now. However, Seola found herself depressed, recalling how Yangchon won't be returning for at least a month. She's terrible with her chores on top of that, and unfortunately there's nothing she excels at, so it's not like her going along would add to any benefits. But suddenly a voice calls out to her and startles the young girl. Searching around, she recalls hearing a proper voice from the box nearby. Desperately, the girl tries looking around for an answer, when suddenly, a hand pushes her over, making her trip and crash inside the rationing area. Seola actually didn't even want to go inside, but she was tricked by someone. Poor girl was scared and begging for help, but those same pair of astral hands seemed to hypnotize her into a state of sleepiness. Within a matter of moments, the same Seola flopped to the ground, fully knocked out as the voice apologized for its actions. And that's how the carriage began moving, with the voice's final words remarking that Seola's supposed to be the one to protect them. Anyway, the little girl's explanation basically does little to nothing because all three of them are just baffled by what she just said. Their reaction makes Seola wonder if she'd done something wrong, so she tries to hammer the point again and conclude her story. According to her story, she was tricked by a ghost to enter the carriage. And that's probably the one story no one will ever believe. Yangchon wanted the girl to go back, but there was no point anymore. They continued their travels during the night when suddenly, an owl hovered over close by. Seola kept taking notice of all the animals nearby and described eating them with delight. Even our boy is horrified that this girl is merciless when it comes to her appetite. His original idea was to send her back to the House of Ku, but unfortunately, they're running short on supplies already, and sending her back would have wasted them even more. Wiggling a worm in his face, Seola offers to trade it with a yakwa, but bro at this point is so pissed he tosses the snack away, this time regretting the decision of keeping her on the journey. Their carefree attitude comes to an end actually when Yangchon senses the arrival of something. He alerts Muyeon, who further engages the rest of the guards to stop. Just when he thought that things were getting peaceful, he sensed 4 demons in the distance. But to his surprise, he could now only feel the presence of 3, and before he could even know it, only 1 was left. This final one tries to attack the carriage, and right as our boy is about to defeat the creature, a silver-haired girl wearing a purple robe unleashes her blade and severs the demonic beast in half. She quickly sheathes her sword afterwards, apologizing for being irresponsible with her prey and letting it near the carriage. Not even Yangchon has any idea of the identity of the girl at first, until she turns to look at him, giving this guy a shock of a lifetime. Recalling gruesome memories of this very same woman severing multiple warriors to pieces, He sees that the hot baddie from his memories who coincidentally met him on his journey to Sacheon in his past life too. That same girl made the same request in this timeline too, asking to join them for the journey. The beautiful lady is known as Bia Namgung, or the Mad Woman as Yang Chun hauntingly remembers her. Let's go back to their horrifying first encounter in the previous life. This woman slaughtered all the warriors around in cold blood, while the demon martial artist Yang Chun questioned if she was really responsible for killing them all. Turns out they're both on the same side. Namgung wants to know about their master's orders, and learns that Yang Chun was sent here to retrieve her, or else she'd be going crazy murdering everybody. He scolded her greatly for being batshit crazy. The funny part is that being a cold-blooded murderer, this girl struggles with navigation and is so dyslexic that she can't figure left from right. Finding the idiot a waste of his time, he tells her to just follow him. Yang Chun found her a piece of work to deal with, while Namgung curiously asked about the strength of the sovereign sword. To that, he responded to her by a warning not to engage with any of the sovereigns, as they're supposed to be rivals of the heavenly demon and not them. But Namgung of all people was a curious person, and wanted to know how the blade of the sovereign sword compared to her own, or even their master's. As she went on to yap all day, our boy got pissed and threw an attack right towards her. But without even glancing in his general direction, she sliced the energy ball in half, questioning what the fuck was that about. She was ready to throw hands with him right there and then too. This girl is straight up aura farming. Yang Chun emphasizes that he shot the attack because she's still following the wrong direction, reminding the idiot to just keep up with him. As they were navigating along, she annoyed him by asking another question. But only this time, Yang Chun was serious about tearing her to pieces if she asked about information about the sovereigns again. To his surprise, the girl pointed to another pathway, suggesting that it might be a faster route. Yang Chun had no idea what this girl was yapping about, but before he could even react properly, she was already gone. Here's the hilarious conclusion. Bro reached his destination within the same day, while the crazy chick arrived 4 days late. She sucks at following orders. Anyway, back to the present. Namgung understands that they're headed to Sacheon and requests joining along. But of course, knowing their shitty history together, Yang Chun is like, nah, you're not allowed, bitch. After all, he just can't imagine reliving through that hectic routine again. Aside from that, she will bring him a shit ton of trouble if not for anything else. To keep matters simple, Yang Chun makes it a matter of trust, pointing out that he can't trust a stranger in the middle of the night. Realizing that she has to earn his trust, the girl unleashes a concentrated lightning technique. She's out here turning into Super Saiyan 2 with the kind of attack she's charging up. Muyun immediately senses danger from her usage of the ruler's sword technique. The technique results in a gigantic explosion of energy from her body, but before any harm was caused, Muyun had already stepped in to stop her. Bia simply wanted to prove her identity and gain trust with the display of her power. With this, Yang Chun has no way but to accept her connection to the Namgung family, so he makes up a second excuse, stating that he can't risk allowing a terrifying technique user join them along. And well, what ends up happening is that Bia actually follows their carriage all the way to the point they were supposed to take rest. Yang Chun has no idea why she's following them and still keeping a safe distance. Not to mention the fact that he even tried lying to her by stating that their destination wasn't Sacheon at all. For now, he doesn't want to confront her but focuses on ignoring. But it's already too late for that because Siola's already out there teaching the girl how to peel a frog properly. Our boy gets irritated and yanks her away, questioning what the hell she's doing all of a sudden, especially when he ordered her not to linger around aimlessly. Bia shoots an empty glare towards his direction, as if to ask, "What's your problem?" Our boy addresses her and asks what she's doing out in the middle of nowhere from her family. Turns out that Bia actually set off with her family, but embarrassingly, the idiot ended up getting lost from their path. It's exactly what Yang Chun suspected anyway, recalling how shitty she was with directions in her previous life too. The boy then questions why she's choosing to follow them even when he clarified that they won't be going to the Sacheon region. Bia is surprised and decides to ask again for their travel destination. Siola innocently turns to Yang Chun, who shakes his head in disapproval. The adorable brat still doesn't get the damn hint and blurts out the truth in shock, making Yang Chun regret his decision of not sending her back yet again. Anyway, he doesn't really care about Bia anymore and tells her to do whatever she wants from a safe distance. She redundantly introduces herself to him, requesting the boy to introduce himself as well. With a heavy heart, Bro literally adopts the identity of Jeolyup Ku, expressing that he belongs from the House of Ku. This is the only way for him to maintain a disguise. 2 days passed by. Siola and Bia quickly became associated with each other. This actually slowed down the journey significantly because this adorable potato would always leave the carriage to talk to the other girl. Yang Chun found himself irritated that she refused to get on even after he made his position clear on Bia's case. Finding himself exhausted, he asks Muyun about the time left to reach their destination. The OP guard reveals that they should have arrived within a day, but with the current speed, it's gonna take them at least 3 more days. That's crazy. Though he's unaware why Yang Chun is so cautious of the young lady, he thinks it would be better to allow her a spot on the carriage for a faster journey. At this point, our boy just can't take it anymore and gives up in the end. He plans to take a break to think through his plans in the nearby village. Both the young master and his servant are discussing their travel plans. There's still one day left. Luckily, they didn't have to camp out for the previous night. As for Seola, she keeps on offering Bia to tag along and sleep with them, but she doesn't know if that's going to be okay. Anyway, Yang Chon is shocked that a lady of such stature is carrying another family's servant. But Bia seems to be generous and just wants to help the girl who is tired out. But young master Yang Chon recommends that if that is the case, then Seola should just focus on resting inside the carriage. Now that they're inside the village, he tells Seola to just get off her back. Bia asks her, but the adorable potato points towards the approaching group of men who are wearing a similar attire to Bia. The man leading them is actually Bia's brother, who was worried sick where the hell she'd gone. They tried so hard looking for her, but she ended up lost anyway. He regrets not tying her up earlier to prevent such a mishap. Anyway, her brother is finally calming down after worrying about his sister's condition. But he's even more surprised by the group of people behind her. Seola is the first to introduce herself, while Yang Chan is still annoyed that she isn't getting off her back. Taking a closer look at Bia's sibling, our boy remembers him as the Lightning Sword, who is destined to become one of the 5 greatest swordsmen in the entire world. Now that is a crazy title. That same boy was greeting him with kindness, introducing himself as Cheonjun Namgung, the Lightning Dragon. At first, our boy accidentally spits out his real name, but then he realizes he has to maintain the disguise of Jeolyop, sharing his honor to meet such an important figure here. Cheonjun appears embarrassed being held in high regard, but he's all the more serious and concerned when it comes to the matters of his sister. Scared shitless, Yangchun jumps to explain that they met on the way to Sacheon. Unfortunately, Bro blurted out that their destination was really Sacheon all along, causing Bia to catch his lie immediately. This turns the situation even worse, but Cheonjun is okay because he knows that his sister can be quite the handful to deal with. For now, he wants to offer the House of Ku a chance to stay in one of their rooms. But Yangchun turns this offer down, stating that they were only doing what they thought was right. Though it's a good offer, Bro just doesn't want to be around this crazy psychopath of a girl anymore and hopes to look elsewhere. Unfortunately, Muyan has to remind his young master that they really don't have any rooms booked either. He offers the idea of camping, but Muyan cuts him off, stating that their servants are exhausted beyond hell, so it's going to be hectic to force a camp again. And well, that's how he had to accept the offer in the end. Let's actually go back to Bia's background as the demonic martial artist in her previous life. The first thing she ever did after becoming one was annihilating her entire clan. This is the same woman who killed her own brother and her father, as well as the disciples of the clan. That led to her title of the Demonic Sword Empress, leading to a reputation unlike any other. To this day, Yang Qian has no clue what drove her to such limits to have killed her family in cold blood. But based on their conversation earlier, he couldn't tell any hostility between her and her brother. The weirdest thing about her is the technique called the Ruler's Sword. Back then, when she showcased a hint of it, he could already tell it was much stronger than her brother's. And yet, even after the display of such a powerful ability, unlike the Lightning Dragon, she doesn't seem to have a nickname of any kind. It only makes the boy wonder if there's some kind of internal conflict going on inside the house. Coming out of his room, he accidentally stumbles into Cheonjun, greeting him with kindness. But to Yangchun's shock, the bastard not only ignores him but also shoves him away, coldly reminding our boy to know his place. Yangchun has no clue what the fudge just happened. Cheonjun goes on to express that he doesn't want a shit piece like the boy to be conveniently talking to his sister. He thinks Bia has been somehow seduced by him, especially when she's extremely gullible. Therefore, this dude is prepared to slice Yangchun in half if he ever dares to speak to his sister again. Not to mention the sight of the servant casually mounting on her back. But when Bia suddenly makes an appearance and comes into frame, Bro literally switches personalities and acts like the sweetest and most welcoming child in the world. Yangchun is out there standing like, what the heck is going on? And his final conclusion about the Namgung family is that these idiots are all crazy in the end. Muyon the same day greets his master and tries to talk about the matters regarding the Namgung family. But our boy has had enough of his fill already and wants to leave. Muyon expresses that it's pretty easy for them to set off after breakfast. This is good news to our boy because he's just dying to leave already. He wants to make sure he doesn't become an enemy of the Namgung family from this point onwards. Arriving to get breakfast, he finds Seola and Bia enjoying their meal. Bro is struggling to sit between the two girls, questioning his decision. And well, the moment he does take a seat, Bia's brother is out here on the verge of exploding like a nuclear bomb, giving Yangchun a murderous glare from the opposite table. The funniest part is that every time Bia turns to look at Cheonjun, Bro changes his personality into a sweet child. Even Yang Cheon is questioning if this is some kind of technique at this point, because how does one even do that? Though he perfectly understands why Cheonjun is behaving in this manner, the good thing is that they won't be running into each other again at the weaponry exhibition. Yang Cheon finishes his meal early, deciding to exit the room as fast as possible. He says goodbye to Bia, who finds herself sensing some kind of dark stench from him. Cheonjun comes up to confront his sister, inquiring why she chose to sit on the side of the House of Ku. She takes one glance at him, at Cheonjun, and realizes that the stench is actually coming from him instead. The Lightning Dragon recommends that she sit with her own house next time around. Bia doesn't focus on contesting his opinion and simply apologizes. She sees Young Chun and the others leaving and tries to follow them, stating that she wants to rest in the carriage for a while. Her brother is still baffled by her interest. Anyway, she catches up to our boy, who is peeved by her following them. Cheonjun literally does a Kaneki finger crack from Tokyo Ghoul, expressing his sheer hatred for random intruders. As for the girl, he tells Young Chun that she's not just stalking them, rather she wants to travel alongside them. The young master of House Ku doesn't get why she's hoping to travel with them when she's got her own brother and the House of Namgung ready to set off. Well, Seola beams with confidence and states that she's the reason why. Pissed as shit, Yang Chun is done tolerating the stupid girls and wants them both off of the carriage. The guard insists that they'll meet their destination soon enough. After all, they're finally in the beautiful Sacheon region. Let's discuss House Dang of Sacheon. Following the virtuous path, this family took shelter in the Sacheon for many centuries. If the Namgung family excelled with their blade, and the Ping family overwhelmed with their strength, there was also the Dang family, who were the best when it came to poisoning and the mastery of metals alike. This weaponry exhibition held by the Dang family is simply a result of their brilliant reputation. Yang Chan, on the other hand, finds himself in a state of contemplation, recalling how he has 3 days to fulfill his task of finding the secret room. Knowing that it's in the Sacheon region, he could potentially start tracking it down, but for now, it's still too difficult. And the worst part? If he doesn't find it, he's gonna have to consult the Vagrant clan to find it for him. Still won't change the fact that he's gonna have to explore most of the city to get any meaningful outcome. Seola startles him all of a sudden as she admires the beautiful view from such a height, not to mention the incomparable wind. Giving him a sweet smile, she asks him to look at the fireflies dancing pretty under the moonlight. But to Young Chun, dude is unimpressed. Seola forces him away to help explore a lake nearby. A while later, they arrive standing under the graveyard of stars and the bright moon. The lake is huge, and unfortunately she got a beating for recklessly dragging him here. Even the young master is shocked about the sheer size of House Dang for having a forest to themselves. Calling his name, the silly Seola teases him with a game of peekaboo using a bunch of flowers. The girl is simply trying to make him happy, knowing that he's in a bad mood, so she's doing everything she can. But Yang Chan concludes that there's nothing she can do to help him. The insistent servant wants him to let his problems off his chest because she's ready to hear him out. Bro decides to gamble on the opportunity and supposes a situation where someone hid a treasure in the giant city. He wants to hear how Seola would try to find such a treasure. Giving him a stern glare, the adorable Seola doesn't even help and simply thinks the person who hid the treasure was being rude. While they're chatting about, a certain someone comes along to question what the two of them are doing in a restricted area. Yang Cheon realizes that it's true because they're basically in the House of Dang. The woman before him is actually responsible for stopping thousands upon thousands of demonic martial artists from raising the Sacheon region. Yes, this girl boss did all of that on her own. The poisonous queen, Soyol Dang, and the same woman who died by his hands in his previous life. Let's actually take a look at how that happened. At the edge of defeat, Soyol had nothing to pull. No more tricks left, while the demonic martial artist before her simply stepped forth, questioning if the poisonous queen was finished at last. Her eyes were no more, an injury she sustained from her battles, so she could barely question if he was a familiar person. Yang Chon at the time remarked that her family abandoned her completely, and that she's the only one from House Dang who stayed behind to protect the Sacheon region. In the end, nothing changed, which makes him question why she went to such limits. To that, the poisonous queen asked why he was here all the same then. Provoked by her question, he hastened to grab her neck, declaring that he's here to end her life, of course. Resisting the urge to say harder daddy, the poisonous queen apologizes to the demonic martial artist, which only made Yang Chan even more shocked and confused. At this point, Soyol concluded that she might have lost her mind, and right after losing both of her eyes, she could truly see everything even beyond normal sight. She thinks that she should have gone insane much sooner instead. Yang Chan told her to conclude her yapping session already. The poisonous queen's final words weren't something related to her, but a final wish for Yang Chan. But before she could finish her words, Bro snapped her neck, ending her life as he walked away. A look of sadness and conflict showed on his face as he observed his hand. Well, Soyol was here rambling in his damn face again. But knowing her at her current age, her nickname is actually the Poisonous Phoenix. Soyol is pretty insistent when suddenly Bia comes around to clarify the situation. The representative of the House of Dang is stunned to hear the news and pulls an attitude switch, greeting Yang Chun with delight and apologizing against a guest. Dude still maintains his identity of Jeolyap-ku. But that doesn't stop Soyol from being annoyed why he is meddling around the lake of all places. After all, the Dang family doesn't prevent outsiders from casually stepping in. But when Yang Chan points out that Bia is also an outsider, it pisses the girl off because she knows he's staring straight facts. This also means that they're being told to leave, so our boy takes the hint and focuses on doing exactly that. He and Seola go away, causing Soyol a bit of annoyance. She was glaring at him earlier because he wouldn't accept his mistakes of stepping foot here. The funniest part is that this girl actually admits that our boy is hot, but that still doesn't mean she's gonna go easy on him. Her little confession just now makes her realize what she just said, and she jumps to clarify her point to Bia. The silver-haired girl is just confused as ever, because the only way she remembers seeing him is as a rude and grumbling person. Soyeol goes away talking about how kind people are more beautiful than handsome people, which is still pretty funny because she's dragging this for no reason. The following morning, Youngchan steps out of his room, knowing that the exhibition is in 1 day's time. He wants to train for a bit. But to his surprise, the moment he opens the door, he's greeted by Bia and Cheonjun. Both made a surprising appearance. Well, turns out that the Dang family invited them for a meal, so that's why they're here. Bia wanted to tag Youngchun along as well, which is why they're here. However, our boy acts like he's a shy soul, which is a polite way of declining. Internally, Bro is hoping to God that these clowns leave him alone. But Cheonjun is insistent. Bro is pissed off too and grabs Youngchun's arm. This is getting irritating for the young master who keeps refusing, and yet he's dragged along for no reason. Fully pissed, Youngchun releases a hint of his aura, to the point Cheonjun has no point but to pull away. But that's about it for his tough guy act. Youngchun accepts the offer and realizes that there's no way out of this one. Just one last thing for Cheonjun, he drags him away for a polite little chat, reminding the bastard that he's got a bitch face for glaring at him like that in front of his sister. This bone-chilling warning pisses Cheonjun off, but he can't do anything but simply put on an act in front of his sister. Arriving to get breakfast, Youngchun stares down at a variety of spicy food options. He's really having a hard time selecting what to eat when everything here is drenched in spices. The House of Dang insists that they eat to their heart's content, but Youngchun is afraid and decides to go for the safest option, dumplings. As he's about to pick one and take it in his mouth, he notices the poisonous queen staring him down with a careful glare. She's been staring at him just like that in his past life as well, making him wonder what's the deal with her. He's a bit annoyed having to deal with the same pensive stare again. Anyway, the young master puts the dumpling in his mouth, immediately stunning himself with the sizzling spice. Dude is begging for a chance to spit it out without looking disrespectful. Even Soyeol appears to be having trouble with the level of spice. Bia offers him water to survive, and actually offers him a piece of meat that isn't as spicy. Seeing her casually talking to him like this, the young master questions why she's doing this. Meanwhile, I just love how Cheonjun is out here crushing his chopsticks out of sheer frustration. Finally, Soyeol comes around to sit right next to our boy, showcasing much of her shyness, much to his confusion. This man is about to end up with a harem at this point. Bro is collecting girls from every region. Yangchan teases Soyeol for having a lot to say, but she's a flustered mess. Girl is so bold that she nearly asks him if he was into her looks, when suddenly Cheonjun interrupts and asks for a training ground area. Unfortunately, the place is reserved for family members only. The place is well maintained, but Cheonjun is interested in taking a visit, so they all think it's a good idea to go there collectively after the meal. Meanwhile, Youngchan is getting a bad feeling, realizing that this guy must be plotting something fishy behind his back. Fast forwarding to the scene of the arena, the training ground is gigantic compared to the ones they've had before. To this day, not even the successors of the Dang family have any clue why their ancestors made it so big. Cheonjun laughs it off, and they all learn that Soyeol personally grew up training in these grounds when she was still interested in sparring. Hearing that much about her, Youngchun is glad that he's not in Soyeol's brother's position because he wouldn't want to deal with her. The cute thing about the young poisonous queen is that she feels embarrassed after her brother blurted out that fact. Cheonjun believes that it's a good idea to digest food with a bit of training. He's been waiting for this opportunity after all, and straight up challenges Youngchun for a spar. This bastard's smiling face just shows how much he wants to beat up our boy in a fight. But of course, he's not stupid to comply so easily. Youngchun confesses that he's merely a third-rate martial artist, so there's no point in fighting. Soyeol roars ahead, stating that it would be terrifying if Cheonjun ended up hurting our boy's pretty face, especially considering the age difference between the two. I just love how she's down bad about him and not even pretending to hide it. Cheonjun expresses that neither of them will use internal energy, and this will be more or less an instructional battle than anything. With this new proposal, he's waiting for Youngchun's answer with a confident face. Hearing that there won't be any use of internal energy in this battle, Youngchun finds himself amused and questions if such a fight will even be possible. The bitch face doesn't get his question, so our boy clarifies and repeats himself. He's dying to know if Cheonjun is really in the position to instruct him at all. Seeing the tension rise between the two of them, Soyeol's brother sweeps in to tell Youngchun that he should respect Cheonjun for his age. Still, the bitch face is fine with accepting the challenge, convulsing his aura, curious to see just how good his opponent really is. Before Cheonjun is even able to allow him the courtesy of making the first move, Youngchun cuts the dude off and declares that he will go second. This makes Cheonjun seethe with his blood boiling as he rages on ahead for a first strike. Youngchun casually evades the slice. It's a heavy blow, but Cheonjun isn't stopping there. He follows up with a piercing or a jabbing motion, causing our boy to draw away. From the way this fight is going, Youngchun notices that he's facing an opponent who plays with feints and fake strikes. But it's a good thing he knows exactly what Cheonjun's intentions are, allowing him to maneuver against his blade without much trouble. Soyeol witnesses this battle take place, which gives us a good opportunity to take a look into her past. She was different from her siblings from the very moment she was born. The children loved chasing after normal pets, but she was comfortable around wolves and tigers alike. The girl was fearless around creatures that opposed each other. These creatures stood at the top of their respective food chain, but these strong animals were much more beautiful to her than the ones that became their prey. It's actually this very reason that made it difficult for Soyeol to be attracted to someone. She was more interested and fascinated by powerful beasts than humans, though she was hoping that she could find someone like that in the exhibition. It was true that Cheonjun was strong, but hilariously, she found him feminine-looking more than anything. God damn, she really destroyed the twinks here. She regretted that most men weren't like the respectable wolf Dangrang. But in the end, she did end up encountering someone she was fascinated by. A boy that had her in a chokehold from the moment he was in front of her. Soyeol's heart was beating so fast and she didn't know why. At first, she thought that it was just a fleeting feeling and that tomorrow, she would see him no differently than any other person. But when they had breakfast the next day, he appeared as bright as ever. Eyes unlike any other. An inability to eat spicy food. Bro did the smallest of actions and this obsessive bitch was down bad for him for it. Before she even knew, she was already sitting next to him and breaking down. Realizing that it was really love, the bold Soyeol was moments away from confessing her love with the next step. And well, that's how they got here. In the training area, a piece of Cheonjun's wooden sword is shattered and goes out of bounds. As for the battle, Bro is finding himself winded. Dude is demolished because he just can't get an edge on our boy, who is enjoying Cheonjun's demise. The scene makes Soyeol a steaming mess for him again. The girl literally drops to her knees here. Let's focus on the fight now. The bitch face is out here getting a reality check that he's not as special as he thought he would be. He's being toyed with even after making serious attacks. In his helpless state, Yang Chong gives him a lesson to remember. He talks about how geniuses and talented people think way too much during their decisions, which opens a path of exploitation, a weakness. Yang Chong is of the opinion that in a real battle, he would have killed this guy 3 times at least. His punch strikes the ground as Bia's brother draws away in fear, calling his opponent a coward for attacking when he didn't have a weapon. But our boy is a straight-up shit-talker. He tells Bitchface to grab another weapon and continue on the fight. After all, this is supposed to be an instructional spar, so the senior fighter should be teaching him lots here. Cheonjun is seething with rage as he picks another blade as Yang Chun continues to talk down on his opponent. But all of a sudden, Bitchface forgets about the rule of not using any internal energy and imbues his blade with its full might. Then he charges against Yang Chun. The ironic thing is that he still misses. Yang Chun, who wants to return the blow with double the payback, retaliates with a punch. But before he can do anything, Cheonjun pulls up with a slashing cage technique to entrap him. Regardless, our boy is literally him because he breaks the slashes and frees himself, proving his worth as a fighter and as an opponent even stronger than Cheonjun. Now that he doesn't have any reason to hold back anymore, Yang Chun thinks it is time for him to unleash his might. So he goes for the all-powerful, anti-army, anti-world, anti-universe, ultra-mega super-powerful generational nutcracker technique. Bro cracks his egg so hard that even I felt it. Just look at Cheonjun's face, bro reaped his damn soul. The funniest part is how the author conveys how the eggs were literally cracked from that attack. Yang Chun stands over him as the victor while he's trembling like a near-dead animal. Giving him a final look of arrogance, he laughs at his opponent's misery and wonders if he ended Cheonjun's bloodline here. Cheonjun's on the ground whining like a dog and cursing our boy out, causing Yang Chun to taunt him for perhaps maintaining his family jewels intact for being able to still speak. Cheonjun calls him a cowardly martial artist and that he's going to report the matter to every single martial house he knows of, forcing them to act against Yang Chun. All of a sudden, the young master of the House of Ku amusingly asks him how many men he's killed. Cheonjun tries to feign ignorance, but our boy knows the truth about his life. Cheonjun had killed at least around a dozen people here after all. Yang Chun makes it his business to pin his arm in a position that makes him tremble in torture. At this point, Soyeol's brother interrupts and urges to stop the fight. But Yang Chun is right to call them out on their bullshit, as they all clearly saw this guy use the internal energy before, as well as the fact that he wanted to kill him in this battle. They can't even use the excuse that he was just a young person, because he was still older than our boy in the end. Soyeol's brother emphasizes that Cheonjun belongs to the Namgung house, so going any further than this will only invite trouble to Yang Chun's doorstep. The boy clarifies that he's holding back much of his power specifically because of that knowledge, but he's dying to know what would have been House Dang's reaction if the opposite happened, and their positions were switched. While he's in the middle of thinking that over, our boy ruthlessly shatters the bastard's arm, leaving Cheonjun in a state of agony and pain. But it's only after he's done breaking the dude's arm that Yang Chun realizes that he might have pushed it too far. After all, the second elder might react harshly to this, knowing that he reduced the lightning dragon to a shitty mess. On second thought, he thinks that Elder Ryun might actually praise him for the accomplishment, so it may not be as bad as he thinks. The best part is that he's got witnesses all around this time, and it's clear that Cheonjun is wrong in this case. Just as the boy is leaving, Bia grabs his sleeve and stops him. This time, she desires to know his name, his real name. Yang Chun pulls away and reminds her that he's Jeolyup Ku, of course. But somehow Bia knows that he's lying to her face. The boy doesn't have any interest in telling her his name, questioning if she's asking so that she can report the matter to the higher-ups. A thought clings to his mind. He just destroyed her brother Black and Blue. And yet Baya wasn't even sad or angry. Drawing closer to his face, she requests to know his real name. Bro is getting rizzed up by every house, and he calls her out for addressing him so informally. Bia corrects herself with actual manners and honorifics attached, and requests to know his identity. Yangchan wants her to stop stalking him around in case he does, and she agrees to uphold that promise. Deciding for a moment, he ends up telling her his real name, fluttering the feelings inside her heart. Yeah, this dude is literally Mr. Steal Your Girl at this point. A while later, Yangchon comes to the realization that he can't attend the exhibition anymore. But he's still okay with that, since it will only give him time to look for the secret treasure room. But for now, he's gotta rest after that tiresome battle. Also, he's not exactly having the most pleasant thoughts wondering how Muyon's reaction will be after hearing the news. In the next scene, Seola's all by herself looking at the view. Muyon rages inside to find the young master and asks if the girl has seen him somewhere. She states that he's nowhere around, but this guy is suspicious as heck and scans the entire room. Muyon expresses that Yangchon has yet to return from his breakfast with the House of Dang. While he's out here losing his mind and learning about the news of his victory against Cheonjun, Seola is busy scanning the city again. The scene drifts off to delve into the House Yeon of Gumcheon region. At a certain point in time, they were once known as the strongest and wealthiest house. They were responsible for the creation of powerful martial artists and ruled over many large companies. But in the end, their glorious reign came to a tragic end with a family massacre. No one knows who caused it. Based on the records of the family, it came to people's knowledge that their family treasure hid under a white maple tree. But that same dang tree has become a pain in the ass for our boy to find. Yangchan can't even find a maple tree, let alone its color being white. He's been searching all day and there's just no way of finding a tree like that. At this point, he thinks it must be a ridiculous rumor that caused misinformation. While he's resting, Yangchon finds himself exhausted. Not only did he barely eat breakfast because of the spiciness, he also had an exhausting battle. And the next thing he did was climb a mountain all day long. From out of nowhere, Seola catches up to him and offers him a yakwa, causing him to appreciate her in his own way. He's also pretty surprised that she packed a shit ton of food along for the journey. The funniest part is that Yangchun doesn't even realize until a minute later that she's not supposed to be here. They lay out dinner and discuss important matters. Yangchun learns that people are looking for him, so she naturally decides to do the same. The interesting part is how she knew he was headed for the mountain and managed to track him down. To that, she proudly declares it was just her gut feeling. It's a good thing she brought food along, because Yangchun can survive with this. Still, he's worried about his search because there's no white tree in sight. The food she's brought is actually for 3 days worth of sustenance, but it's still unclear whether or not he'll be able to find the tree or not. He wants to give up, and talks about how the white tree must have been a damn lie. Seola casually admits that the tree was actually pretty when she saw it. Yangchun has a sharp moment of realization as he jumps all over her asking where she saw it. The surprising part? She actually saw it with him, which blows his damn mind. Yangchun is brought to the place that is supposedly where she saw the white tree, but to his eyes he can't see anything. It's just a dead tree without anything remarkable about it. Seola for some reason is able to consider it a maple tree and one that is white in color. Bro is so done with her he thinks they'll have to get her eyes checked for a doctor next time. But the adorable potato argues that it's actually him who needs to get his eyes checked, because she can see the tree clearly. Yangchun doesn't want to argue with her and thinks it's just his fault for believing in the girl. To that, the potato finds herself disheartened, stating that she's not on the list. Here comes the interesting part. There's a voice inside of her head that is commanding her and confirming about the tree's existence. But Yangchun is still all the same, realizing that he's back to square one with nothing solved for him. With an entire mountain left to scan, things aren't looking too bright for our boy. He's really starting to consider asking help from the second elder to focus on his training instead of meandering around in a place like this. Still, he has little faith in the old man's teachings when suddenly the young master hears something in the distance and spots Seola doing something. She's found herself interacting with some kind of energy crack. From this distance alone, our boy senses that something dangerous is about to happen as she's tackling the unknown. He demands that she step away immediately, but something comes over her Seola as she reaches her hand to interact with the crack of lightning. Yangchun dashes forth to stop her, but it's already too late as she ends up interacting with the blue spatial crack. After forming a connection, it sends ripples enough for Yangchun to fall back. But when he opens his eyes again, he is utterly starstruck. The same dead tree with nothing remarkable about it was now glowing an impossible white color, shimmering in remarkable beauty. Seola turns to face him, confirming that she was right in the end. She gives him this cute smile as if proud of her accomplishment. Despite having the experience of his past life, Yangchun has no idea how to explain what just happened before his eyes. A dead tree coming to life is unheard of, not to mention the fact that his girl just created a ripple through space. He wonders if she was interacting with some kind of special barrier that was meant to disguise the appearance of the tree. That still leaves the mystery of how Seola herself was able to figure that out. He asks her about it, questioning how the hell she made the tree pop up all of a sudden. But this naive and dense potato has no idea what happened. In fact, Seola doesn't even have the memory of interacting with the dimensional crack or barrier. Her reaction practically frustrates our boy because he thinks she's being ridiculously difficult for no reason. Young-chun chooses to focus on what's important and decides to postpone the interrogation later. For now, he has to discover the treasure from the tree. From the looks of it, there's nothing special over the ground, meaning it must be around. Suddenly, a crater glowing a purple hue catches his attention, drawing him in as he looks down into the abyss. To his shock, there's an energy sphere or a gate indicating that it's the entrance to the special room. While our boy is hesitant, this girl is on another level of being fearless. She literally jumps off without even thinking about the consequences like it's an everyday thing for her. Seola tells her master to come join along before she dissolves into the entrance. Young-chun is frustrated, but he trusts the process and takes the leap. I find it really funny to imagine that if they were wrong, both would be dead from the fall damage. Anyway, the sudden appearance of the glowing white tree catches the attention of a passerby. This random dude is rather impressed that the kids managed to bypass the barrier. Back to Yang-cheon, who finds his footing and thanks the heavens that the fall damage didn't kill him. But Seola, on the other hand, appears a bit confused. Well, it's actually because before their eyes, they've got two pathways. It only begs the question which one of them leads to the treasure room. The adorable potato tries listening to her head and with conviction, believes they should follow the path next to them. With her recent development and strangeness, Young-chun only gets more confused. Trusting in her gut, he takes the shot by following the advice. As for the random dude from earlier, he's also seen popping from the entrance and tailing them along the way. Seola's little hair antenna is out here giving her signals like a goddamn GPS. While our boy is starting to question if she was truly right this time, as apparently, there's no end to this pathway in sight. Because of the fact that the lights are diminishing with the more they carry on, he's having a hard time trusting her. Seola is still assertive and confident and follows through, until finally concluding that they've arrived. Well, it's not exactly the most pleasant sight as there's nothing here. Yang-chun smacks the sweet potato and observes his surroundings, noticing how all the self-illuminating orbs are off. There's also the fact that there's just nothing here, when he clearly expected mountains of treasure. As he's beginning to doubt his decision, the little girl worriedly alarms him of someone following them from behind. Seola finds herself startled by the sound of a snake slithering and making its way around them. The reveal is grand. It's a beautiful white snake, more monstrous than anything else we've seen in the series besides Yang-chan's massive balls. Both of them shit their pants at the sight of the gigantic demonic creature. Seola's out here crying while Yang-chan is trying his best to keep his shit together, questioning why such a gigantic monster would appear in a place like this. Not to mention the fact that this place was abandoned and empty only 1 second ago. There's just no way they missed a beast of this size and appearance. From the looks of things, and according to the monster scaling system, Yang-chan is terrified that they're facing a blue-class creature, which ranks the third lowest in the system. The good thing is that the creature has yet to spot them, because it would have started attacking already otherwise. Our boy is of the opinion that it might hibernate, so it's their best chance of escaping. But right as he looked back, the white snake breaks free from its hibernation, locking its eyes with the humans. While our boy is contemplating his chances of survival against a creature like this, Seola's eyes are gleaming a confident gold, resembling the same eyes she possessed in her past life. Yang-chan internalizes that he doesn't see a fair chance of winning this battle, especially not at his current level. Their chances are slim, and an aura of frustration looms over him. He'd worked so hard to get to this point, so there's just no chance in hell he was going to let it all slip against a creature like this. Yang-chan believes that if he's going to go down, he's going to go down fighting. But as he's charging the attack, the creature actually speaks to the boy, demanding that he stop charging his energy. The fact that a demonic creature spoke to him is shocking enough. Yang-chun learns that the snake has no intention of harming them at all. To that, he questions how a demonic creature can even talk to humans. Hearing the word demonic creature makes the snake laugh, before counter-questioning Yang-chun how an unrelated outsider was able to enter the bounds of the Yan family's treasure hold. Our boy simply states that he's been doing his digging. This answer excites the creature, imploring it to ask the young boy why he came in search of this place. Yang-chun comes up with an excuse, stating that it was merely by chance. It's actually an intelligent reason, because even if by chance the snake serves the House of Yan, it would actually kill him right here for trying to steal their treasury. The funny realization is when Yang-chun catches himself calling a literal snake as Sir. Anyway, the creature expresses that the boy has come at a loss because there's nothing of value for him here. He addresses Yang-chun once more, drawing near to the boy's face and asking if the boy has any idea of what fate truly is. It's quite an open-ended philosophical question, to the point Yang-chun nearly curses at the mention of it. It's funny because the snake was somewhat expecting a rich answer, and not exactly what the boy responded with. It reduces the monster to a hearty laughter, satisfyingly enjoying the hilarity of the situation. Even Yang-chun is questioning if the damn snake is on drugs or some shit. The snake confirms that he might have asked a strange question considering their conversation. He always knew that the House of Yan was no more, but for some strange reason, the monster still stayed here in this place, unsure as to why. Perhaps it was some kind of regret, a form of punishment it gave to itself. Yang-chun doesn't want to listen to his yap session and tries to exit the situation. But the snake actually leaves them with a reward for making it experience joy for a long while. It's a golden stone that appears differently from a demonic stone. The snake understands that the stone will end up at the hands of someone else eventually, so it's best for the boy to keep it instead. While he's reaching to grab it, the creature remarks that the boy will be able to consume it more responsibly and easier than anyone else if he bears the burden of the stone. He's speaking in riddles, and Yang-chan has no clue of what this burden is. The golden stone illuminates a bright yellow color, alarming the boy as it begins activating its effects on him. Yang-chan is startled and confused. He can't sense an ounce of demonic energy from this stone. His absorption technique is kicking in, but only this time, he doesn't feel like absorbing demonic energy. It's quite different, and frankly agonizing as he struggles to contain the stone's power. Then, a hand reaches out to him, gently patting his back. It's Seola, and before he's even able to recognize what she's doing, Yang-chan is knocked unconscious on the floor. And now for the grand reveal. The snake was actually extending so much of his kindness to please Seola, even though she regrets handling things this way. The girl is illuminated with a heavenly aura, her expression appearing different from the adorable potato she usually is. Actually, it's because of this aura alone that caused Yang-chan to fade in seconds, and it also runs the risk of killing him by overwhelm if she doesn't stop. The snake advises him to tend to her matters quickly if she wants the best for him. He's also quite amused that Seola is doing far too much to bend the bounds of reality. She wonders if her reasoning is difficult to comprehend to someone like the creature. To that, the snake expresses that it's quite the opposite, but it's also why the creature pities her with all of its heart. Seola counters and asks why a creature like himself willingly chose to hand over an invaluable pearl to a boy that he just met for the first time. In response, the snake states that it was the will of his heart that led to the decision. In the end, he's waited far too long for the Yan family to come and retrieve it. But the reality is, they will never come. So now, it has reached a state of acceptance as its body withers away. A reminder to us all that we should let go of the things that we can't change and just accept reality. In its fleeting state, Seola shows a look of concern, reaching to the embers of the snake's skin, questioning if the creature met so much as a meaningless fate. But when she looks at Yang-chan, something happens to her. She thinks he's a stupid clown, who despite holding his second life as the most precious, still ended up stepping in for her. This means that he valued Seola even more than the second chance he got. His action alone melts her heart, but a voice inside Seola demands that her body be returned. Wiping away her tears, she apologizes to the little girl version of herself, and begs to keep the body for just a while longer as there's still danger. The random dude from earlier ended up finding his way here, and he's impressed that the girl noticed his presence. Seola calls him a bitch of the Namgung family just as she considers the rest of them. This pisses the guy off as he readies his blade, stating that these kids were truly reckless for climbing a mountain in the middle of the night, not knowing the dangers. He's also disappointed that Cheon-jun ended up losing to such a sorry state of the House of Ku when he can't even handle a mountain climb. Anyway, they came here for Yang-chan upon orders. Saying so, he puts a blade against Seola's neck, who fearlessly asks if this is upon the orders of the Namgung family, or just Cheon-jun the bitch-face's bidding. Turns out that it's the latter. Having confirmed this, Seola gently taps the blade, and before the dude is even able to finish his damn sentence, his arm fucking hits the floor. This girl is a literal monster. He roars in pain, and all she does is order him to be quiet. She then invokes the same heavenly blades that her grandfather also used, her hair turning into a golden color, resembling the same in her previous life. Seola wants to end this fight without waking up her precious Yang-chan. Earlier that same night, the scene cuts to Cheon-jun. Let's just say bro is not having a good time as he smacks a fist down in frustration. I do have to admit that he's ripped, but that doesn't change the fact that he took an embarrassing L in front of the ladies. Dude is literally such a sore loser that he still thinks that Yang-chan must have used some kind of trick to get one up on him. There's just no way otherwise that a fool like him was able to get the better of him. Or at least that's what this arrogant prick thinks. He can't swallow getting his ass beat so hard that even punching shit in frustration causes him sheer amount of agony, especially the arm that was broken. Finally pissed off, Cheon-jun decided to demand his personal guard for a task. Walmart Gojo asked him if they have been successful in any way of exploiting an opening. Mikhail, the guard, expressed that Muyon was incredibly strong, and he's someone they can't take lightly. But for whatever reason, they've spotted the young master to be away from his guard for an unknown reason. This means they've got an opportunity to strike the boy down while he's without any defenses. Cheon-jun let out a sinister grin, entrusting Mikhail with the duty of killing the kid and returning with satisfying news. However, Mikhail couldn't help but remind his master that they were dealing with a member of the House of Ku, so there could be repercussions for going too far. Cheon-jun let his emotions get the better of him, and ordered a full-on assassination on Yang-chan's head, believing that it was only a fair exchange for the troubles he had caused. Armed with his blade, Mikhail set off to execute the order. Lo and behold, back to the present, Bro's just lost his arm against a divine warrior with no equal. He wants to know about her identity, causing Seola to playfully ponder before answering that a shit piece like him doesn't have to know. Before he's even able to say his second question, dude's second arm is slashed off and he's put on the ground like a whining dog. Seola's done answering pointless questions and glances softly at the unconscious Yang Cheon, believing that it's going to be troublesome if this keeps on any longer. Meanwhile, Mikhail is starting to realize this job is way out of his pay grade and that he's got to run for his damn life. With what strength he can muster, he tries to take a stand, knowing that the girl is distracted by Yang Cheon for now. Dude literally makes a run for it, despite his arms bleeding out like hell. He thinks it'll be a good idea to return another time. His legs running as fast as he can, Mikhail reflects that he'd never faced a monstrous opponent like this before. But just like last time, before he's even able to finish his thought, his body hits the ground. But only this time, his head is severed from it. A brutal killing. Something you could never expect from a warrior shining so brightly like Seola. The future version of Seola apologizes to the past version, stating that she feels sad for murdering someone in her body. But it was necessary. In return, the sweet potato simply demanded control of her body again. Apologizing continuously, the future Seola apologizes and makes one final request to stay for a while longer with Yang Cheon while she can. Just enough for her to admire him more. But the past self inside her is infuriated and demands control of her body again, causing her future self to pull her hand back, promising that she won't make any interruptions beyond this. The interesting part is that the snake's withered body is still communicating with the future Seola, questioning if she's already leaving. She confirms having burdened her past self more than enough. The snake asks if she knows who she really is, and to that, she responds saying she's got a rough idea. Her golden swords flicker and fade away, and she understands that it will be difficult from here on out. With the snake fully withering away, it offers one final hope, a wish that Seola's future is blessed. Though she shows an expression of hopelessness and regret, Seola gives Yang Cheon one final smile, wishing for a miracle to allow them to meet again one day. With that, the past self retains control of her body as her hair reverts to normal. The following day, we cut to the scene where Yang Cheon finally wakes up. The adorable potato is the first thing he sees. He quickly scans his surroundings, not knowing where the hell they are. Apparently the tree is back to being its normal, unremarkable self, while the both of them have exited the secret room. The entrance is no longer there, and Yang Cheon is clueless about everything that happened. Well folks, to recall what happened, in the end they found their maple tree, and a giant ass snake greeted them hello there like Obi-Wan Kenobi. The boy interacted with the snake's pearl and absorbed it fully before getting knocked out. He's trying to tell this entire story to his clueless servant who just, has no idea or recollection of whatever happened. Yang Cheon tries his best to explain and is starting to think that she's actually gaslighting his ass because there's just no way she missed all of that. Seola gets irritated and mouths off the ridiculousness of the whole situation. There's just no way she was able to discover a white maple tree and talk to a giant snake after all. In some way, even Yang Cheon thinks that it's a bit of a jump for someone like her. Anyway, this begs the question how they exited the secret room. Seola expresses that she has no clue and that she just found them both lying here after waking up. A sudden aching stuns our boy in his chest, but he tells her that it's nothing to worry about. It's just that his danjian is aching. At first it's nothing to him, but then he realizes something. Entering a state of meditation, the boy closes his eyes and begins channeling his aura. He's confirmed his suspicions. Ever since he absorbed the invaluable strange pearl, he's experienced an increase of internal energy coursing through his body. It's more than enough to catapult him all the way up to the fourth ring. The very fact that his body experienced a change means that he wasn't just hallucinating those events. They really did happen, and it makes him wonder if the snake shifted them up here and tampered with Seola's memory alongside it. Well, he doesn't care anymore and recommends that they leave to find Muyeon, as things will only get worse if they stay here for long. The boy thinks of an idea, deciding to try something. He lowers his body, extending his arms back, and tells Seola to hop onto his back. The idea is that it's going to be way faster if he carries her all the way down instead of walking slowly. The cute servant finds herself embarrassed because she ate a lot and feels like a burden to carry. But this only frustrates him even more, so he forces her to just get on. Seola agrees in the end, and asks if she's heavy. Instead of denying like a gentleman, bro straight up says that she's definitely not light for sure. Channeling his blaze wheel of 3 rings, he allows an ample amount of internal energy to course through his body. His body erupts with incredible speed, like a projectile taking off to meet its destination. Lunging from one location to the other, Yang Cheon expresses just how light he feels even with the extra weight. It's almost like he's flying with how fast he's going. The majestic view of the sun makes both of them happy as they continue their way back. Let's cut the scene to Muyeon. While things may appear to be happy and chill for our duo, this dude is out here biting his nails in worry. He's worried like crap for the young master who has been missing for an entire day. If something happens to him, bro is getting killed. To his surprise, he casually hears the same young master from behind. They've arrived home and Yang Cheon is surprised why Muyeon is here. The guard roars out his anger at the boy who didn't even leave a letter or a note to inform him of his journey. Yang Cheon plays it off casually, stating that he did return in one piece. And yes, One Piece is real. Muyeon sobs his eyes out. He'd assumed that the worst had happened to his young master. Wiping away his tears, he inquires for more information. Just where was he and why? Seola is in the middle of blurting out their encounter with a titanic snake, but our boy stops her shut. He casually plays it off again, stating that they were taking a simple walk is all. Muyeon is worried and suspicious, wanting to know if something happened along the way. Thinking of immediate excuses, Yangchun realizes that dealing with his clever and questioning servant will be tough. He switches topics and asks about the 2 random people hanging around in his quarters. Those 2 random people are actually not so random at all. They're the hoes. I mean the Soyol and Bia who are munching on food without a worry in the world. Even our boy is confused, questioning if Soyol was waiting for his return. He's also pretty sure Bia made a promise not to annoy him, and yet she's here in his room. Both of them showcase different yet funny reactions. They're a double headache for our boy, who can't with these crazy bitches. Yangchon learns that they're both actually here to bid farewell to him. Curiously, Yangchon inquires if the Cheonjun is also here, but gladly he learns that he's not. The funniest part is that Bia told her brother that she was going off to greet Yangchon, and all he said in return was that she won't ever find him again. Neither Yangchon nor Bia know what that means, but anyway she raises her hand casually to ask a question regarding his situation. She wants to learn about where he went. Yangchon is really bad at coming up with excuses because he can't even say anything before her. Bia has a request, releasing a hint of her electrifying aura as she challenges Yangchon for a duel. Immediately, our boy acts like a damsel in distress who is so tired that he feels dizzy and wants to rest. Muyeon is initially worried, but then our boy shoots him a menacing glare to follow the fucking script. This leads to Muyeon kicking the annoying hose out of his room. Before leaving, Soyol has something to give him as a token of their meeting. It's an actual invitation to join the weaponry exhibition held next year. Being the tsundere that she is, she pretends not to care whether he'll come or not. But it's a good thing for our boy, who has no interest in coming here again anyway. He simply thanks her, causing Soyol to clarify that she's doing this only for the sake of both their families. Saying so, they leave his room. The future poisonous queen remarks that he looked normal in his reaction, but she notices something about Bia. This girl has an unusual smile on her face, which complicates things. She decides to teasingly ask Bia if she has fallen in love with the honorable young master of House Ku. The scene cuts there, and I guess a few days before the night, Seola is seen jumping like a ragdoll on the mattress, saying all sorts of childish and cute things. Yangchon, on the other hand, is questioning if she's suffering from some kind of mental illness. Soyol deep dives on the tradition of Thanksgiving called Chuseok in their culture, which is basically celebrated as a feast for the guests. The yakwa snack that is Seola's favorite was actually derived from this tradition. Yangchon looks towards his annoying servant and tells her that there's no point trying to celebrate a tradition that isn't even one of their own. Poor girl is reduced to a crying puddle again, but Bia breaks her silence and expresses that there may be one way to celebrate it. All that is required is to make a wish to the moon, and then it shall grant them a wish, allowing everyone to celebrate the wonders of Chuseok. I have to remind you all that this is supposed to take place sometime before Yangchon went on his search for the white maple tree. Focusing back on the main storyline again, we resume from the part where Soyol questions Bia. Giving it a thought for a moment, the Namgung girl questions what it really means to like someone. The future poisonous queen turns into a cute mess and ends up being unable to put it into words. Bia switches topics and asks about the thing that Soyol wanted to bring along. The funny part is that the invitation was originally meant for Bia, but her feelings got the better of her, and Soyol instead gave it to her crush Yangchon. But Bia doesn't mind and pats the little girl, stating that she did a good job for that. They both share a very sweet relationship and continue on. Suddenly, Bia experiences a shadowy allure as her vision staggers for a bit. She strengthens her resolve and expresses that she and Yangchon will run into each other someday again. That night, the scene cuts to the Namgung family, where the clan lord learns of the things that went down in Sacheon. He remembers tasking his son to only look after his sister, and because of his reckless decisions, they lost a trusted guard. The clan head calls his son a damn fool, but not even Cheonjun has any idea of what the hell could have killed Mikhail. In his mind, there's just no way that his trusted servant was done like that, especially when he was considered one of the best martial artists around. And yet, that same reliable guy is missing all of a sudden. His father addresses Cheonjun, unleashing a ferocious crackle of lightning with every step, forcing his son's entire body to shudder in fear. You see, there's a reason why he, as the clan head, is disappointed in his son. It's not because of the boy's failure or that he tried murdering his opponent in that match. The only thing that bothers the ruthless Namgung clan head is why his son failed to cover his tracks and couldn't finish the job. For now, he doesn't want to punish Cheonjun for the mistakes he made, but he will be facing extreme training for an extended period of time. Cheonjun musters up the resolve and agrees to his father's orders. We can see him appearing breathless just in his presence. The clan head emphasizes that Cheonjun should forget his encounter with the son of the Ku family for now. This comes as a shock to the boy, who was clearly looking forward to his father's approval. In return, the clan head simply shoots a menacing glare back at his son, forcing him to avert his eyes in disappointment. He tells his son that it's only after he will take on the mantle of the clan head that he will understand why he means this advice seriously. For now, there will be no conflicts with the House of Ku. Cheonjun agrees, and to his utter despair, His father leaves a note that it's possible they'll end up sharing families with each other. Oh man, if I was Cheon-jun here, I would just jump off a cliff after hearing that. Back at the house of Koo, our boy shares the exact same reaction actually. Yang-chan is fucking shocked by what the second elder said. His new engagement date is already set up. The boy offers his complaints, stating that he literally just got back from a dangerous trip to Sachon and he's now dealing with an engagement. Not to mention his previous broken engagement from the house of Peng. Elder Ryun knows about that incident, and yet he still wants to send the same dude to yet another relationship. I have to say he's kind of the ultimate wingman here, because he doesn't want Yang-chan to remain single and believes it's best to get engaged. Seola finds herself worried that he's getting in a relationship with another girl, but our boy promises her that nothing of the sort is going on. The funniest part? She doesn't even know what a damn engagement is. She thinks it's a food item. Anyway, Muyan consults the young master and confirms that the whole engagement stuff is actually real. He'd been on reporting duty in Sacheon and heard people talking about it casually. The funny thing? Everyone knew about it except for the dude who was supposed to be part of the engagement. Anyway, Yang-chan is genuinely surprised that someone took up on the offer of settling a marriage with him, given how badly his previous engagement ended. Curious enough to ask, he demands to know what kind of stupid house ridiculously signed their daughter up with him. Grandpa Ryan laughs it off, and right as he's in the middle of saying Namgung, Yang-chan finishes the sentence for him. Yeah, bro is finished. He has no idea why the Namgung family would ever even consider the possibility of tangling him. Not to mention the fact that their family has already accepted the engagement proposal from the house of Koo. The boy adds 2 and 2 together, realizing that there's only one girl from the Namgung house. Elder Ryan confirms that they've already met each other at the exhibition too. Yang-chan's face draws a dead silence. Finally it clicks, his fiancée is going to be the beautiful Bia. Well, it goes without saying that our boy is pissed that he's got to put up with a crazy bitch. Elder Ryun reminds him not to say such words against his fiancée. Unfortunately, the boy can't even control this situation as his family ultimately already decided. If he has complaints, he's gonna have to deal with the head of the Koo family. To top it off, there's an even more urgent matter that needs to be taken care of. While Yang Qian is wondering what could be more problematic, the old geezer gives him a smile as he reveals that his sister has returned. The revelation cracks our boy's confidence. And no, they're not talking about Yeonsu here, but the majestic older sister and the leader of the 5 squads. Exploring the words of the sovereign fighter of destruction, he once stated that the golden era was upon their world. The birth of geniuses from every family began sprouting as if they were stars from the sky. There were many geniuses among each family, and the boy's elder sister just so happened to be born in that era. For Yangchun, he was unfortunately always compared to his older sister, and even remarked as the unlucky child who was born in the wrong era. Even though he possessed talent, he didn't hold a candle to his sister. The searing sword, Hebe Koo, is the pride of the Koo family, a woman of boundless talent and strength that cannot be compared. It's actually one of the reasons the boy grew up despising his older sister. Just hearing of her arrival, Yangchun's survival instincts kick in, and he's immediately trying to look for a place to hide. Any place far from this hellhole would do well, unless Grandpa Ryun comes in to stop him, of course. He isn't letting this kid hide anywhere, not even this once, believing that it's a time of reunion with his sister. Yangchun is begging for the old fart to just pretend to ignore his existence for a while, but Ryun catches on that the boy is being dramatic over his sister's return. In reality, Yangchun is afraid of what his sister will do to him during her stay, so he's gonna make it his business to hide for a couple of months at least. Elder Ryun grabs his head and questions if the boy hit his head or got poisoned in Sacheon because he's acting like a little prick. As they're discussing about Hebe's return, the boy hears an explosion from the training grounds, and it's enough of a sign to him that his dear old sister is coming over to him. That flaming monster is excited to meet him after all. Yangchun doesn't share that excitement and tells Muyan to quickly make a blockade on the door, as if some piece of wood is going to stop his sister. The funniest thing is how they ended up using a damn broom to block the gates as the most reliable form of defense. The personal guard inquires what his young master will do once his sister breaks her way inside. From the other side, Hebe laughs, almost annoyed that her little brother blocked the door when she was so excited to see him. Even Muyon is shocked when a mere touch of her hand forms cracks on the gate. When she has a good sight on her brother, she destroys the door and sends Muyon flying. Striding towards him, Hebe is pulsing with a crimson aura as she questions why her brother is being such an annoyance. Yangchun probably thinks he's about to see God after this, but she simply waves him hello and recommends that the boy greet older people when he sees them. She's also surprised that he's standing still without doing anything. The question confuses Yangchun, who inquires if he's supposed to be doing something else. Quickly recalling his mistake, the boy kneels in front of her, respecting her rank. Hebe doesn't demean him or anything and simply pats his head. She's glad to meet the second elder as well after a while. Grandpa Ryun tells her that he's amazed to see that she's still maintaining her reputation as the leader of the sword squads. Hebe isn't the egotistical type and humbly offers praise to her hardworking squad members. While our boy is hoping for a plan to run from this place, Hebe addresses her little brother and wants to know if he knows about the 2 mistakes he made. Yangchun confesses that he tried blocking the door and running away. which is funny because she only thought of the first thing and not his plans of running away. Suddenly, a thought clicks in his mind and he asks if he made a mistake defeating Yeonsu. The news of him defeating Yeonsu in a battle baffles Hebe. She clearly hadn't heard the news, so it comes as a shock. But seeing her being unaware, Youngchun doesn't get why she's so mad at him. Placing her hand gently on his head, she points to the boy's engagement. Something so important that he didn't even mention once. It really pisses her off that he got engaged without even consulting her. As she's about to murder our boy, Youngchun desperately tries to explain that he too was unaware of his engagement until today, and that he doesn't require her approval. Hebe is shocked that he's mustered the ability to talk back to adults. Bro asks Muyeon for help, but with one serious damn glare, she literally scares the soul out of him. The same personal guard who swore to protect his young master until his dying breath is out here giving up with a one glare. Hebe returns her attention to her annoying little brother and thinks it's a good time to beat his ass. But out of nowhere, Seola comes rushing to grab her arm, shocking not only Youngcheon, but also Hebe herself. The young master understands that her servant made a mistake by intervening. He tells Seola to stay in her place and even defends her in front of his sister. But that's not all. Hebe notices just how devotedly the servant is trying to protect Youngcheon from getting hurt. She leaves him for a moment and unleashes a wave of fiery aura. Things can take a really problematic turn as his sister has just unleashed her aura. Hebe addresses her little brother about the child squeezing her arm tightly and questions what's happening. Youngchun is deathly afraid of what she'll do and explains that she's just a servant who is new to her job. But to his horror, Hebe commands a flame strike and is prepared to hunt Seola down. Youngchun calls her a psycho bitch and decides to step in to save his servant's life. Seola, on the other hand, is prepared for the consequences. The end is anticlimactic as Hebe ends up squeezing the potato girl's face for being so adorably cute. She can't believe that Seola's face is so squishy and playful. Youngchun is freaking shocked that his sister activated her internal energy just to squish Seola's face in the end. But Hebe is annoyed that her brother hid Seola's existence from her. Actually, she's such a fan of the little girl that she wants to claim Seola for herself. Bro is not ready to give her up and declines strongly. Hebe finds the boy's reaction rather intriguing. After all, he never once in his life refused to give something to his older sister. And yet he's possessive of this particular servant. Youngchun is told to sit back down, while Hebe notices a striking development in the boy. His internal energy is so different that she's curious if the elder had any involvement in his growth. Our boy thinks that it's only logical for her to figure this much out. Grandpa Ryan clearly states that he didn't do shit, but Hebe is still unconvinced how the boy was able to undergo such a change in the span of a few months alone. She turns to him and orders the kid to meet with the clan head right away, much to Youngchun's confusion. At first she wanted to beat his ass up, but thankfully she's no longer in the mood to do that, so our boy gets to live another day. Youngchun, Muyeon, and Seola bid farewell to his older sister to meet with the clan head, but she stops him and tosses a little stone in his hand. Youngchun has trouble figuring out the properties of the stone because he can't sense any energy expelling from it. She reveals that it's just a souvenir. She bought it from a merchant who offered it as a good luck charm, so maybe it will help him someday. Basically, shit his ass with nothing good for it, so she's passing it down. Hebe reminds the little brat that if he ever dares to lose it, she's going to show him more of her so-called love. And well, that's more than enough to show Youngchun that he's got to protect that charm with his life. Cracking a sincere smile, Hebe is so proud of her younger brother's efforts for working so hard lately. The scene is reminiscent of the time he lost Hebe in his previous life. Even in her final moments, all she wanted was for him to live happily. That's a true sibling right there. The boy is lost in thought for a moment and continues on his way to meet his father. Confronting the second elder, Hebe is curious about Grandpa Ryun's involvement. She's concerned how her little brother was only at the first ring last year, and was unable to release his internal energy or make precise movements. But at his current, not only is his energy stabilized, his internal energy has also doubled, and his body is precise and controlled. She initially had suspicions about what happened between him and Yeonsu after their battle, but the fact that her brother was able to evolve at such an alarming rate is nothing short of amazing. Even Grandpa Ryun admits that it's incredible that the boy unleashed his potential like this. Hebe didn't bother peeving her little brother about how he grew so fast, knowing that he's the stubborn type who wouldn't give her a satisfying answer. She can read him by the look of his eyes alone so that he won't comply. Apart from that, she has one other matter to address. Hebe remarks her concerns regarding the servant hovering around the boy. Grandpa Ryan clearly knows, but he chooses to hear Hebe's side of the story first. Hebe tells him that she could sense as if something was wrong with that child particularly. She was unsure of her bodily composition, so she tried squishing her face just to check. Things appeared to be normal. Sweating bullets, Grandpa Ryun feigns ignorance and acts like there's nothing wrong with the child, that she is a servant at the end of the day like any other. Hebe is successfully manipulated by the old geezer's words. She does mention that maybe her senses are overreacting after facing hordes of demonic beasts for many months on end. Internally, Bear Grandpa is actually pretty happy that she was able to notice the oddity within Seola. It makes him believe that both of them have immense potential for growth. Patting the girl's head, Ryun expressed his true gratitude. The thing about their family is that they're closed off and distant people who even turn their backs on their own blood. Despite the narrative set against Yangchan, and the whole clan disrespecting him, Hebe remains to be the only person who has consistently cared for the boy and showed consideration. To that, Ryun is really happy that someone is looking after the kid. He's happy because now he won't have to worry about the boy's safety. At the same time, the second elder thinks that her reaction over the engagement was a bit too much, and that she could have controlled it a little. Speaking of the boy's new fiancé, Hebe is ignited with rage at the mere thought of a bitch trying to get with her brother. I love how she's overly protective of Yangchun even if it's against his lover. Let's cut to the chase with the meeting with the clan head. Lord Ku expresses that news reached his ears about the boy shattering the arm of the lightning dragon. Yangchun tries to save face by stating that he merely tapped his shoulder a little. His answer draws an empty silence between the two. Lord Ku takes a sip of his drink and switches up the question, inquiring why the boy would have to go to such lengths to break someone's arm. Yangchan isn't exactly pleased to be asked such a tough question. He takes a breath to collect himself and reveals how the situation escalated. He was told to spar lightly, but when he saw his opponent's intent of actually trying to harm him, that's when he took serious action. This revelation surprises Lord Ku and he asks if there were any witnesses nearby. Gladly, Yangchun states that multiple people saw the fight go down. Impressed by the boy's abilities, even Lord Ku admits that the boy has grown stronger. It's a good thing because it pleases him to see his son's progress. Yangchun internalizes his thoughts. Even though his father not only learned about his battle against the lightning dragon and his recent development reaching the third ring, he still appears unfazed with a blank expression. Musashi's all about that stoic life apparently. Apart from that, Lord Ku believes that there's no way the boy couldn't have bumped into his new fiancé when dealing with the Namgung family. And this is the moment that Yangchun was dreadfully waiting for. He counters his father with a question, inquiring about the details of the engagement and how it was arranged in the first place. Lord Ku expresses that it was actually decided by the elders, but it's not exactly the worst proposal for the kid in this case. Even though Yangchun thinks it's a terrible outcome for him, his father already knows about the mishap that occurred with House Peng, and he's hoping that the boy won't spoil another engagement this time. It's a long way of saying, you won't be getting another chance if you fuck this up, basically. Yangchun is in a tough situation because of his track record of handling the previous engagement. Lord Ku takes out a letter and alludes to the fact that summer is reaching its midpoint. And that means the Hua festival is going to take place at Mount Hua soon. By the way, it's the same mountain where Yangchun slaughtered the entire clan in his previous life. The boy inquired about his role in the festival. His father hands him the letter to read. Yangchun gives it a thought and questions why he's being tasked with such a thing. Lord Ku cuts him off and orders the boy to bring a special someone back to the house. He's going to personally make sure that Yangchun is escorted within 10 days. The boy isn't pleased to hear this, and even rejects the idea because he just came back after a tiring trip from Sachon. His father happily allows him the liberty to refuse the task, which the boy tries to do immediately, until he hears that his father will reward him with a great sage pill if he succeeds in this mission. While this conversation is happening, Muyan and Seola are getting bored sitting outside the office, hoping for Yangchun's return. They suspect that he'll take at least 2 hours in the meeting. Poor Seola is tired from the trip and hadn't gotten the chance to rest. Unfortunately, both of them are servants and guards, so they can't rest until he does. While they're secretly snacking and hiding, the young master shocks the ever-living crap out of Muyan by popping out of nowhere. He alerts them of their upcoming journey to Mount Hua within 10 days. It seems like a strenuous journey will meet them once again, but it's a direct order from Lord Ku, so refusing it is out of the question. Muyan is curious about the goal of the journey. The goal is to return home with his other sister, who is currently meditating in solitary training. In the next scene, Yangchun secretly spies around to see if the problematic old geezer and his annoying older sister are out of sight. The Namgung family is in Sacheon and Hebe is here. Just when the kid thought he'd get a break, he's found himself with another tiresome task. Yangchun is so exhausted he doesn't even care about dinner and heads straight to bed. A few hours later, as the boy is fast asleep, an ominous clan member enters his room. It's definitely Hebe, and she's brought him dumplings. Unfortunately, she doesn't even wake him gently and instead gives him a horrifying scare by choking him. The older sis cares about her little bro and doesn't want Yangchun to go around skipping meals. It makes me really glad to see a positive sibling relationship in a manhwa for once. Drunk as hell, she shoves the dumpling in his mouth, until he's got no choice but to bounce the heck away from his bed, questioning what the hell she's doing in his room. Yangchun reminds her that it's his personal quarters, so she isn't allowed to go and come in as she pleases. But Hebe channels her inner communist energy and goes, "If it's your room, then it's also my room." She's drunk as shit already and ready for more. Yangchun's sister was worried why he didn't show up at the dinner, so this is her way of checking in. Apart from the fact that she's really annoyed how Yangchun ended up marrying a Namgung bitch. The jealous older sister is annoyed that he's always giving strong reactions to the mention of his fiancé's name, but our boy doesn't want to argue with a drunk Hebe, who won't even listen to his words. Bro just wants her to take her booze away to someplace else. Hebe thinks the boy should be celebrating an opportunity to spend some time with his sister and recommends they share a room. Yangchun is not about that life and he's like, Nah, fuck this shit, I'm out. Hebe thinks he's being overly rude for no reason, but Yang-chan believes it's an appropriate reaction dealing with her ass. Getting even more drunk as the night goes deeper, Hebe enjoys her booze. Staring at the view of the stars outside, his sister addresses her little brother and recommends they have a little fun. And no, it's not about to be a Sweet Home Alabama moment, she's talking about having a match. Yang-chan acts like he didn't just hear the ridiculous words that came out of her mouth. He tells her that she must have entered a new level of being drunk to say something so stupid, and he recommends her to return to her room. Possessing an air of seriousness in her tone, Hebe questions if he's truly certain of his words. A confused Yang-chan asks what she means, so Hebe points to his little chest, stating that she has no idea how the boy trained or what he did to get to this level. But it's clear that a good amount of the energy that has entered his body isn't being absorbed. This is actually problematic because it could lead to issues. Yang-chan reflects that it's true that the pearl he received from the snake hasn't been fully dissolved into his body. It's mainly because his body is far too immature to contain an energy that great and make a part of himself. Hebe is of the opinion that they need to do something about the situation immediately. It's why she suggested the idea of sparring with him, but that's not the only reason why. Looking at him with a smile, she expresses that she's just in the mood to beat his ass is why she recommended it. Yang-chan is starting to think that neither one of his siblings is a sane person with the way they treat him. Hebe finds herself stretching in the training ground in the next scene. She hasn't fought her little brother in a long while and actually finds herself surprised to see him adapt to a swordless fighting style. Yang-chan declares that he no longer relies on a weapon, which impresses her and surprises her, especially since he was using a blade up to this point. Pointing her wooden blade at him, she thinks that maybe her little brother has become so arrogant that he thinks he no longer needs a weapon, even allowing him the chance to make the first strike. Yang-chan's eyes widen and he tries to remind her that this fight is supposed to be for the purpose of helping him release some of the energy. Hebe lets out a sigh and understands that she doesn't have to kill him in the battle. After all, she's a monster who slaughters demons on a daily basis. But as she's in the middle of talking to him, Bro pulls a quick one on her and surprises Hebe with a high-speed lunge. His first punch actually freaking connects with her abdomen, grazing her side and putting her off balance. The boy quickly hastens to unleash a second strike, which also freaking connects, launching his older sister crashing into the wall. The boy's internal energy is more controlled than ever, but he's especially worried about what's coming his way after he's finished off his attacks. From the distance, his sister laughs. It's not just any laugh, she's laughing like a villain. Hebe's impressed by her brother's accomplishments and surrounds herself with rampant flames. Looking at her current level, Yang-chan finds it hard to believe that she's only at the 5 rings level. It's as if she's surpassed that and entered the bounds of 6 rings already. And even after using his most powerful strike right from the beginning, it seems to have done 0 damage against Hebe, who is happily smiling in his way. Bro knows he's about to get destroyed to the ground, so he suggests the idea of ending the battle here. But his sister isn't finished just yet. Her fun only just started. Stomping her feet into the ground, with every step she releases a column of destructive flames. The girl is walking through a nuclear reactor with how much energy she's expelling. Yang-chan can't even open his eyes against her wave of internal energy. And before he even knows it, Hebe is already in his face, monstrously attacking him with a heavy blow that sends him dragged to the opposite wall. It's a miracle that he was able to block that blow in time, because if he hadn't, the consequences would have put him in the hospital for a while. From the distance, he sees her wooden sword and dodges it. His maniacal sister comes roaring with her flames, making Yang-chan worried for his life in a battle against the crazy bitch. Expending some of her energy into her feet, she swings a destructive attack from his side. But it doesn't end there. She forces Yang-chan heavily on the defensive with back-to-back heavy attacks using martial arts alone. I know Hebe is supposed to be really strong, but credit where credit is due, our boy is holding his ground pretty solidly well. Unfortunately, Hebe ends up grabbing her blade from the wall and stops her fiery slash at the last second against his neck. This fight is over. She grabs his hair and recommends the child to tighten his mouth shut for the next attack, or else he's gonna end up with a broken jaw. Now that is a scary threat. Well, the end is tragic because Yang-chan is brought to the edge of tears, awaiting his demise as his screams reach the starry sky. In the next scene, we cut to the Namgung family. Bia has left the family with a note for the clan head. She wants to meet her fiancé, so the girl ends up running the fudge away from the house for a while. The news pisses off Lord Namgung, who demands her immediate return. A farmer is observing the quality of his crops and finds himself despairing. The season has been tough for the agricultural business. As he's thinking of that, he sees a lady clad in purple robes jumping over him. The mere sight of the girl seduces him, making him think that an angel has descended from the heavens itself. Bia says hello and asks for directions for the Shaanxi region, especially since she's terrible with navigation. She learns that it's in the east, so she quickly leaps away. Before leaving, the girl seemed to have dropped a silver ingot, which is precious enough to feed any family for months on end. The farmer is grateful for the beautiful angel's kindness, but he's really not sure why the girl ended up heading west instead of east. Yep, she's one of those people who can't survive without a GPS. Where she's currently headed is Mount Hua in the west, Which brings us to the second elder, who speaks with the Sword Sovereign regarding the Divine Doctor's stay at Mount Hua. The Sword Sovereign explains that the Doctor is known to move around a lot, never staying in one place. But he's rather surprised to find the Divine Physician is staying in Mount Hua of all places. Elder Ryun doesn't get why there's an urgent need to find the guy anyway, but he recommends it's a good idea to send Yang Chun for a confirmation call first. After all, the Sovereign Sword has been doing so much to hide his identity that if he reveals himself now, it would be a problem. He agrees with Ryun's approach, but with a little twist. So when the time of their departure came, the Sword Sovereign told Yang Chun that he's going to be accompanying them on this journey. And well, bro is just speechless, just as much as his baffled second elder. The fact that their main coachman is suddenly gone for a vacation, and that the Sword Sovereign himself has taken his spot, means there's more than what meets the eye. Especially for Yang Chun, who knew for a reason that both Seola and her grandpa weren't supposed to be on this trip among the list of people. So something must have happened in the span of a single night, altering their trip plans. The boy can't help but figure that something else is going on behind the scenes that he just can't figure out for now. The second elder catches him and questions why the boy has such a confusing look on his face. Yang Chun merely states it's nothing, but his trusty old geezer expresses that it would be best if he didn't try to beat up more kids. At first Yang Chun thinks he'd never do that. But from all his travel journeys so far, he realizes that he's amassed a reputation for at least beating one boy into the ground upon every visit. He decides not to do something like that this time. Well, hopefully not. Entrusting the kid with something special, the second elder hands the boy a small bag. The first thing the guy notices about it is its sweet scent, finding himself becoming powerful by just keeping the object in his hand. Yang Chun assumes that it must be valuable, but the second elder tells him that it's not as special as he thinks. It's just a rock called the Blossom Stone, something that was once considered one of the 4 treasures of the Mount Hua clan. A sudden realization comes over the boy as he stares deadpan into the old geezer's eyes. It's definitely more valuable than he thought, but Bear Grandpa doesn't think much of it, and entrusts the object with the boy. Yang Chun has no idea why he's being given something so important. Turns out the old geezer doesn't really care much about the Blossom Stone as he won it over a petty bet, so to him it's next to nothing. Still, Yang Chun thinks it's reckless to casually hand over an object like this so out in the open. But the second elder strongly believes that he made the right call, entrusting it to someone reliable. Yang Qian fails to comprehend the message until he glances over to Seola's grandpa, who is basically the definition of getting the best bodyguard there is. Yang Chun understands that Ryun must at least have some kind of idea about the Sovereign Sword's identity, which is why he's so carefree about this trip. Mu Yan informs the young master about their finished preparations. The boy unfortunately doesn't have a good enough excuse to refuse an important gift, and ultimately decides to keep it. Inside the carriage, he bids farewell to the old geezer, who plans to inform Hebe of his departure. Yang Chun is curious where his sister disappeared off to, and learns that she's actually whining at the fact that her little brother is going away. She sounds like a sweetheart for her brother's sake in a clan full of maniacs. As he's departing, Yang Chun wishes the second elder to bid farewell to his sister on his behalf. This means he actually really cares about her too. As they're leaving, Ryon turns to face Hebe, who was spying on them, and asks why she didn't just come out to meet him directly. The conflicted sister is seen hiding and crying her eyeballs out. She didn't want to show her pathetic self in front of him. Ryun reminds her that the boy is no longer an infant and can be trusted with these travels. But Hebe, being Hebe, thinks of him as a precious little puppy who needs constant care and attention at all times. The carriage is steadily moving when the young master decides to ask Muyan a question. He wants to know about the travel time for reaching Mount Hua. Unfortunately, it's a question that the boy has repeatedly asked for a while now, signaling his impatience. It doesn't make it any better that they're going to have to take a long while to get to the location compared to all the recent journeys they've taken. On the way, Seola's grandpa teases the young master for feeling uncomfortable already. The boy says that he's doing just fine. But internally, Yang Chun thinks that the most worrisome part is regarding the Sword Sovereign's personal involvement. He simply can't act normal in the presence of the strongest sword user in the world. Meanwhile, the same Sword Sovereign's carefree granddaughter is out here munching on snacks as her only purpose of existence. Seola acts like a villain plotting a scheme who requires immediate food to act normal. Things get much worse for Seola when the other servant drops the bombshell regarding the little girl stealing all his honey cookies. Instead of getting mad at her, Yang Chun simply takes one for himself and stares at the boring view, already wanting to go back home. The scene cuts to the house of Ku, where Hebe inquires the identity of the girl of Namgung. Bia somehow managed to end up at our boy's place, despite looking like a complete mess. Just hearing Bia's name is enough to trigger every nerve inside Hebe's body. But to her shock, Bia is actually pretty damn hot. Much prettier than she thought. Hebe complains why she looks like a total loser and a mess when she was supposed to meet her fiancé. Bia replies that she made a few wrong turns and, well, shit happened in between. So then the Searing Sword questions why she took the trouble of traveling long distances just to arrive here. To that, Bia reveals that she is here to meet her fiancé. Hebe reminds the girl with a teasing statement, telling her that nothing is official for now. Not to mention the fact that Yang Qian isn't even here. What Bia didn't know is the fact that she was speaking to her fiancé's older sister. Hebe proudly introduces herself as the brat's caretaker. She looks so proud of herself that Bia adjusts her hair and properly shows her respect by sitting politely. She then inquires about where her fiancé went, but Hebe is again proud to reveal that he's way far off traveling to Manhwa, which means they won't be meeting anytime soon. But the mere mention of Manhwa makes the girl happy. Instead of wasting another word with Hebe, she dashes away into the skies with speed. The act confuses Youngchon's older sister, making her wonder if she's disheartened enough to go home. She's also pissed that Bia didn't even stop to say goodbye, which is disrespectful. That aside, the scene transitions to Youngchon's group. They're resting after a long day, but Seola's grandpa is up and away, maintaining the fire. He senses the boy's energy from nearby. The perspective zooms into Youngchon, who appears to be confident in his ability to conquer the fourth ring very soon. However, he's finding it difficult to circulate his energy in his body. The control of his energy is the opposite of what he intends to do with it. That's why he desires to break free from his current level. Compared to his sister, who was explosively wasting away her internal energy without any problem, he can't even channel normal energy that well. This comes down to a difference in talent between the two. Still, Youngchon refuses to whine like a bitch all day and decides to double down on his training process. The first act of training is to breathe in and then concentrate on his energy. Moments after, energy begins channeling all over him, expelling aura. Well, apart from that, the scent of the blossom stone distracts him. Unfortunately, he can't even toss it away as a valuable item from the old geezer. The scent of the stone appears to be much more potent now than before, and it hinders his concentration because of that. Faced with multiple hurdles in his training, the boy concludes that he should end his training cycle for the night. It is then he spots a sudden wave of blossom petals erupting out of nowhere. They're not supposed to be here in the middle of summer after all. Suddenly, a strong voice declares him an outsider rather than a child of Mount Hua. The spiritual pink figure appears to have an ambiguous form and disappears right after the startled Youngcheon looks around. He knows that he wasn't tripping just now. It's clear that he heard a voice. The same voice then questions how a boy like him is able to devour so much energy, even when he isn't from the mountain. This time, Youngchon is certain as hell that he heard an old man's voice. Continuing with its words, the voice taunts him for devouring so much energy, to the point that he's bound to get sick. Youngchon still has no idea what's being discussed or said, until the blossom stone in his grasp begins overreacting with a wave of energy. The boy finds himself appearing dizzy with the absorption of energy, and soon after, he faints. The unconscious boy is brought back to life by muffled voices of his servant and guard. He awakens in a sudden panic, immediately getting up and questioning what the hell happened to him. Seola hugs him tightly while the personal guard expresses that it's actually the sovereign sword who discovered the unconscious boy in the woods and returned with him. Seola's grandpa acts like it's no big deal as he's only doing his duty as a servant. However, he seems to be in a pensive state, to the point Youngchon is alarmed by it. Moyan is curious to know if something bad happened or took over the young master last night. To that, Youngchon tries recalling his training session and remembers witnessing the stone's bright shimmering light. However, now that it's in his hand, nothing appears to be changed regarding the stone. But upon unraveling the stone, he discovers an unexpected change. The crystal no longer has a scent and it looks glossy. The absorption technique ended up absorbing the stone's power and resulted in him losing consciousness. He did have high expectations for the treasure of Mount Hua, but not to this level. The fact that his body has absorbed it presents another situation to him. Sensing his internal energy, the boy is extremely happy to conclude that he's actually stepped into the domain of the fourth ring level. Later that day in their travels, Youngchon is seen resting inside the carriage, collecting his thoughts. He still has no idea how the development from 3 rings to 4 rings happened overnight. Both Muyan and the Sword Sovereign seem to be keeping an eye on the boy, so he's getting uncomfortable. Seola, on the other hand, is busy sniffing him out. Youngchon is shocked that he has a scent even though he switched out clothes and even bathed. But only this time, Seola surprises him by saying that he smells like a flower. The boy tries to blame their surroundings, believing it must be from the window or something. However, Seola is unconvinced. She is firm on her opinion that the smell is a part of him. The fact that Seola's been able to recognize this change means that his internal energy did in fact increase for the good. At the 3rd ring even, he could at most expel heat from his body. But from this point onwards, he thinks it should be no big deal for him to shoot out fire attacks without any hurdles. Bro is hoping to become just as much of a monster as Hebe became in their last battle. Either he's a fan or he's still terrified from the experience. Anyway, it's a long shot from using it, but Youngchon is confident that later down the line, he'll find a victim to experiment his new strength on. Both Seola and Youngchon find themselves distracted for a moment before the carriage takes a sudden bump. They crash with a heavy thud as the other servant inquires if the young master is doing okay. The boy immediately gets up to ask Muyan what happened. But for some reason, he's non-responsive and dead serious, staring something down. Youngchon looks out of the carriage and discovers an unknown man in a white robe. The man respectfully apologizes, and based on his blossom emblem alone, Youngchon figures out that this guy must be from the Mount Hua sect. The guy introduces himself as Yong Feng, a disciple of the 3rd generation with a bunch of questions to ask. To top it off, he's the same dude who ended up getting severed at the hands of Yang Chun in their previous encounter. The boy faces guilt for the actions he committed in the past, knowing that he slaughtered someone so ruthlessly from the Manhwa sect. Muyan, on the other hand, finds it an offensive gesture for the Manhwa sect to send one of their best martial artists to stop their carriage. Yang apologizes once more, emphasizing that his goal wasn't to stop the carriage but a means of verification from them. He desires to know if one of their disciples is actually hiding in the carriage. Yang Chun is desperately hoping that he isn't this mysterious disciple all of a sudden. The Blossom Sword Dragon strides ahead, stating that he sensed a peculiar aura and that's why he wanted to check for himself. But Muyan is seriously on guard and warns the guy that if he takes another step, they'll have to take action. Yang fearlessly turns to face Yang Chun, before excitedly asking the boy why he is covered in the aura of the mountain. The question immediately makes Yang Chun shit his pants. Bro knows he's fucked without answers. Strangely enough, a voice agrees with his opinion. This voice is the same old man, the spiritual being that was haunting him last night. The old geezer is shocked that Yang Chun can see his miniature self. Rubbing his eyes, Yang Chun is having a hard time questioning if what he's seeing is really the truth. But apparently the floating elder before him is in fact real and talking to him. Seeing him distracted, Yang asks for the boy's attention. Yang Chun is out here confused as hell if he's on drugs or if this is a result of overtraining of some kind. The little elder is offended and reminds the boy that this is very much real. Yang is concerned about the boy's condition, while the young master inquires if he can see the floating figure next to him. The insect-sized old man. Yang apparently doesn't see crap and looks at the boy weirdly. Even Muyan is clueless when asked the same question and thinks the young master must have lost it. He pretends to play along as some kind of gimmick, before realizing that Yang Chun isn't messing around but actually being serious about his questions. At this point, no one's going to believe in him, and the mini old man thinks he's only making a fool out of himself by asking others. Yang Chun lost it and thinks he's being possessed by some weird kind of ghost. The mini old man reveals that he's not possessed. It's just that he forgot what he ate earlier. At first, the boy doesn't get what he's talking about, until he remembers that he absorbed the energy of the Blossom Stone into his body. The pieces fall into place, as the old man refreshes his memory, reminding Yang Chun that the idiot ate the sacred treasure when he didn't even belong to the Manhwa sect. Furthermore, the mini old man helped him right after the boy ended up in a state of blockage after consuming immense energy. And yet he's being called all sorts of things like insect-sized man over here. Confused, Yang Chun inquires for the mini old man's identity. The floating spirit is surprised that the boy really can't tell him apart. Because of his cluelessness, the spirit calls him unaware of his own surroundings. Well, while this is happening, Muyan and Yang are confused as shit, because from their perspective, the young master is talking to himself. The floating spirit decides to do an act of courtesy and properly introduces himself. He's actually the renowned 8th leader of the clan, Shin Cheol, the Immortal Sword. In order to understand the significance of this character, we must first explore into the depths of the greatest war that occurred before the arrival of the Heavenly Demon. The Great Demon Blood War was safely fended off by 5 notable figures, expert martial artists whose names were etched into history even long after the war ended. Shin Cheol just so happens to be the greatest ancestor of the Manhwa sect, sharing no equal in his reputation. And that same guy is now just a tiny old man that no one else can see except Yang Chun. The funny thing is, Yang Chun can't even stay quiet in his thoughts because the old man hears everything he thinks about. Now that the kid has come to learn of his awe-inspiring reputation, Shin Cheol is hoping that he'll be respected now. But Yang Chun being Yang Chun proves to be the opposite and is still stuck up. He questions why the old man was stuck inside the stone. Unfortunately, the little guy doesn't even know that about himself. It's more like he was expecting Yang Chun to be the one to fill in those gaps for him. So they're both at a loss with the way things are going. The most curious question for Shin Cheol is why an outsider from the Manhwa sect was able to absorb the powers of the Blossom Stone when it shouldn't even be possible. Faced with a question like that, the boy goes speechless. His reaction is a good enough sign to the old man that Yang Chun knows something he doesn't. The best thing the boy can do is simply avert his eyes. Instead of hammering him with more questions, the tiny ghost confesses that young kids at Yang Chun's age are known to hide things, and he respects that as his senior, so he won't be annoying him anymore. Because of this, Yang Chun is indebted to him for being patient and understanding with him. At the same time, Shin warns him to pay attention to the important thing that's about to arrive in front of him. His warning proves to be correct as multiple figures pop out of the forest to confront the carriage. From their uniform, it's easy to guess that they're also disciples of the same clan. Yang emphasizes that they've got nothing to worry about as these people aren't a threat to them. However, Muyan's done playing around and knees the guy down, pinning a blade against his neck as he's cautious of the men. Muyan strongly believes that this is actually an ambush rather than a greeting. Put in a position like that, the disciples of the Manhwa sect are on guard. Even Yang Chun believes that maybe his guard is pushing it too far, but Muyan argues otherwise. He can sense their sheer hostility from the second they appeared on the battlefield. Yang begs them to stop and listen to him for a second. He has no idea why the members of his clan are so furious. but he also thinks that it should be possible to resolve the issues if he can just communicate with them properly. Muyan is alarmed and asks to confirm if they're truly warriors from the same clan. But just seeing the symbol on their clothing, it's enough to verify that Yang isn't lying, and he sincerely requests that they let this issue be handled by him. Yang Chun is convinced and tells his guard to stand down, so he frees Yang from his grasp, who promises to settle the matter properly with a little talk. They can see the guy quickly going up to his men and discussing things. But before he can say another word, Bro gets dismantled by warriors of his own clan, much to Yang Chun and Muyan's confusion. The warriors step forward to apologize and properly introduce themselves. They also think that it's Yang's stupid interference that caused them to believe that this was some kind of ambush attempt. The young master is fine with everything that happened and returns the apology. At the same time, he's dying to know why the warriors are out here so far from the mountain. To that, the warrior apologizes, stating that their mission is confidential. Well, until Yang blurts out crucial information about their clan member suddenly going missing all of a sudden. The strange thing about this incident is that, under the command of the Blossom Sword Squad of the Manhwa sect, it doesn't really make sense that so many of them are missing all of a sudden. Anyway, that's one reason they were actually patrolling the area, and Yang stupidly ditched them all after sensing energy from the carriage, and ran ahead. Yang Chun realizes that it must have been because of his familiar energy that drew them all the way here, while Shin tells the boy that there's no longer any threat to worry about as he's already blocked off the excess energy. This means they will no longer be able to gauge the energy coming from him anymore. When Yang points to Yang Chun stating that they can sense one of their own energies from him, the warriors end up confirming that they can sense a hint of their power within him. This shocks the boy greatly because earlier, Shin just told him he blocked it off. The immortal sword advises the boy to just whip out his special rock and settle the matter, so that's what he does. Shocking both Yang and the warrior, Yang Chun reveals what appears to be the sacred treasure of the mountain. The same treasure that their sect leader ended up losing over a betting game against the second elder. Yang finally has his answers now. The reason he felt the energy coming from him was because of the blossom stone wielded by the boy. At the same time, the warrior is curious why the boy is holding on to the object. Yang Chun decides to make his presence be properly known by introducing himself as the heir of the Ku family, and that his purpose is to return the treasure back to the sect. The mere mention of the Ku family is enough to alert the members of the Mount Hua sect, spurring a gossip session between them. The leader apologizes for showing hostility towards such a reputable house, because Yang Chun basically belongs to the nobility before them. Yang seems to be in a pensive state and decides to ask an important question. The question is actually regarding the boy's sister, but before matters could get any worse, his comrades quit him for blurting nonsense at the wrong moment. The warrior emphasizes that Yang Chun doesn't need to be worried about Yang anymore. The funny thing is, while he's saying this, the dude is literally getting his ass beat for talking too much. The boy questions if his older sister became a pain in the ass for them. The hilarious part is that the warrior plays it off like she didn't do anything, but inside, Bro is genuinely tired of her. The kid can sense that his sister must have given them a seriously rough time, so he not only apologizes, but also promises to bring her back to the clan upon his arrival at the mountain. The warriors are baffled to hear the news that Yang Chun intends to bring his sister back to his house. Funnily enough, they all get so happy hearing the news that they're ready to offer him a proper walk, respecting him for the choice he's making by taking responsibility for his sister. The action leaves both Muyan and Yang Chun speechless, because it only makes you wonder just how much trauma she inflicted upon these poor warriors. That night, the scene cuts to Yang Chun's sister, who is standing at the door of her teacher before coming inside. The senior lady is impressed by the little girl's vigor and bravery. It's so late at night, and yet she fearlessly arrives to visit her every night. The disciple walks heavy steps before crashing right into her teacher's embrace. They talk about the woman's condition and how she's feeling a bit better seeing the moonlight. This gives the girl an air of relief. The senior lady considers it a pity that the little girl's visits will soon come to an end, as she'll be returning to her family sooner or later. But the mere mention of returning causes her to grow tense and silent. Her reaction signals that she's still uncomfortable and dislikes her family. Adopting a menacing tone, she declares in anger that she doesn't consider those people as part of her family. This harsh confession leaves her master in a thoughtful mood, but she's not the type to invade into the private matters of others and doesn't probe further. But the disciple corrects her master, showing her the respect that she deserves. After all, her master was known as the brilliant Blossom Sage just before falling ill to her sickness. But now, that moniker is nothing more than a memory of the past. It makes the lady wonder just how much time she has left in this world. Sometime in the night, a writer is slashing down a bunch of demons like it's nothing to them. This is Bia Namgung, the lady with a blank expression despite having slaughtered a group of monsters without any problem. Exhausted, she senses something hovering around her. An object just behind catches her attention, causing Bia to leap away from her spot and tail it down with a few swift lunges. The following morning, Siola is told to prepare a big batch of food for the warriors of Mount Hua, who actually ended up staying the night for guard duty with the group. As for Yang Qian, the boy is already annoyed with the mini-ghost stalking him around and asks what's the easiest way to get rid of him. Shin reminds the kid that he wouldn't be stubbornly attached to him if he knew a way out either. Curious for a question, Yang Chun calls the mini-ghost an old man again, causing him to yap about his introduction as the immortal sword all over again. Seeing the dude in a pitiful tiny state, Yang Chun gives him one hell of an untrusting look. Still, he goes on with his question, and is about to ask when Shin emphasizes that the boy's worries are pointless, as he has no intentions of stealing the kid's body for himself. Nothing of the sort is going to happen. The young master of House Ku struggles to believe it, as it's coming from a ghost of all things. Shin senses that the boy has things to feel guilty about, as if he's carrying a lot of burdens inside of him. Nervous, the boy asks for clarification. Shin is surprised that Yang Chun is oblivious to the things that are taking place inside of his body. Before that, Shin hammers the kid with another question, shockingly inquiring about information regarding the bloody demon. The mere mention of that causes the kid to be dubious of the immortal sword's true identity. Yang Chun fully expresses his doubts. He's now certain of the fact that this guy isn't who he claims to be. After all, the immortal sword himself was responsible for taking down the bloody demon. So how can it be that this dude doesn't even remember the demon's fate that he slayed with his own hands? The tiny ghost surprisingly admits the same. For some strange reason, Shin doesn't seem to remember the conclusion of his fight against that demon. This leads Yang Chun to make a concerning expression. The conversation isn't going anywhere, so he goes back to asking about the strange thing inside his body. But from here on out, the mini-ghost is giving him an attitude for not trusting in his identity. So he's going to be uncooperative as well. But he ends up complying anyway, as Shin funnily reveals that not even he understands what's going inside Yang Chun's body. Way to conclude that discussion. The old man claims that he finds it interesting that the boy can't sense what's going on, especially when there's a violent energy inside of him. For now, Shin is doing his best to contain the energy, but it's definitely nothing to scoff at. Yang Chun wasn't sure that it was going to be that serious, so the mini-ghost offered him a chance to test it out. But before the boy has a chance to decline, the immortal sword releases his hold, which releases the exorbitant amount of dark energy inside of Yang Chun. The energy is so vile and pulsating that it surrounds the boy and attempts to swallow his entire being, before Shin quickly contains it again, believing the demonstration served its purpose well. The kid is scared shitless and can't believe what he just experienced. The immortal sword emphasizes that it's the very reason he's been containing it for the boy. Why that thing is inside of Yang Chun is something not even he knows. Though the kid has a ton of questions, Shin thinks the conversation shouldn't be pursued any further for today. Even though Yang Chun gives him a stubborn attitude, Shin points to the sky and states that there's something he's got to deal with. Our boy checks his surroundings and there's nothing special around. But right when he's unaware, a purple beam descends from the skies and lands right next to the boy, frightening the hell out of him. Yang Chun roars at the dude who nearly killed him just now, while the muscular young man before him states that the members of his clan follow a strict rule ever since the old times, and that rule is to fight in order to become friends with each other. Yang Chun's literal first reaction is, "What the fudge is this dude talking about?" While Shin is glad that at least some traditions of the clan are still thriving. The young master of House Ku can't believe that this is the way these guys handle their sparring matches. Yang apologizes for intruding so suddenly. It's just that he got curious and wanted to test another martial artist's skills. Yang Chun counters that his very own clan, the Manhwa sect, is brimming with experienced martial artists, so he can just ask anyone. Yang finds himself cornered with that response and shows a disappointed face. Shin tells Yang Chun about the importance of the kid before him. This guy is supposed to be the youngest elite martial artist among their clan. His stature is the definition of a towering wall of talent. Unfortunately, that's one reason that Yang feels so bad about himself. He can't get along with other people well because of his thriving talent. Shin is shocked by the boy's knowledge of someone he's meeting for the first time. I have to remind you all that the mini-ghost can read all of our boys' thoughts, which really makes me curious about their future interactions. Anyway, Yang Chun surprisingly accepts the duel, when in fact his usual attitude is to avoid unnecessary confrontations. But he's ready this time. Just hearing that causes Yang to wear a joyful face, and he bows respectfully for their match. A surge of electricity zaps around him, and you might think that it's his own ability or something. But the funny thing is that it's someone else's attack, and this certain someone tackles the ever-living crap out of the poor guy, tossing and turning him into the damn lake. Even Yang Chun is baffled to find Bia Namgung here of all places. But I'm sure you all guessed that the Namgung family loves to use their lightning attacks. Anyway, the girl is down bad for him immediately, really happy to have found her beloved fiancé at last. A flashback into the past. It was a dark day for Yang Chun, yet again, who was losing one of his most trusted allies. It was Bia, the white-haired girl, her eyes losing consciousness slowly. She couldn't help but wonder why a guy like him was crying for her. But Yang Chun, being a stubborn brute of this era, told her that it was just the rain and that he was fine. She found his explanation satisfying and, in a way, unfortunate. Desperate for an answer, he inquired why she went so far ahead. She could have easily avoided this fate, and yet she chose to be reckless. She stopped the attack that was aimed towards him and suffered the full weight of it with her own body. Even now, Yang Chun still doesn't understand why she did that for him. In her dying state, Bia looked at him and stated that it's just what she wanted to do without any reason. Her final question was about the state of the moon, Yang Qian told her that the moon was still up, and to that, Bia happily found herself accepting that her 2 moons seemed to be fine, indicating that she must have considered Yang Qian one of the people she treasured the most. This cushioned the blow for her death, and then a moment later, she closed her eyes and her body went limp. She was no longer a part of this world. Coming to the scene, an arrogant warrior proclaimed how it is unnatural for demonic humans to fall in love with each other. He continued on teasing the demon, stating that he was soon going to join Bia in death. But Yang Qian merely declared his name with anger, promising the meteor sword that if anything, he will make it his personal damn business to give him an uncomfortable death. Saying so, he unleashed a weight of his demonic aura. The flashback sequence ends there. Bia's smile just now triggered the flush of memories floating inside his brain. Yang Qian is startled, and doesn't want anything to do with this girl, questioning her intentions. But as she's about to explain the reason why she came here, the warrior's voice is heard. He wants to know if Yang Qian shares affiliation with the woman or if she's an intruder of some kind, to the point that this guy is ready to slash her down. Yang Qian feels terrified because the rest of the Mount Hawa warriors have gathered around him, and they're all preparing their weapons to take her down. He struggles to come up with an explanation. Dude is losing his marbles because Bia had just struck Yang down, so he can't exactly provide cover for her either by saying that they're comrades. But before the boy can say a single word, Bia simply blurts out the truth. They're both each other's fiancé. This little explanation causes all of the warriors to become flustered in confusion, including the floating mini-geezer. Yang Qian has no choice but to play along with her at this point. The funniest part is that they're shocked a pretty angel like Bia ended up downgrading herself to a crappy-looking guy. Inquiring her purpose of visit, Yang Qian learns that Bia came to meet him. The rest of the warriors are suddenly more interested in our boy than the girl, eyeing him down to see if he's lying or not. Yang Qian is confused why she launched an all-out attack if the purpose was to meet him only. Shin expresses that the boy still hasn't read the room. Based on her body language, the floating spirit concludes that Bia has been running sleepless just to get to her lover. It's because of her hindered state that she couldn't tell who Yang Qian was up against, and simply attacked to protect him. Well, our boy still thinks it's crazy of her to go to such lengths with all things considered. But that only proves her devotion to come meet him. This girl is the definition of commitment. Funnily enough, Yang Qian takes the side of the Mount Hua warriors, proclaiming that they will not let this incident slide. But to his utter shock, his very own boy, Yang, is out here getting dazed by the princess's unparalleled beauty. Yang Qian can't believe this guy is such a simp when it comes to his duties. Fueled with even more confidence, Bro challenges Yang Qian to a duel, which is more than enough to conclude that Bia's previous attack basically did nothing against his mountain of a body. The fight takes place at night. The warriors are watching in anticipation and silence, while Yang is still getting butterflies, getting distracted and looking at the pretty lady at the side. Yang Qian, on the other hand, is a bit worried about the guy's serious case of infatuation, which makes the floating old geezer tease him for being jealous. Bro isn't exactly jealous, but rather pissed that he accepted the duel for the sake of being nice to Yang, only to get backstabbed in the most unexpected of ways. Homie is out for his girl, man. Shin believes it's actually a good opportunity for the boy to win and gain something. Since Yang Qian is too stupid to understand, Shin expresses that this is just the perfect time to test the boy's new strength. Meanwhile, Siola and the others are enjoying themselves with company together, questioning how and when Bia came here. Muyan appears to be the only one worried, caring for the young master's condition in this battle. The warriors of the Mount Hua sect are out here placing their bets on the victor. But ultimately, they all think the real winner of this battle is already decided, and it's going to be Yang, thanks to his godlike talent. The guy has a fun-loving attitude on the side, but he's a real monster during a fight. Shin even notices this as the Blossom Warrior prepares his blade, channeling his energy and surrounding himself in a bunch of petals. Out of respect, he announces his first attack. In response to his blossoming energy, our boy whips out his scorching hot flames, stunning the spectators with his control over the internal energy, surprising the likes of the Sovereign Sword himself. Yang Qian unleashes a similar state to his sister, igniting himself in a cloak of fire, while at the same time believing that he's nothing compared to Hebe's flames. Though the boy pities himself for unmatching his sister's capabilities, his impressive aura surprises his opponent. Yang appears shocked, leading Yang Qian to question if his opponent has grown afraid of his increasing strength. Gripping his blade, the Warrior of Blossom prepares to take his advance, unflinching in the face of the young master. His first attack is a simple one focused on speed, channeling all of his power and leaving a trail of his unique aura as he approaches the burning aura of Yang Qian. Yang unleashes his powerful attack, but our boy appears unfazed and simply gives him a glance before diverting his attack with a gentle push upwards. Seconds afterwards, Yang Qian uses his other arm to unleash his fist inside the warrior's abdomen with such immense speed that it literally launches him away like a projectile. Yang is sent flying with agonizing pain, much to the shock and amazement of the spectators watching the battle. His blade is shattered, and the outcome of the match even leaves the Sovereign Sword amazed. The fight ends with Yang Qian standing over as the victor. The field around them has been scorched down, while his opponent is barely recovering from the burns he received. Just like that, the fight has ended. Immediately, Bia jumps away from the group to confront her fiancé, requesting a battle with her at once. Bro thinks she's going haywire again, and reminds her that he literally just finished his battle with another opponent. Poor Bia has no better counter-argument and cutely stares him down. She's a bit upset, and the floating spirit recognizes that immediately. Yangchon realizes that if he continues to delay her any further, she's just going to become an issue for him down the road. So while he still has the opportunity, he schedules their battle next time when they get the chance. Hearing his approval of the fight, his fiancée is really happy as she clasps his hands, giving him a sweet smile as she's satisfied with his answer. The scene cuts to later in the night, where Yangchon is literally unleashing his explosive flaming aura while meditating. Even Shin is in awe of the boy's capabilities at the 4th ring level, having accessed his central core. Yangchon acts like it's not a big deal and shouldn't be celebrated. But Shin argues that the boy has an unfathomable amount of talent brimming inside of him for his age. At the same time, if he tries to go beyond the level of the central core, he might end up overdoing it and cause the core to overreact inside him. Curious to know more about his core, Yangchon learns that the core responds directly to one's internal energy, which means the more energy that is expelled, the more pressure on the core it will build. This also means that the kid can't use anything reckless beyond unleashing flames from his body, because the sheer load of using such an advanced technique will disrupt his core. That isn't pleasant news to Yangchon, who was expecting to continue onwards with his upward trajectory. But for now, he's met his plateau and needs to be patient with it. Interrupting Yangchon's training, Yang is surprised to find his opponent distraught even after his victory against him. The boy inquires what he's here for. And to that, Yang bows and shows him a gesture of respect, thanking him for an opportunity to learn more from his defeat. Yang knows that the fight had a set purpose behind it, and that Yangchon was attempting to teach something. Shin is actually really happy with the way Yang is handling his defeat, because it shows that he's capable of maintaining a positive attitude towards growth even after suffering a loss. But the same isn't true for Yangchon, who is out here beating himself down for having to risk his entire life for some training. Yangchon clarifies to Yang that he didn't have any purpose behind the training session, but he's still happy for him to have gained some insight from their battle. Yang, on the other hand, had his expectations reset just now. Back at the Manhwa sect, he was constantly reminded that he was the sharpest talent they had for his age. But seeing Yangchon fight has changed his perspective on the other parts of the world. It makes him wonder just how much effort the young master of House Ku expended to get to such heights. Funnily enough, Yangchon finds himself seriously pissed off in this conversation, and even cusses the dude in his thoughts. Shin constantly reminds him to just be a good ear for now and listen. Anyway, Yang is really thankful for the experience and leaves Yangchon baffled with his behavior. The fact that Thai is the same pitiful guy who he severed piece by piece in his reign doesn't make things any better. It really pisses him off in a way. Anyway, the scene cuts to Seola, who is out here describing the battle like it was an epic movie scene to her grandpa. Apart from her silly yapping, she also informs her grandpa of some trouble they've got to deal with. At first you're probably thinking it's some big issue, but then you remember it's this adorable potato, and she's just annoyed that the young master found himself in an engagement. Instead of celebration, she finds it a really angry occasion. Her grandpa is confused by her reaction until Seola states that she has no idea what getting engaged to someone even means. The potato erupts with cuteness, stating that she's the only one who has rights to do whatever she wants with the young master, so I guess it's also a bit of jealousy there. The Sword Sovereign decides to ruin her innocence by finally explaining to the little girl what getting engaged truly means, and it shocks her to her senses. Shortly after his fight with Yang, a bunch of issues have erupted for our boy. The first of which is Seola's depressed reaction. She appears down and out, even though she's usually the most excited when it comes to food. It's to the point even her grandpa is worried for her. The potato shakes her head in resignation, while Yangchon questions why she isn't eating her food properly. He also scolds her for the constant treats she's eating, and that they may be ruining her appetite. Apart from her, Bia is choosing a bite to eat when suddenly Seola steals it from her bowl, munching it on her own. The Namgung girl tries a second time, and yet again, Seola strikes back like some kind of machine. Yangchon questions what the hell is wrong with her, but before he can do so, her strict grandpa roars at her for having terrible table manners. Poor Seola feels unwell, and breaks down stating that they're all stupid. She then rushes away on her own, leaving her grandpa and going off on her own. Our boy still has no idea what's going on and asks if Bia shares any involvement. But his fiancée apparently did nothing wrong. Ever since his fight with Yang, his servant has been acting strange, and it's clear that she's upset over something he has no idea about. To make matters even worse, the very next day, Yangchon woke up from a bad sleep. They've been setting up camp for a while, so it's getting tiring. It's as if he's been sleeping outdoors all his life. Drinking water from the river nearby, dude runs into the muscular Chad with 69 abs and a body straight out of the Baki universe. Yang recommends that they train together for the day, while the young master is a bit frustrated to see a shirtless dude walking around casually in the morning. Shin defends the shirtless kid by stating that the body is the pride of a martial artist, and the student of Mount Hua clan only becomes better and grows stronger the more they develop. Long story short, they're training these guys for the next Mr. Olympia. As for Yang's offer, Our boy refuses it straight up by saying that he's got something else to worry about. Intrigued by what this important task is, Young questions if today is going to be special. Yang-chan takes a moment to ponder the importance of today, and the scene transitions to him continuing his travel inside the carriage. At long last, they've finally arrived at the main base of the Manhwa clan. The place is so damn high up that Yang-chan is complaining about it in the next scene. The dude is pissed that some maniac thought it would be a good idea to build the base on top of a mountain. At the same time, it's a nice change that the warriors of this clan are understanding compared to the rest of the families. The warriors of the sect even suggest that Yang-chan stay in the carriage for the night and that they can climb up the stairs when morning comes. However, the young master believes that it's important for him to go up immediately, considering he has the treasured Blossom Stone. To that, Yang suggests he reconsider his plans. Yang-chan decides to stay in the carriage for the night, leaving the disciples of the Mount Hua sect to carry on with their report for the night. They want Yang to stay put with the young master, and to make sure he reaches safely tomorrow. But our boy actually suggests that Yang also leave with the rest, since he's been busy accompanying them for a while. Hearing that, the talented young man lets out an exhaustive sigh, as if he doesn't like the idea. Well, that's how Yang ended up staying the night with the rest of them. Based on his reaction earlier, Yang-chan concludes that this guy probably doesn't get along with his superiors either. Apart from that, Seola finally goes back to normal and impresses the young master with some special prepared dumplings for the night. Yang-chan is seriously happy to find at least one good thing about the day, and he can finally experience it. Surprisingly, his servant even offers him some water too. She's being overly nice all of a sudden, which makes him question what the heck brought this change. All she does in return is laugh, because she's happy enough just to be of help to him. Yang-chan struggles to piece together the clues to the puzzle. Just a few days ago, this girl was upset like hell, and now she's fine. To make her happy, he pats her head as a gesture of doing a good job. It makes her really happy. He foils the moment by reminding her of how she's normally the opposite of what she is now. As for Bia, the chick comes out of nowhere and offers to feed our boy a dumpling. Yang-chan judges the battlefield between these women and calculates what would be the correct answer here. Meanwhile, Seola's got those eyes of a demon, staring down at her enemy of a dumpling. Girl literally chomps down on Baya's dumpling, munching it in her mouth for her master's sake while giving Baya a sharp glare. Despite being taken off guard, Yang-chan's fiancé doesn't react harshly, and instead only smiles at her. This clearly makes Seola feel a bit guilty about her reaction, while our boy takes notice of the tension between them. Well, for now, he's just infuriated that he can't even eat his food in peace. Far away from Yang-chan and his carriage, we get to see the shadow organization that is responsible for the missing Mount Hua sect disciples. The leader of the organization is annoyed that his underlings couldn't cover their tracks and left a bunch of trails for the Mount Hua sect to notice. He curses their chances of getting anything more out of the situation than what they've achieved so far. The underling promises to send the report to the main palace, and he's reminded that if he's late to deliver the report, he's going to lose some of his limbs as punishment. The spy also reports the news of the divine physician's spotting in the Shangxi region. It's big news to the brooding leader, who further learns that the divine physician appeared to have stayed in the Anhui region first, but now they're in Shangxi. More of their men are trying to figure out his exact coordinates. The leader gets up from his seat, addressing the servant by his name, Beichong. He raises his blade against the underling's neck, reminding him of the order to never use their men for the job. Quivering before his blade, Beichong stresses on the order that was given from the palace head himself. That's the only thing that calms the leader down, though he's confused about their intentions with the divine physician. Apparently, the goal is to imprison the divine physician in their underground area, which strikes boring to the guy. The leader also learns that he's allowed to remove any obstacles in their path, which means he can kill anyone if it means the secure capture of the divine physician. The malicious man is joyful at the thought, the opportunity of being able to have fun by slaughtering others. The scene reverts back to Mount Hua, where Yang-chan is huffing and puffing as he makes his way to the top of the damn mountain at last. The stairs killed him just like Po and Kung Fu Panda. Dude is dropping F-bombs on the idiot who built the base so high up. Yang even rubs salt on the wound by saying that their elders wanted to imbue the importance of hard work through the challenging climb. Yang-chan funnily confronts the annoying little spirit and asks if it's really true. The hilarious part is that not even Shin approved of the idea of setting the place so high up. Seola apparently climbs without any trouble, and even offers to carry him, but he refuses out of his ego. Bia is also pretty chill and even offers her fiancé a hand to get back up. She's cock-blocking every opportunity Seola has, and you can see it in the potato face girl's reaction. Yang-chan gets up and she actually respectfully bows down to him for some strange reason. Shin calls the guy a clown for not even knowing the obvious of what just happened. Apparently the moment is really special to Bia, who clasps her hands tightly, having felt the touch of her fiancé. Seola, on the other hand, is out here like an angry kitten, ready to lash out. Yang-chan realizes that she's actually bowing to receive the same treatment from him that his servant received. She wants him to pat his head. Bro is just about to do that when suddenly, Seola intrudes and starts patting her head instead. She doesn't want Yang-chan to do it after all. But the white-haired girl is actually okay with this outcome too. smiling at her fiancé as she concludes that there will always be a next time. Every time she smiles at him, you can just tell bro is in deep trouble. Yangchan distracts himself by checking on the others. Seola's grandpa and Muyeon appear to be doing just fine, but the other servant is out here breathless and dying while climbing up. She's fine with being left behind like dead weight, but our boy doesn't want her to sacrifice herself to the stairs like that and offers someone to help Manhwa out. Aside from that, the gates of the Manhwa clan are finally made open to the young master of House Ku. Their leader has personally arrived to meet them in person. The old man actually looks a lot like the immortal sword spirit too. The clan leader grabs the boy's shoulders and delightfully expresses just how much he's been waiting for the boy's arrival. Apparently, the rest of the elders in the clan have been beefing with their leader ever since he lost that betting game against Elder Ryun and lost the Blossom Stone. Meanwhile, our boy's doing his absolute best to introduce himself, but this old geezer just won't stop shaking him. Lord Hua reveals that Ryun actually sent a letter just before the kid's arrival, stating the boy's purpose of returning the stone and retrieving his sister. Yangchun is really happy because now he doesn't have to waste time explaining shit around. He confirms that those two things are exactly the reason he's here. Well, apart from that, Lord Hua mentions that apparently Ryun forgot to mention one critical thing. It's the energy that he can sense from Yangchun's body. The mere mention of it puts our boy on high alert, because this could mean anything. Aside from that, he also wasn't expecting to see the arrival of the Sovereign Sword, who is acting like an ordinary figure. Still, Lord Hua doesn't confront the boy strongly, and believes that it's best for them to rest after coming here. He tasks one of the guards to personally take care of their stay here. And that's how they made their way inside, to a place filled with dozens of blossom trees. Faced in this unique situation, Yangchun consults Shin for some guidance, expecting to receive something good from him. But the floating old spirit simply laughs and thinks that this much is a normal reaction when the kid ends up absorbing the energy of the stone. The leader of the Blossom clan apologizes for an immediate meeting shortly after rest. The issue is that he finds it a pressing matter for the boy to have absorbed the energy of the Blossom Stone and appears to be walking around without care. Yangchun is actually fine with their concerns and complies with him during the meeting. The leader then recalls the testimony of the events given to him, asking if Yangchun's body really accidentally absorbed the stone's power. The boy makes a contemplative face at first, and internalizes the best course of action by consulting Shin. The floating spirit expresses that he should keep it simple and stick to his current statement. It's actually pretty difficult for the clan leader to digest the fact that the boy was able to absorb the stone's power, and also maintain multiple different energies of different aura inside of him. It's troublesome. But he doesn't bother the boy anymore, and decides to help him meet his sister first. Yangchun is tasked to follow his lead, and he's curious where they're headed. But to that, the old man merely laughs, ominously reminding the boy that he's not getting free treatment after he's absorbed such an important stone. The kid simply agrees with the approach, without showing any signs of fear, surprising the clan head. Yangchun states that he isn't afraid because he's gotten used to dealing with the troublesome second eldest of his family. The mere mention of Ryun pisses the sect leader off even more, as if it is offensive for the two of them to be compared. Jokes aside, the leader states that it's time to meet the boy's sister. Fast-forwarding ahead to a serene location of the temple, we come to find that the great lady from earlier is having a checkup on her condition. The results are unfortunate and frightening. Her blood flow is all over the place, and her energy is also inefficiently being handled by her body. It's the definition of rotting as time goes by, and even after enduring so much pain, the lady appears strong in front of her disciple. She acts like it's not hurting her that much, but the healer knows that she's lying to remain confident in front of her disciple. The healer learns that it's been 4 years since she got this illness. As for the specifics of how she got it, just recalling the scene makes her stop dead in her speech. Yangchun's sister finds herself concerned for her master, showcasing a face of frustration and regret. Her coughing gets even worse, causing her disciple to sweep in for her sake. Without explaining another word, she thanks the physician for his attention. The healer has guessed that it's actually some kind of seal that is causing such an illness, and yet, he couldn't even detect it while checking her flow of energy. Fun fact, this guy isn't just an ordinary healer but the divine physician himself. However, he doesn't like being called by that name and prefers Elder Tay instead. Curious enough to ask, the lady wants to know how long she has left to remain in this world. The girl shows genuine sadness just thinking about the sorry state of her master. Elder Tay explains that she won't get past another winter at most. Instead of fearing the announcement, the girl's master simply accepts her fate, even though we can see her quivering body. The woman is reminded of her past as an able-bodied majestic warrior of the Manhwa sect, and now she's stuck like this. Elder Tay intends to do his best to treat her and requests the kids to exit the room. Although the girl shows hesitation, her master reminds her to follow orders. Her coughing is also seen getting intense as she's coughing blood on her napkin. Frustrated, the little girl has to accept the order. Aside from that, our boy is continuously getting annoyed, being tortured by stares back to back ever since he came to the annoying base. The clan leader pisses him off even further by reminding him of the same principle of achieving something good with hard work. While he's complaining to the spirit of the immortal sword inside his head, Yang Chan sees his sister stepping outside of the temple with a sobbing expression. Her nose is red because of her crying, and she's startled to a halt to find her brother of all people here. Even Yang Chan appears surprised, while his sister demands to know why he's here. Anyway, her sudden stop caused the person behind her to bump into her head, causing a clash that hurt both of them. Yang Chan takes notice of this kid with distinct white-colored streaks in his black hair. Even though seeing him should be a normal reaction, for some reason, it gets our boy's blood boiling to the point he literally goes ballistic and unleashes the full extent of his aura. Let's go back into the past and explore what exactly caused this reaction from our beloved protagonist. Opening the gates of the temple, Yang Chan faced the man known as the strategist of the heavenly demon. He congratulated the demon martial artist for his return, and sensed that something was a problem, as Yang Chan appeared unusually angered. With his every step, this man was literally dropping the demonic humans around him like it's nothing. That's what you call actual aura farming. The strategist was curious what could have possibly ignited such flames of rage inside Yang Chan's heart, and immediately pointed to the death of Bia Namgung, believing that it was the reason for such a harsh reaction. By this point, our boy's energy was releasing to such unfathomable levels that his presence made it difficult for the strategist to stand. Taunting Yang Chan even more, he reminded him that this all took place thanks to the will of their leader, the heavenly demon, so there's nothing he could do about it. Being incredibly angry, Yang Chan got up in his face, infusing his hand with demonic energy as he began initiating his strike. Using the right words, the clever strategies reminded the martial artist that the leader of the demons was above him in rank, which means he can't disobey her orders. That statement stopped Yang Chan's attack. You can tell just how badly he wanted to kill the bastard right in front of him. And yet, he released his attack to the side because that's all he could do in the face of this scumbag. Turning his back in his face, the guy prepared to leave when the strategist emphasized that they'd already taken care of the heavenly sovereign, and the aura sovereign would be next in line soon. Finally, the third and last sovereign, Siola's grandpa, lost his arm in the battle against the heavenly demon. With all three sovereigns taken down, the strategist believed strongly that the heavenly demon would no longer operate in the same manner and leave the responsibility to someone else. And in his eyes, Yang Chan would be that person, the one who would be bestowed upon the special responsibility of managing the demons in her place. Just recalling that damn sequence is enough for our boy to get so enraged that he quickly grabs the seemingly unknown boy, choking the sheer life out of him without a hint of emotion. The demonic power within him is brewing, while his sister quivers seeing her brother go maniacal in such a state. Yang Chan appears to have lost his damn mind, causing the calm and collected clan leader to intervene. Lord Hua places a hand over the boy's eyes and reminds the child that what he's about to do is going to hurt like hell. The scene is cut from there, while the divine physician and his patient could only hear the scream of a boy coming from outside. Lord Hua is glad that the doctor's already here, since he's bought another patient. And that patient is the young master's unconscious body. Elder Tay is peeved every time people call him by his special name. His reputation exceeds him. People remember him as the guy who can cure any illness. Same guy actually ends up treating Yang Chan. As for the lady opposing him, she's known as the Blossom Sword Queen, and her disciple is Ryong Hua Ku, who is also the half-sister of our boy. Finally, the disciple and grandson of the divine physician is actually Jaegel Hyuk, who, by the way, is supposed to be the strategist of the demon empire in the future. The burden is actually placed on the young master, who has regained consciousness, but lots of questions await him, starting with the fact that he nearly choked Jaegel to death. The only reaction in this situation is that he's fucked, which he literally internalizes in his monologue. The boy reflects that it's been a long time since he's encountered this guy again, but unfortunately, that can't pass as an excuse here. The only shocking part of this story is Jaegel's connection to Elder Tay, the Grand Physician. At this point, nothing is going according to his plan. And then there's the fact that not even the spirit of Shin is helping him out on this one, leaving Yang Qian on his own. The kid has no idea what to come up with as an answer. Surprisingly, the clan head appears to know what our boy is thinking about, and questions if the kid is facing issues recalling what happened. Yang Qian is startled to hear him say something like that, but not even the clan head knows why such an idea came to his mind. Recalling the scene of what happened, Lord Hua wants Elder Tay to inspect the child's body one time. The divine physician throws a stubborn fit, declining the request. The two old geezers are fighting each other while the Blossom Queen strikes conversation with our boy. Dude is surprised that she knows about him. After all, she was the best friend to his mother, Cheon-hee. Her words appear shocking to the boy, but the Sword Queen is actually pretty happy that they've met at last. As for Ryonghua, she seems to be on guard. She also tells Young Cheon that he shares a resemblance with his mother when it comes to their aura. She also praises him for having a warm and gentle heart. Saying such words, she hastens to leave. The clan head, on the other hand, offers a valuable leaf of a dragon herb in exchange for inspecting Yang Chun's body. Though seriously annoyed, Elder Tay ultimately decides to accept one final request from Lord Hua. Considering the checkup itself, Yang Chun places his hand freely for the elder to inspect. Elder Tay senses an ominous bulk of dark energy concentrated inside the boy's body, and releases the boy's grasp. Lord Hua is immediately curious about the issues residing in the boy's body. Elder Tay starts off by dropping a bombshell. It's not just one issue, but multiple. The conclusion? Yang Chun is an embodiment of a corpse. This conclusion even terrifies the boy, who has no idea what that means. The divine physician reveals that there are multiple different kinds of energies inside the boy's body. It should be impossible for the kid to even be walking after that. It's true, after consuming the demon stone, the blossom stone, and finally the white stone from the snake, Yang Chun really has consumed different kinds of energies, although he believed it wouldn't be an issue since they would merge into the same. All this time, he was under the assumption that he had things under control. But now, just like Shin warned him, something inside his body is tampering with the energies. All of a sudden, the mini-ghost pops out of the blue just to disagree with the child, stating that he's wrong in his opinion. The kid is startled and questions where the hell this guy has been when he needed him the most. The tiny ghost innocently claims that he actually ended up losing connection with our boy as soon as he entered his chaotic state. Based on the conclusion that Elder Tae gave, it's clear to the immortal sword the kind of condition the boy has. The sole reason for his survival is actually the dark energy residing inside the boy's body. This dark energy is doing its best to control the other energies and suppress them to the point they don't go wild. Now that he's got a bundle of energies inside his body, Yang Chun is curious of what his next moves should be. To be honest, even Elder Tae thinks it is game over for the kid, because he's one moment away from blowing his body to pieces if they go out of control. It's actually a very realistic possibility for the kid's body to explode right here and now too. The divine physician really can't do anything in Yang Chun's case. For an even stronger conclusion, he states that the boy's body is so damn unstable right now that he could die at any moment, even while bathing or eating. That's not the best news to hear for Yang Cheon. As for Lord Hua, this news is even worse than he thought. Ryonghua is actually shocked to see her brother's calm reaction, seeing as though he could die at any moment. To that, the boy responds that he hasn't died yet, so there's no reason to worry. The conversation leaves the room in empty silence. For now, he thinks he's okay, but worries about Ryonghua, who needs more serious attention and news to return home. Despite her refusal to return home, Yang Chun argues that it's fine if she wants to stay, but she has to consider their father's reaction when he learns of her refusal. Infuriated by his words, she is forced to admit that their father wouldn't even give a damn if she stayed here forever, as that's the kind of emotionless man he is. Lord Hua observes them closely and recommends Yang Chun to rest up in his lodgings for a bit. The kid leaves, reminding the physician that he'll be back at a later time. Exiting the room, even Elder Tae has to admit that the kid is the weirdest child he's ever met. The same goes for the Sword Blossom Queen, who sensed odd things about the boy. The boy didn't even feel afraid of the news of his impending doom. It was as if the boy no longer cared about his existence anyway. Later that night, the young master appears to be walking leisurely on his own. The mini-old spirit boggles his mind, questioning how the kid can remain so calm even after the terrifying news. Shin wonders if Yang Chun's plan of action is to just keep on eating food until impending doom. The boy replied that he really doesn't care about these things. After all, he's lived a life full of sins, so karma is just a normal reaction from the world. Of course, to the immortal sword, he doesn't get what the boy's talking about as he's so young to say something like that. Coming over to his lodging, Yang Chun finds himself shocked when he sees Bia waiting for him in bed. He has no idea what this girl is up to, but she's firm on her intentions to sleep with him. The funniest part is how Shin is teasing Yang Cheon about he could potentially have a child before he dies. Appearing unfazed, our boy calmly tells her to go back to her separate lodging. Turns out that they only gave them one room to stay in, so sharing the bed will be inevitable. Yang Cheon senses that this must be a damn scheme of the second elder behind his back. Realizing that he could always sleep with his trusted guard Mu-yeon, our boy heads out to leave. Suddenly Bia grabs his hand, requesting that she'll do nothing but hold on to him in bed at most. Yeah, that kind of statement would absolutely destroy any guy who hears it. But Yang Chun is somehow able to keep a straight face before erupting in laughter. She's surprised by his reaction, and instead of feeling like he's laughing at her, Bia is genuinely happy that he smiled at her. Yang Chun is about to leave again when she clasps his hand, stopping him and gently putting it on her face, cutely requesting them to sleep together. I've never seen a ship being developed like this, and for some reason it's suspicious that it's going this well. So many MCs would fold here, but our boy is no simp. Aside from that, the Sword Sovereign pays a visit to Lord Hua at a late hour. He's been meaning to meet the divine physician after all. At the same time, some people known as Shaolin and Wudong are searching for the Sword Sovereign too. Lord Hua suspects that the cunning Sword Sovereign has already discovered the location of the physician. This fact is actually confirmed by Siola's grandpa, who knows that he's being defended underneath an energy barrier. And yet, he was polite enough not to force his way inside, respecting the Mount Hua sect. The Sword Sovereign requests a personal meeting with Elder Tae. But to that, Lord Hua emphasizes that there's another patient being treated. Not to mention that what he's hoping to get from this meeting won't end up in his favor. As the rustling blossom trees dance with the wind, Lord Hua offers a second way to his troubles by means of a favor. The kid wakes up the next day, appearing still sleepless from his terrible sleep at night. And yes, he did end up sleeping on the same bed as her, though I imagine the dude was so cautious and on guard that he couldn't sleep a wink. That's exactly what happened, while Shin is shocked that nothing happened between the two of these lovebirds. The young master tells him to shut up because he's already going through hell in his sleepless state. That doesn't change the fact that he still ended up sleeping with the girl anyway. Well, Yang Chun only complied because after his rejection last night, the girl was overloading her body with internal energy, meaning she would have beat his ass right there and started a fight. The floating mini-ghost thinks it's relieving that Seola didn't get to see the two of them sleeping together. At first, Yang Chun was oblivious to the fact that it wouldn't matter, but then the dots start connecting in his mind. The only reason Seola has been starting to act grumpy around him is ever since Bia reunited with them. The funniest part is that our boy is doing his best to make sure she doesn't catch this sight of him with Bia. But to his horror, the girl is literally standing right behind him, and her face is like the devil. It's at this moment that his fiancée also wakes up and turns to face the servant. She kindly asks Seola if she managed to get a good night's sleep. But in response, the servant is infuriated to the point of sadness. She calls them selfish and loathes the idea that she wasn't able to sleep with the young master. Her little pleading goes on, and to Yang Chun's absolute horror, his fiancée casually says that it wouldn't be a problem if they did. She's fine with the idea of including her along. Oh wow, this is going in a very different direction than I thought. But anyway, Seola just feels happy to be included, and only a moment afterwards, she flops to the bed, excited as a puppy to be given the chance to join along. Yang Chun's fiancée is satisfied seeing this, while the boy doesn't have any objections of his own. Barging into their room, Yang comes along and Bro catches two girls laying next to Yang Xion in bed. The first reaction this guy had is probably the same as the one we had, because he dashes away at the speed of light to leave them to their business. The one good thing about the Manhwa sect is that its people are actually sane and don't like spreading pointless rumors, or so Shin assures him. But clearly Shin's ass was lying because in the very next scene, Lord Hua teases Yang Qian for playing around with two women in his bed. Now the kid has a whole other issue to deal with. He doesn't see any interest in the meeting and turns to leave, when suddenly the clan leader stops the kid and asks if he remembers going to the small establishment yesterday. Of course, how could Yang Chun forget meeting the Sword Queen and the Divine Physician of all people? Lord Hua brews him a drink and reveals a scroll, requesting the kid to deliver it to Elder Tay personally. At first glance, the task seems a bit odd for our boy to execute. After all, he doesn't have anything to do with it. Lord Hua drops a bombshell. It's actually because the rest of the clan has no idea that their beloved Sword Queen is battling an illness, which is why it's necessary for any messages to be delivered in secrecy. Lord Hua has no intention of spreading word of this information, and if he does happen to tackle Elder Tay again, unfortunately they'll have another clash. He also can't request the information to be delivered via his personal disciples as it's supposed to be a secret. That's why Yang Chun, the kid who is currently indebted to him, is the only fitting person for the job of delivering the message. Kid is already regretting his stay every time this old geezer creeps up behind him. Lord Hua sends the boy on his way. In the next scene, we find Ryongwa doing her business walking around the marketplace until she reaches the store. She first enters this space and then exits it after purchasing the necessary goods. Ryongwa then climbs her way back up to deliver the goods, when suddenly her eyes dart towards a bunch of deers living a comfortable and loving life. The scene reminds the young girl of her time at the House of Ku. Before her father, she saw how ruthlessly the young Yang Chun and his mother were treated brutally. Just seeing that horrific scene is enough to remind her not to return. After saying that, the girl camouflages using a technique of the clan, surprising the secret spies of the shadow organization nearby. They can't believe she disappeared, and start to question if she caught on to them. One of them goes up to inspect what happened, and realizes that there's actually an energy barrier placed by the leader of the sect. This powerful barrier prevents any single one of them from intruding inside. But at the same time, it's also given confirmation to these assholes that the Divine Physician is in fact being guarded nearby. For now, they intend to form a retreat, believing that their regional leader will be best pleased to handle the rest for them. Climbing up the mountain of stairs, the girl discovers our boy wasted right in front of her. Dude is not having a good time huffing and puffing the crap out of himself, while Ryonghwa is displeased at the mere sight of him. The boy questions what she's staring at him for, and to that, she inquires what he's doing out here. Yang Chun emphasizes that he isn't out here enjoying a walk, but rather he's got a small mission to deliver something. Ryonghwa bolts upwards and tells him to keep up the pace. Of course, he's doing his best. Yang Chun's half-sister still hasn't forgotten the cold words of Elder Tay, who concluded that the boy's condition is so fickle that he could die at any moment. Meanwhile, our little protagonist is shocked how people are used to climbing the stairs. Ryonghwa tells him to hand over the object he's supposed to deliver, promising to deliver it on his behalf. The offer is unexpected, but being the teasing spirit that he is, Yang Chun points out that she must be worried about his condition. This annoys the girl and repels her kindness. She insults him for being a slowpoke. Yang Chun states that it's fine. He can just move faster in that regard. As he's going up, the girl worriedly asks about her brother's condition. Yang Chun changes topics and requests information on the grandson of the Divine Physician. He wants to know if Jagal has been up to something suspicious as of late. To that, Ryonghwa surprisingly admits that she hasn't seen anything like that. Hearing that, he faces back up and continues his climb. The floating little spirit notices the girl's disappointed reaction. He points out that Ryongwa isn't even a bad child, so there's no point in the two siblings arguing with each other. But then again, not even Yang Qian understands why they fight needlessly. For some reason, Shin seems to be bothered and asks if it's troublesome for the young master. Yang Qian states that his biggest concern is his messed up body. The floating spirit emphasizes the importance of family members, reminding the kid that she's still important. The boy was surprised at first because he thought the conversation was circling around Jaegal, the grandson of the physician. As for his sister, dude just doesn't give a fudge about her apparently. Which isn't a good thing either because it makes Shin wonder if these two are actually siblings to begin with. The scene cuts to Elder Tae reading the message delivered by Yang Qian. Having read it fully, the physician funnily calls out the reality of the situation. Lord Hua had just sent a goddamn half-dead child to deliver a crappy message to him. From Elder Tae's harsh reaction of the clan head, Yang Qian wonders what the hell happened between the two geezers to trigger so much hate. Anyway, Elder Tae understands that it must have been difficult for the kid to have come this far. He asks about the boy's condition. Yang Qian states that he's not really having any major issues at the moment. The news is good to Elder Tae, until he raises a serious question. Is the little young master truly unafraid of death? The question finds the boy speechless for a moment, making him enter a contemplative state. Elder Tae realizes that he isn't going to get an answer from the kid, and apologizes for intruding. The boy is told to leave, and so he gets up to exit the room. As he's leaving, the considerate Ryonghua worriedly asks again if her brother is really feeling okay. Well, unfortunately, Yang Qian quickly moves along and doesn't answer her question, leaving her a bit annoyed by his uncaring reaction. Back to Lord Hua, the boy reports having successfully delivered the message, and expresses how Elder Tae was cursing the crap out of him afterwards. Lord Hua isn't surprised, and secretly asks about the Sword Queen's condition as a side note. The boy whispers back, stating that he only saw her sleeping, so he was unable to tell if things were going well for her or not. Lord Hua is unamused by the answer, but Yang Qian argues that if the divine physician of all people is currently busy taking care of her, then things shouldn't be a problem. While that is true, Lord Hua points out the cruel reality of their clan's fate. They've been constantly getting hit by one unfortunate circumstance after another. The mention of these misfortunes inspires interest in the young boy, as Yang Qian desires to know more about them. Shin reminds the idiot about the missing disciples of the clan. Then there's the fact that the Sword Sovereign is here, and well, Jaegal's presence is also a misfortune without question. Though these situations would be fine on their own, they all happened back to back, which makes them difficult to deal with. The scene cuts to the Shadow Organization, where the underling finally reports the discovery of the Divine Physician's location, causing his leader to become psychotically excited for his hunt. The disgusting scumbag is ecstatic at the revelation of his location, even though his subordinates haven't exactly pinpointed the doctor's coordinates. This fact underwhelms his satisfaction. Beichong tells him that they've come to discover the enormous energy barrier set up by the clan, indicating that the doctor is nearby. However, this fact frustrates the leader immensely. He doesn't like assumptions, because they've yet to confirm for real whether the doctor is there or not. He questions what Beichong is truly confident about. Slamming his blade right next to his servant, he roars at him for having the sheer audacity to lie to him with meaningless information. The towering and despairing figure of the guy is enough to give Beichong nightmares for life, and he agrees with his boss's opinion that he did in fact being useless information. Beichong apologizes and fully takes the blame for his mistakes. Suddenly, he feels a powerful swing descending across his left shoulder. The man screams in agony as his boss has just sliced his arm off, unimpressed that his goons are unable to find a simple old man. Beichong weeps in pain while apologizing. His boss, on the other hand, thinks that he did a kindness by not killing the underling. After all, he's the smartest servant there is. Despite the pain, the guy thanks his boss for the mercy he's been shown. The scumbag goes back to sit on his chair, letting out an exhausted sigh. At this point, the regional leader is convinced that his underlings won't return with useful information, no matter how many times they're sent out for their mission. Hearing the mention of an energy barrier has him intrigued, however. Beichong's body quivers with the pain of his severed limb, while his boss comes to a conclusion. He's bored and declares his intentions of personally making a visit after 3 days' time. Beichong's strict orders until then are to return with the divine physician within that time period. And if he doesn't, everyone standing in his way will be slaughtered. The crazy bastard thinks it's the perfect plan, and his underling can't do anything but agree with his boss despite his ridiculous demands. Well, in the next scene, we return to our boy Yang Qian, who is unimpressed by how his day went. The dude basically did nothing except deliver a letter today, and just carrying out that small errand was enough to conclude the day. Shin believes it's time for the kid to return home. Even the young master agrees, believing that his sister shares no intention of returning home, so he needs to make preparations to head home immediately. Suddenly, a voice calls out for him. It's the joyful Siola, who attempts to hug him, but our boy sidesteps and leaves her hanging. He wonders what she's doing all the way out here when this isn't supposed to be her room. The potato reminds him of what they settled upon. Siola was going to be sharing beds with him for the night after all. Yang Qian never recalls making that promise, but both Shin and Siola do. The boy tries to use her grandpa against her, but Siola isn't worried because the old geezer has been to himself lately. Curious to know where he is, Yang Chun learns that the Sword Sovereign is apparently missing and hasn't told anyone. This is enough of a reason for Yang Chun to extend his stay for a bit. Even though Shin doesn't get what's so special about her grandpa, the floating spirit concludes that their world definitely has changed quite a bit. Anyway, when our boy returns to his room, he sees Bia already waiting for him in bed. Yeah, tonight's gonna be difficult. Sayola quickly climbs inside the bed, as both of the girls demand they sleep together. Bro's definitely got his harem going for him. Yang Chun attempts to activate I Ain't No Simp Jutsu and dashes out, but the lightning-fast Bia chases after him and catches him. Some time passes and we get to see the adorable potato out cold, while the elegant Bia looks like a princess even while asleep. Yang Chun is stuck in the middle, having a really hard time being able to sleep, especially when the cute potato Sayola smacks his face in her sleep. It's morning again. And unfortunately, or should I say fortunately, our boy is hugged down from both sides. He can't even move and begs the floating little spirit to save his life because he can't move a single arm. The funny thing is, even the old geezer calls him a lucky bastard to have such a situation to himself. Unfortunately, the only reason he can't get up is because Sayola is squeezing the crap out of his arm. Once again, Shin calls him a lucky dude because guys would kill for something like this. Well, the issue is, if someone ends up finding Yang Chun sleeping with the two of them like this, it's going to cause trouble. And well, that's exactly what happens when Ryonghwa enters the room at the worst possible timing. Her face tells you everything that you need to know when she spots her brother in bed with two beauties. It looks really bad for him, causing Ryonghwa to give him a disgusting glare before slamming the door shut. Yang Chun is starting to realize that the clan members really have no etiquette of knocking before entering. Anyway, he tries to get the two of them to wake up quickly. Yang Chun tells his servant to get up quickly because there's a bug on her face. Immediately, she wakes up startled and jumping from her bed. That's one target down. Now, to assassinate the second target, he deploys advanced tactics and uses a strong finger flick to knock her face. Bia has no idea why he's hitting him, while Siola's out here going commando over a bug on the bed. The good thing is that they're both up now. Shortly afterwards, Yang Chun goes outside to meet Ryonghwa, who has come to report that the clan head wants to see the boy. This is a surprising notice to him. Ryonghwa laughs at his misfortune. Also, she had no idea there was a special scene going inside his room, or else she would have delayed the message. Ryonghwa also tells him that she's here for the Hua ritual of the clan, and since she's a disciple of the sect, it's only natural for her to attend. With her message delivered, Ryonghwa is about to leave, and calls both Bia and Sayola a bunch of ugly girls before going. After all, pretty girls wouldn't want to hang around her disgusting brother. Or well, that is until she lays her eyes on both Bia and Sayola. Both of them look not only adorable but also downright gorgeous. Yang Chun inquires what they're up to. While they're curious about Ryonghwa, the kid doesn't even introduce her to them. The mere sight of them causes Ryonghwa to get frustrated, and she quickly leaves in a grumpy attitude. It makes our boy wonder what her problem is. Bia can tell that something is wrong though, based on her reaction seeing her go. Time for us to enter another flashback sequence of a young Ryonghwa searching around for her brother, while weeping in the house of Ku. She was really afraid that he'd disappeared somewhere. Hearing a rustling noise in the bushes, the little girl tried to explore further on, until she found Yang Chun scarily pouncing from the spot and scaring the crap out of her. It was so scary that it made the girl cry. Later that day, Yang Chun had a talk with her, apologizing for having made her cry like that. But she was still upset with him, which made him wonder what would make her happy again. That's when Ryonghwa made her special request, desiring her brother to scold Yeonsu, her older sister, for good. After all, Yeonsu was really mean to both of them and treated them like crap. Yang Chun had fondness for Ryonghwa, telling his sister that these things happen when they're all a part of a family together. At the time, it made her really happy to hear him say that. Back to the present moment, the girl finds herself exhausted by the end of her training, frustrated to push past her limits as she continues flinging her sword into the air. After yet another strenuous training session, Ryonghwa is overwhelmed with frustration. She launches her sword at the tree, an anger cultivating deep inside her. Finding her in a state like this, Bia comes around to advise the young girl that even if she's exhausted, one must never let go of their weapon. The elegant lady of Namgung retrieved her blade for her and offered it back. Faced against her, Ryonghwa quickly realizes that this is the same girl she saw back with her disgusting brother. She thanks her for her kindness and reaches for her sword, before adopting a stricter tone and rudely stating that she doesn't require anyone's help. She then gets up, maintaining her grumpy attitude, and asks what the lady is doing out here. Bia expresses that she figured Ryonghwa to be close to Yang Chun, so she got curious and followed her around. Upon her unparalleled smile alone, Ryonghwa is literally baffled by her looks and questions what's wrong with this woman. At first, she figured that Bia was nothing more than a useless tool of Yang Chun, but clearly she was wrong. As for Yang Chun's fiancé, the white-haired girl advises the little girl to try and relax more. She's noticed that Ryonghwa grips her weapon too tightly, which is hindering her in training. Based on this advice, it's clear that Bia is also a swordmaster from her words, even though Ryonghwa strictly judges her off her looks, and states that someone like her probably never even held a blade in her entire life. She thinks it's snobbish to try and teach others when a person is inexperienced themselves. Instead of getting angry at her or rushing to correct her, Bia politely requests for them to have a light spar. Shortly afterwards, the two are facing each other for their fight, but Ryonghwa is stunned that her opponent hasn't even bothered to unsheath her blade yet. Bia is so immensely confident in her ability that she thinks it won't hinder her at all. It insults Ryonghwa and causes her to get angry. Refusing to hold anything back from the get-go, the girl unleashes a powerful swing, which is quickly countered by Bia's quick draw, who even in this fight advises Ryonghwa to try and calm down. I'll have you guys know that she has yet to unsheath her blade, and she's not only talking but also casually blocking powerful blows. It leaves her opponent Ryonghwa at a loss for words. Once again, Bia repeats her advice, emphasizing that her opponent should try to relax her body. She even demonstrates how by showing a hint of her internal energy, coating electricity in her sheathed blade. Shortly after that spark of lightning, the fight is cut short. Ryonghwa lost immediately, and just the charging up of Bia's attack left a small crater underneath her. The conclusion of the battle is rather eye-opening for Yang Cheon's sister, who is infuriated enough to ask what Bia means in relationship to her brother. Before Bia could even say the word fiancé, she cuts him off, stating that someone as immensely powerful as Bia shouldn't be hanging around her clown of her brother. She is strongly of the opinion that Yang Cheon doesn't deserve a powerful woman like the beautiful warrior before her. After all, Ryonghwa doesn't have any idea that her brother has changed and still thinks that he's a lazy clown. Compared to Bia, he's just trash. For the first time, Yang Cheon's fiancé shows a hint of frustration. First, she defends his looks, stating that he's anything but ugly. And then she breaks her calm facade, powerfully her blade with a slash of electricity as she reminds Ryonghwa to watch her tone, or else she'll regret it greatly. While her attack is fired off, our boy quickly blitzes right in, blocking the attack just in time to prevent any damage. The scene stuns Ryonghwa quite. The same brother she was calling ugly and weak has just arrived to protect her. An irritated Yang Cheon interrogates his fiancé, questioning what she's doing all of a sudden. Bia's expression is tense, showing her frustration as she expresses that the girl called him ugly. Now that's how you know she's a queen. The girl was ready to throw hands just to defend his looks. Anyway, Yang Cheon thinks it's no big deal, but clearly his fiancé is angered. She wants to know more about the midget and her identity. After all, Yang Cheon wouldn't just take the girl's side otherwise. Hearing that, Ryonghwa arrogantly states that she didn't need any help and doesn't require anyone to take her side. She roars at her brother and runs off, leaving the two of them to each other. As for the young master of House Ku, he's starting to think that his sister must have skipped out on her manners class because she's acting way too rude. Bia is still insistent on knowing who this girl really is, because instead of taking his fiancé's side, Yang Cheon went ahead and scolded her instead. The boy drops a bombshell on her, revealing that they're actually siblings. It stops Bia dead in her tracks because she can't believe that they're both actually biological siblings. Well, the funniest part is, Bia is terrified of what she's done. She thinks she's made a major mistake laying a hand on her sister-in-law. And well, for the rest of the trip after learning that fact, poor Bia was put in a daze and walked around like a ghost herself, clueless of her every step. She wouldn't stop repeating the same words either. Anyway, Yang Cheon that night returned to his room, this time finding Seola already waiting in bed. Seeing that Bia was missing is surprising enough for him. After all, she hadn't come to her room not even once today. The boy wonders what caused her to go missing, and after a while, she was reported nowhere to be found. Well, aside from that, Yang Cheon is curious about the Sword Sovereign's return and questions when he'll be back. Unfortunately, the girl has no clue either. Her grandpa appears to be taking a long-ass time, which also implies that the young master has to do something on his own, or else he'll have to extend his stay. So the next day, a merchant was busy selling leather and bones of demonic beasts as a promising trade. Yang Cheon came here with his guard, desiring for demonic stones. The request rather shocked the seller, but the boy is interested in knowing if there are any being sold that are a day old. To that, the merchant scrubs his head, answering that the stones aren't sold. Even after searching around for a bit, the boy has yet to find a shop that sells demonic stones in this place. Muyan is of the opinion that they won't find any stones here at all. And to be fair, Yang Cheon also believes in that thought. In the end, the stone or the core is supposed to be the most important part of a demonic beast, acting as their heart. However, right after the creatures are killed, it's basically a worthless piece of stone afterwards. Normally that is, because in the case of Yang Cheon, he can still make quite a bit of use from it by absorbing the demonic energy using his technique. Based on the words of the floating spirit of the immortal sword and the divine physician, the boy fully understands that the single reason he's alive so far can be attributed to his demonic energy inside of him. That means the influx of dark energy inside of him must be explored further. He wants to see what makes it tick and what it's really about. That's why he wants to test it by feeding himself another demonic stone. Yang Cheon is starting to wonder if he should personally hunt down demonic beasts to retrieve the stones at this point. However, that's not going to be easy either, according to Muyan, who understands that the number of demonic beasts has considerably shrunk lately. It's yet another strange phenomena occurring in Manhwa. Still, Yang Cheon is grateful that his guard is helpful with the information he is given. Apart from the diminishing health of the Sword Queen, as well as the presence of Elder Tae, Yang Chun thinks that he made a good choice tagging Muyan along. His stomach is growling because of their tiring search, so it's about time to head back and eat something nice. Our boy is really looking forward to Honghwa's delicious cooking skills. Speaking of cooking skills, when he gets home, he finds a heart attack on a plate. Gordon Ramsay would probably jump off a cliff seeing this plate. Unfortunately, Seola decided to cook fish today, and well, both Yang Chun and Muyan can't even tell if it's fish anymore. It seems as though the adorable potato knows that she messed up terrifically, to the point she's crying. Anyway, Yang Chun doesn't bother eating it, and learns that Honghwa is making fresh new food for him. He's told to rest, but the young master expresses that he's got some business of his own to deal with, so he's going to take care of that firsthand. Muyan is insistent and argues that they should stick together for any travels, but our boy is stubborn and believes it's best for him to journey by himself for a bit. Let's go and check on Bia for a moment. She's actually busy training Ryonghwa in her sword style, correcting the inefficiencies in her stance. They both hear a sound from behind as Yang Chun reveals his location, tackling through the bushes. He's rather surprised to find his sister training alongside Bia, even though Ryonghwa appears to be annoyed to admit the fact. Yang Chun is astonished by their recent development. Just one day ago, these two were trying to kill each other. His sister reveals that the root of her frustration actually had to do with him rather than the elegant swordswoman. Anyway, it turns out Bia ended up apologizing in the end, and after that, she was bugged by Ryonghwa to teach her about the sword. Seeing them doing just fine, Yang Chun lets out a breath of relief and decides to return, reminding them that dinner's ready. Bia is okay with that and even offers Ryonghwa a chance to share the dinner, but for some reason she appears hesitant. They can hear Yang Chun's voice from afar, demanding that she comes quickly. She goes away, leaving the boy's sister to her own. From today's training alone, Ryonghwa notices how she's formed calluses on her hand from gripping her blade so tightly. It reminds of the scene when she was little. Back at their house, for some reason, Yang Chun became really cold and distant to her. He said all kinds of mean things in that one moment, even shouting at her for calling her brother. He simply told his sister to live a quiet life and to avoid getting in front of other people's sight. Another hour or two passes. Ryonghwa appears to be training firmly by herself. She is reminded of a memory of a beautiful lady who always looked at her fondly. This is probably Cheon-hee, Yang Chun's mother. As she cuts through the air, the girl desires to make a flower blossom soon. Food is served fresh and hot. A bunch of berries and skewers are being served, and Ryonghwa is enjoying the festival to her delight. She finds a little girl craving to eat the same skewer, but unfortunately, Ryonghwa isn't in the mood to share. She's been training tirelessly for days without food. She also thinks that if it tastes delicious, it will be a good recommendation to her master. Just recalling her master's condition, Ryonghwa remembers how her master always advised her not to skip meals and always eat something outside. That scene stops her from taking the first bite, and in the end, she actually hands the skewer fully to the little girl before leaving empty-handed on her own. Ryonghwa bolts as fast as her legs can take her, desiring to spend more time with her master until the end. She reaches the part of the temple where her beloved master is residing. The girl is unusually excited to share talks of her duel against the lady of the Namgung clan, and also her recent education on her sword techniques. Suddenly, a blade comes erupting out of nowhere. The regional leader aims to cut her damn head off while she is distracted. It's only thanks to Bia's godly reflexes that they were able to dodge the same attack that cut down trees. Shocked to her core, Ryonghwa has no idea what's going on, while Bia stares up to the musclehead brute, who jokes around how an unexpected beautiful lady fell from the sky. Ryonghwa gains distance and questions the man's identity. His name is Ya Hyuljok, but I'm going to be calling him all kinds of demeaning names for his behavior. The musclehead recommends that the quivering little girl drop her weapon, or else she will regret her decision greatly and get her face messed up. Bia actually steps in again, instructing Ryonghwa to quickly report the matter to the people of her clan, because in this battle, there's nothing she can possibly do to help her out. The disgusting psycho suggests the girl reconsider her options because he won't be holding back or going easy on her in the fight. Bia expels her internal energy and emphasizes to her friend that she has to run as fast as possible and prioritize what's important. The serious scene transitions into a lighthearted one where Suila is surprised to see Yang Chun up so early. Apparently, he wants to go and take care of some business on his own, and doesn't want his servant tagging along. After all, our boy's plan is to head out to find the divine physician. Since Seola is unhappy with his decision, he promises to bring home some chicken skewers to make it up to her. Before leaving, he reminds her not to make any reckless trouble. His loving servant cheerfully wishes him to be careful, rooting for the young master's support. Yang Chun goes on ahead, reflecting how his daily training is exhausting him more than he can take. Shin calls him a stupid whiny brat for doing just a bunch of training, and has no idea why he feels ungrateful when he's a literal chick magnet around here. He also funnily calls Yang Chun a mantis because of his weirdly shaped eyes. The kid coldly reminds the floating little spirit that he's not in any position or size to demean anyone else's looks right now. He even teases the old geezer for acting like he's super handsome. Shin funnily remarks that people liked decorating their walls with his paintings for a reason. But to that, Yang Chun teasingly replies that maybe it's a way for them to remember that even the ugly folks can accomplish good things. While they're hounding each other down, Ryonghwa comes rushing to inform her brother. She's in an unusual state of panic and practically breaks down before him. She's crying her eyes out, worried for Bia's sake. At first, Yangchun didn't take the matter seriously, but the moment he hears that his fiancée is in danger, a demon wakes inside of this man. Let's go back to the scene of the fight. Our elegant queen is swiftly dodging her opponent's heavy attacks. The regional leader is pissed off that he's having to waste so much time on an irrelevant girl when he's got the goal of finding the divine physician. Deciding to break loose more of his power, this guy hammers down even heavier slashes, overwhelming Bia to quite a troublesome extent. The heavy clash of swords matching each other and bouncing back continues. The Lightning Queen ducks one of his strikes and continues her evasive maneuvers by leaping to the air. Her nimble movement actually impresses this degenerate bastard, and he's out here gooning to her in the middle of the fight. Bia descends like a thunderous dragon. Crackles of electricity overwhelm her opponent's body, paralyzing him into one position. Just from the looks of her attack, Ya Hyoljok understands that she's about to use the signature move of the Namgung family. However, despite its usage in this fight, he finds Bia's execution of the technique rather predictable and slow, to the point he is able to dodge her forward lunge successfully. However, as dumb as he looks, the regional leader understands that her first attack is definitely just a misdirection. The actual attack is the one that comes as a follow-up. Swinging her blade backwards, Bia quickly turns and attempts to overpower her opponent. The attack is blocked by the musclehead, but the sheer force of the thunderous technique is enough to destroy everything behind him. Thrilled to find such a powerful opponent from the Namgung clan, he inquires more about her identity. The fact that he noticed a member of House Ku as well as Namgung both residing at the top of the mountain means that there's something more to the eye. Anyway, despite having injured her opponent a bit, Bia is extremely exhausted as even her best technique couldn't land a final blow on him. The psychopath praises her for the performance and realizes that her only flaw here is that she lacks experience killing someone in a real fight. That reason alone is why she is destined to lose this battle. Fast forwarding to the aftermath of the battle, it turns out that Bia loses badly, leaving the regional leader quite impressed. He intentionally avoided going for any severe blows and only knocked her out. His goal is to keep her for himself after he's done dealing with the divine physician. Even the Lightning Queen admits that she can't do anything in this situation, having expired all of her energy. And if she is kidnapped, nothing and no one will save her. The worst part? She feels immense regret that she won't be able to meet her fiancé anymore. Her world will be all alone again. A world with the same stench she's had to deal with since forever. To avoid that fate, she attempts to move her body as best she can. But then she hears Yangchun's voice, who comforts her and advises that it's best to rest for now. He understands that Bia isn't going to run even if he tries telling her to, so for now, he wants her to hide for a bit. As for the bastard out there still making a mess, Yangchun is filled with seething rage as he launches himself with his full might, aiming to destroy the guy. Reverting back to his previous life, Bia met the end of her fate in an effort to save Yangchun's life. In every conceivable reality, she could have prioritized saving herself and moved out of the way. And yet she stood guard and deflected the attack with her own body. It was back then that the cold and ruthless demon realized something important. Yangchun realized that he had led a life of sin and sin alone, so much so that nothing and no one waited for him happily on the other side. He had led such a treacherous existence that there was no redemption waiting. But in an ironic twist of fate, he is now given a second chance. A chance that he described as a hopeful new beginning for the things he lost and the mistakes he made. A desire to fix everything. But in that moment, when he found Bia Namgung completely knocked out like that, in a state that reminded him of his past life, it really changed his perspective on things. This life that he was given, it could end up the same as last time. Maybe it isn't some kind of reward but more of a punishment to live the same horrors of loss that he experienced in his past life. A repeated cycle of death and suffering. It made him wonder if the heavenly demon wanted to punish him forever, pulling him towards hell. Yangchun couldn't afford to live a life like that again, not this time. So it ignites an inextinguishable flame inside of his body, expelling immense amounts of internal energy. He vows to prevent the dark future from happening again. Meanwhile, the regional leader is busy attempting to crack the energy barrier placed by the Manhwa clan. Just when he found some result, his eyes widened in fear and shock as a boy lunged at him like a torpedo, full of energy as he smashed his abdomen with punches so strong that it resulted in an explosion. The attack incinerated the life around them, staggering Yangchun's opponent, who can't believe that there's yet another one of the House of Ku members here. At first he wanted to pay the kid a visit personally, but his master decided otherwise. Based on Yangchun's murderous state, even the regional leader senses that the kid has a bloodlust coming off of him. His current state resembles that of Lord Ku, his father, the flame demon. However, despite everything, it didn't change the fact that the kid was still a rookie before him. Yangchun unleashed a barrage of attacks, back-to-back pounding his opponent down. Even the psychopath calls our boy crazy for his chaotic strikes and attempts to retaliate with a swing of his blade. But Yangchun got flexible movement to the point he evades a clean horizontal swing, impressing the regional leader in this battle. He even finds amusement playing around with Yangchun every time they exchange blows. Despite our boy's enraged state, he is pushed back, which makes the musclehead psycho wonder if the kid is losing heart. To quickly shut him up, our boy goes on the offensive again and beats the crap out of the guy, shoving him back and making him eat his own words. The fight gets more serious with every passing moment. In a surprising twist, the villain is the one acting sane. Meanwhile, the floating spirit of Shin urges that the boy quell his anger because he's only creating more openings for himself. Yang Chun quickly realizes this when he recklessly lunges forth, disregarding his bodily limitations. The kid's energy core suddenly cracks, diffusing his attack as the boy falls from the skies. Just when his opponent is about to finish the kid off, a voice from inside Yang Chun's head tells him to devour everything. Suddenly, he regains his powers and grabs Ya Hyuljak's sword, catching the blade and shocking him even more. The regional leader is stupefied that a monstrous kid like this even exists, because none of his men from the Dark Palace pose even a threat to the current state of Yang Chun. Speaking of which, our boy delivers a clean hook to the gut, releasing a column of explosive energy from his opponent's body. I kid you not, bro is literally using attacks right out of Dragon Ball Z here. Anyway, that punch really did a number on the musclehead, forcing him to cough blood, but that's not enough to calm down the bloodlust of the enraged Yang Chun. The fight is over, and when Bia comes around, all she sees is an incinerated field and her fiancé senselessly punching the man's face to a bloody pulp. The sounds of churning blood is heard, while the helpless Bia begs him to stop. Suddenly, the dark and shadowy stench from before emanates off of his body. It's the first time she sensed something so vile. Even though Yang Chun has already murdered the guy in cold blood, his psychopathic tendencies aren't satisfied as he keeps pummeling the man's face into the ground. Navigating her best in the incinerated field, Bia begs him to stop, her voice pleading to reach his ears. But when he doesn't listen, she embraces his body to help him regain control, reminding him that he's already killed his opponent. She doesn't want him to give in to his urges and lose himself too. Her words are the only thing that calms him down, enough for him to fade away unconscious in her grasp. As for the Shadow Organization, they're stunned to note that their regional leader hasn't yet returned from the mission. They're a bit worried about his condition, but it's clear they can't act on their own and have to obey orders. The goal is to launch a full-scale attack at dawn. To their surprise, an old man has somehow found his way to their organization, and it's none other than the most badass old geezer of all time. The Sword Sovereign is furious that these men are responsible for the disappearance of the disciples of Mount Hua. One of the clowns thinks that he's just a random senile man who came here without a thought. And well, that guy ends up getting cleaved in half without even the Sword Sovereign batting an eye. This man is the definition of aura. The rest of them are horrified to question who this man really even is. They can't even comprehend what the hell just happened. The Sword Sovereign confesses that the beauty of a blade comes from when it is covered by its sheath. He also thinks that bad intentions should ever go beyond one's feelings in life, and they shouldn't translate into actions. During his meeting with Lord Hua, he learned about the disappearance of the disciples. They suspected that the Dark Knight Palace was responsible for the cause. Because the clan leader himself could not leave, the Sword Sovereign was made a request to eliminate every last one of these scumbags. Before annihilating them completely, the old man offers them a chance to drop their weapons. But of course, these arrogant warriors still decide to jump him, thinking that this is Jujutsu Kaisen. In return, all he has to do is flick his hand, a single sword cuts past every single warrior ahead of him. The entire group vanquished with one strike as the wise Sword Sovereign comments on their foolishness. Back to the state of our boy, Yang Chun wakes up in a state of panic. His flight or fight senses go overboard, but thankfully the divine physician is there to help him calm down. Apparently the boy has been in a coma for 2 days and is currently receiving treatment against his energy overload. Bro is pinned with needles in every part of his body, hopefully not his mini young master part. Anyway, Yang Chun questions why there's smoke coming out of Elder Tay's mouth, and if that implies a new form of ascension. The physician corrects the kid, stating that he's actually absorbing the smoke to help him recover. He goes back to his previous verdict of calling the boy a walking corpse, and that he could die at a moment's notice because of his different energies. Even now, despite having exhausted so much of his internal energy, Yang Chun's body appears to be in a state of calm. It surprises both him and the physician, but he's not worried about that right now. What our boy really cares about is Bia's state as well as the condition of his sister. Luckily, they're both fine and doing alright, bringing him just the mental relief he needed the most. Well, speaking of those girls, all 3 of them ended up knocking themselves out on the floor just waiting for the young master. Muyun has fallen asleep too. Yang Chun is in his room, pondering how he had just committed the first murder in his new life. But what's really bothering him is the voice he heard. The voice that demanded that he devour. In a state of meditation, he reflects that there was much he needed to learn in his life, especially after the warnings of Elder Tay. The kid goes for a routine check on his body to see if his internal energy is doing okay. He notices right away that his blood flow is blocked, but his strength is growing and that he may be able to get past that issue soon. Perhaps the most shocking part is that the same chaotic energy from before has transformed into something beyond his wildest expectations. Yang Chun now officially possesses demonic energy. On a different note, the leader of the Dark Knight Palace quickly learns of the assassination of Ya Hyuljak. The ominous figure inquires to know who could have defeated such a powerful warrior, as he was a professional martial artist with a physical peak. He learns that a rookie from Mount Hua somehow managed to subdue this guy all on his own. It inspires interest into the main leader's eyes, and he believes it's time to send Rakasha to the divine physician instead. The man also appears to boast the same demonic eyes of a demonic martial artist like Yang Chun in his previous life. The sudden hiccup has become a thorn in his path, but he's right around the corner of his materializing his goals. We get to see a shot of a thin girl possessing the same demonic eyes, and she's likely referenced to be the young version of the heavenly demon from the future. The scene switches to Ciola and the Sword Sovereign. The little girl is excited to report that the young master is doing just fine with Bia and has recovered back to full health. The wise old man is happy to hear that, but his granddaughter makes an additional request. Placing the Yakwa snack down, she replaces her hand with a sword and requests to learn martial arts, and thus begins the journey of the mighty disciple of the sovereign sword who is destined to defeat the heavenly demon in the future.